The story kicks off with a girl being bullied, bleeding out as she begs them to stop beating her. She tells them she gave them all her lunch money, and begs them to leave her alone. The female bully mockingly asks if she's completely broke, then tells her if she doesn't have cash, she's gotta pay in other ways. Since she's in a good mood today, she tells her to put on a show for them. Then she throws a piece of bread on the ground and orders her to get it, ordering her to pick up the bread and eat it in the most humiliating way. The girl refuses, crying her eyes out. The bully laughs sarcastically. The bully grabs the girl's hair and orders her to lift her head and stop faking obedience. Then she tells her if she doesn't eat, she's gotta bark like a dog, and if her barking is good enough, they'll let her go. Another bully adds that if she doesn't do it, a guy named Jong Kai is waiting for her. The bullies start recording her with their phones, while laughing out loud. The girl is forced to bark. Meanwhile, other students gather around to watch and film the scene. A week later, the sister dies after being stabbed over 100 times. Hearing the news, her brother's face goes completely pale and furious. He stands right in front of her body in the morgue. It's revealed that the brother used to be a notorious gang leader. Everyone used to fear and avoid him. But in his sister's eyes, he was the best brother in the world. For her sake, he decided to leave the underworld behind. He disbanded his gang and took a normal, everyday job. But now, nothing is left in the brother's heart except a burning thirst for revenge. He swears to make everyone who caused his sister's death pay the ultimate price. The brother goes out looking for his sister's closest friend to find out what really happened. He assures her he knows she isn't involved, asking her to just write down the names of the 4 people who bullied his sister. The girl writes the names on a piece of paper and hands it over to him. He asks her if she knows the exact details of what went down. She tells him that Jong Kai and his gang had been tormenting his sister, Chen Lian, for a long time. They were constantly stealing her lunch money, which often left his sister starving. She also heard they used to force her to go to their houses, to cook for them and clean up the place. And she hints that Jong Kai actually assaulted her. She adds that a few days ago because his sister didn't bring them cash. They beat her to the ground. They forced her to kneel and bark, while everyone at school watched and mocked her. Just like that, everyone saw her being completely humiliated. The brother leaves in dead silence, fueled by pure rage. A school counselor comes over to talk about a settlement. She tells the brother that the school views the incident as a total accident. The brother screams in her face in pure rage, reminding her that his sister was stabbed over 100 times. He asks her how on earth that can be called an accident, wondering if the school officials are completely blind. She responds with a provoking calmness, explaining that it wasn't her call to make. Then she hands him the settlement terms offered by the bully's parents. The terms include a compensation of $200,000, and she advises him not to make a scene about it. Otherwise, the consequences won't be pretty for him. The brother smirks sarcastically. Then he crumbles up the settlement paper and throws it right in her face, telling her that since his sister is dead, they can go negotiate in hell. The counselor angrily asks if he actually dares to touch her. Then she downplays the girl's death, saying she's just a dead girl, adding that it's really no big deal. Then she shamelessly admits she knew exactly what Chen Lian was going through the entire time. The counselor shamelessly keeps talking, admitting she knew the girl was being bullied for a whole year. To make it worse, she says she intentionally ignored it. The brother shuts her up with a hard slap to the face, knocking her straight to the floor from the sheer force of the blow. She screams at him, calling him a bastard. With a deadly calm, the brother tells her that the end has come for all of them. Then he grabs her by the neck while she's in absolute shock, asking how he dares to do this. The counselor completely breaks down and starts crying. The brother leaves her slumped on the floor in the corner of the room. At home, his father scolds him for being reckless and escalating things, worrying anxiously about what his fate will be now. Lighting a cigarette, the son calmly responds, reassuring his father that the counselor won't dare call the police because what happened can be passed off as a mutual fight. And if it gets investigated, she'll most likely lose her job. Then he calmly orders his dad to dump her at the entrance of the residential complex and call an ambulance to pick her up, warning them to stay completely out of the picture so the family doesn't have to foot the ambulance bill. The next morning, his mother tries to comfort him, telling him to forget the past. Crying, she adds that the living have to move on with their lives. Suddenly, a text arrives on his late sister's phone. The message is from a group chat named Chen Lian Has No Secrets. The brother's expression changes completely when he sees the text. He discovers that the message contains videos documenting the bullying and abuse his sister went through. In the video, the main bully, Jong Kai, shows up, making shameless comments about her looks. Then, with an evil smile, he says it's finally his turn. The girl begs him to stop, but he gets close, telling her not to run away and inviting her to give him a hug. In a later scene, the brother burns his fingerprints over a fire to wipe out any evidence that could tie him to his upcoming crimes. A look of relentless revenge gleams in his eyes. He heads to a luxury nightclub where one of his targets is chilling. Wearing a mask to hide his identity, he pulls out a sharp knife. Disguised as a waiter, he slips into the club. In one of the rooms, one of the bullies, Wang Qing, was enjoying his time with several women. The brother advances toward the room. When he steps in, Wang Qing yells at him, asking who ordered drinks and ordering him to get out right now. But the brother blasts him with a powerful kick, then rushes at him with the knife. The bully hits the floor, severely wounded. The women scream in pure terror and try to run, but they find out the door is locked from the outside. The brother orders them to stand aside and watch in silence, threatening to kill them if any of them makes a single sound. Terrified, they cover their mouths. Wang Qing asks him who he is, claiming there's no bad blood between them, wondering why he's being targeted. Then he offers him cash to save his life. The brother mockingly asks if he ever thought about this day when he was tormenting his sister. The bully tries to dodge responsibility, claiming he has nothing to do with it and that Zhang Kai is the one to blame. The brother asks him where Zhang Kai is. The bully tells him they are celebrating Wang Yuehong's birthday in karaoke room 605. After getting the info, the brother executes Wang Qing by slitting his throat, then leaves the place calmly. In another room, the female bully Gao Shui was feeling bored, suggesting to her friend to bring more friends over, because having bodyguards around makes everything boring. The other replies that her dad was the one who insisted on having the guards. Then she blames the victim, Chen Lian, calling her that dead girl, adding that even after death, she's still causing them trouble. Gao Shui agrees, calling the victim completely useless back when she was alive. The bully continues her mockery, saying the victim hasn't changed even after death. Then she expresses regret for not stabbing her a few more times. At that exact moment, the brother appears at the room door wearing a mask, his eyes completely filled with a cold look of vengeance. One of the female bullies asks him who he is. The brother storms into the room and starts taking on the bodyguards, managing to overpower them one by one. In the middle of the chaos, he manages to slash the main female bully's finger. The girl screams in absolute pain, angrily ordering her guards to kill him. Her friend joins the screaming, demanding they kill him. The brother keeps on fighting. The other bully, Gao Shui, tries to escape, but he catches her and brutally assaults her. But the sheer number of guards eventually overpowers him. One guard threatens him that he'll pay the price. The brother lets out a crazy laugh, challenging them to go ahead and kill him. Then he tells them that if they don't kill him, their own families will be in serious danger. The police arrive at the scene and take control of the situation. In the interrogation room, a female officer asks him why he was carrying a weapon. He calmly denies bringing any weapon, claiming he was just passing by. The officer asks about the knife found on him. He makes up a story, claiming his mom asked him to buy it for cooking, insisting he has the receipt for it. The officer points out that the receipt is dated from the day before, telling him not to insult their intelligence. He keeps making excuses, claiming he intended to apply for a job there, and when he arrived, he heard them bad-mouthing his sister, so he just lost control. Another officer comes in and tells him they know about his tragedy, but that doesn't justify the crime, informing him that he broke 2 of Wang Yuehong's fingers, a charge considered a minor injury. The brother mockingly asks if they are absolutely sure he's the guy, asking if there's any actual evidence like CCTV footage or fingerprints. Due to lack of evidence, the police are forced to let him go. On his way out, his father confronts and scolds him, asking why he didn't leave the matter to him and his mother, wondering if he even thought about the consequences. The son coldly responds that he doesn't care about consequences anymore, asking his dad to stay out of it. Outside, the bully girl and her dad were waiting. She tells her dad that he's the one who attacked her and broke her fingers. Her father, a massive, powerful man, steps forward and threatens the brother's dad. The father tries to reason with them, standing up to protect his son. The man introduces himself as Wang Hongli, chairman of the Hongchen Group, asking the dad if he's ever heard of him. The dad is completely shocked to hear the name. It turns out the Hongchen Group is a massive corporation with a notorious reputation, boasting a criminal history that includes murder. Yet the police couldn't prove a single thing against them for years, because Wang Hongli always disposed of all the evidence. The scene shifts back to the police station, where the dad panics after realizing the identity of his opponent. In another room, a female officer interrogates the brother again, asking if he went to another club that day, advising him to think very carefully before answering, offering him a deal to reduce his sentence if he confesses. The brother denies going there. The officer shows him a case file containing a photo of Wang Qing's corpse, telling him a murder took place in that club, and that the victim is Wang Qing, explaining that he was stabbed multiple times. Then she confronts him directly, asking if he dares deny his involvement. In another interrogation room, the main bully girl is informed of the murder of her partner, Wang Qing, and she goes into complete shock. The bully screams at the officer, insisting the brother is the killer. She points to her injured finger, explaining she just got it treated at the hospital, demanding his immediate arrest. The brother ignores her and tells the officer he'll leave if there's nothing else, since he has to arrange his sister's funeral. The officer is forced to let him go due to insufficient evidence, but reminds him to cooperate with the investigation and show up when summoned. At home, The bully collapses out of fear, completely convinced the brother is the executioner, telling her dad that if it weren't for the guards, she would be a goner by now. Her father scolds her and orders her to shut up, reminding her that she brought this mess upon herself, adding that he warned her repeatedly about the consequences of her actions, but she didn't listen. The father starts digging into the brother's background, feeling that things aren't as simple as they look. Advising his daughter to be careful, he asks about his background. His assistant tells him the brother doesn't have an influential background, but his past is bizarre. He spent his high school years in another province and never returned during that entire time, and the institution he was in had a brutal system and a terrible reputation, packed with non-stop violence. Yet, in just 3 months, the brother managed to rule over all the students. Then he spent another year subduing all the bullies in the surrounding area. He caused a massive amount of trouble, leaving behind a trail of victims with severe injuries. And even though everyone knew he did it, the police could never find any evidence against him. The father realizes the gravity of the situation, knowing his opponent is no ordinary guy. In his home, the brother kneels before his parents, apologizing, promising them that even if he has to run, he'll secure their financial future. His mother tries to dissuade him from continuing down this path, but he tells her he can't back down now, asserting he will turn himself in once he finishes what he started. His father understands his decision, telling him he won't stand in his way, just hoping for a good ending. Then the father and mother decide to leave the city after finishing their daughter's funeral arrangements, so they won't be used as leverage against their son. The son thanks them for understanding. The next day, the female officer meets him again, trying to talk to him. He coldly asks what she wants to talk about. She tells him she's only 3 years older than him and thinks they have a lot in common. Sympathizing with his sister's tragedy, she admits her desire to catch the culprits herself, but she emphasizes the absolute need to respect the law. The brother snaps in anger, screaming at her face that his sister is dead, questioning the point of laws if they only protect criminals, telling her if she's just here to give him this utter nonsense, she should just leave. She tries to calm him down, asking why he didn't accept the financial compensation, telling him that Zhang Kai's family offered $2 million for a settlement, warning him that if he keeps escalating he might end up with nothing at all, suggesting he use the money to take care of his parents. He rejects her offer with a smirk and walks away. The officer leaves, completely puzzled. Meanwhile, the bullies' parents gather. Zhang Zhongsheng, Zhang Kai's father, expresses his surprise at the brother rejecting the money, wondering if the $2 million wasn't enough to tempt him. Fang Long, Fang Yu's father, replies angrily that if he doesn't want the money, then he can wait and see who loses in the end, suggesting using that money for bribes to see how things turn out. Zhang Zhongsheng explains that the problem isn't the money, but that the brother is out for blood and wants to kill their kids. Fang Long wonders what options they have left, then mocks the situation, downplaying the brother, considering him just a reckless young punk, assuring them he has already hired bodyguards and professional hitmen, and they're just waiting for his signal to take the brother out. The parents transfer the money to Fang Long to fund the plan. Zhang Zhongsheng puts Fang Long in charge of the operation, telling him they're waiting for the good news. The brother goes back home and holds his sister's photo, with tears welling up in his eyes. Suddenly, a group of armed men led by a blonde guy bursts into his house. The blonde guy asks if he is Chen Mu, then tells him they came to talk, adding that he surely knows who sent them, explaining they have one goal, to put him in the hospital, but he offers him a deal. If he promises to drop his sister's case, they'll leave him alone. The brother doesn't say a word, he just attacks them directly. The blonde guy is stunned by his speed and ferocity, and his men realize this isn't just a brawl, it's an attempted murder. After a short fight, the blonde guy falls wounded. The brother tells him he won't kill him because he has nothing to do with his sister's death, advising him to go to the hospital to save his life, then asks him to tell the one who sent him that nobody can stop him. The attackers leave quickly, carrying their wounded leader. At the hospital, the doctor tells the blonde guy he was lucky, because if the stab wound had been just a few centimeters deeper, nobody could have saved him. The blonde guy wakes up to find one of Fang Long's men next to him. The man gives him a card containing his pay, warning him not to spill anything about Fang Long, or else he knows the consequences, then tells him to stay out of this case. Elsewhere, the parents find out the mission failed. One of them suggests exposing the matter, based on the fact that the brother stabbed the blonde guy. Fang Long strongly rejects the idea, explaining that if things are exposed, he'll be dragged down too, and the blonde guy will be framed for armed robbery, making the brother's actions pure self-defense. Fang Long decides to push forward with his plan, completely ignoring his opponent's power, insisting he'll make sure the brother's family ends up with absolutely nothing, suggesting they send their kids abroad to hide until the problem is solved. Meanwhile, the brother gets a call from one of his former men. He meets him in an alley and asks about the stuff he requested. The man hands him a black bag, confirming he brought what he wanted, wondering why he needs this stuff, especially since he used to hate it in the past. The brother snaps back, saying he doesn't need to justify his actions to him. The man apologizes, explaining he was just curious, and reaffirms his loyalty to him. The brother tells him his sister was killed by her classmates. The man is shocked and offers to help. The brother rejects his offer to help, where he suggested they handle the revenge for him. The brother insists he'll do it himself, taking the black bag from them, then orders them not to interfere and to mind their own business. After that, the brother heads to the Hongchen group, where he overhears two employees in the bathroom talking about the chairman, Wang Hongli's daughter, and the trouble she caused. One of them says she deserves whatever happens to her. The brother blindsides them, beating the employee unconscious, then takes his key card, putting on a mask. He uses the stolen card to enter the company building and bypass security. He sneaks into Wang Hongli's office and plants the black bag containing illegal contraband in one of his desk drawers. The brother waits outside at a public phone booth, then makes a call to Wang Hongli, telling him there's a gift in the third drawer of his desk. Wang Hongli asks if he's Chen Mu, then hangs up and screams in anger, considering the brother just a punk he doesn't fear. Wang Hongli opens the drawer only to find the bag full of drugs. He goes into utter shock and panic, instantly trying to head to the bathroom to flush the evidence. But before he can make it, the police raid his office, catching him red-handed. The officer confirms he's caught in the act, and that he has the right to remain silent. Later, the brother meets up in a bar with Geng Hui, a top executive at Hongchen Group who wants to overthrow Wang Hongli and take his place. The brother asks about Wang Hongli's status in custody, and Geng Hui tells him he's too smart, refusing to confess to anything and waiting for his lawyer. The brother demands he speed up their plan, stressing that he wants to see results by tomorrow. Geng Hui agrees and praises the brother's brilliance, suggesting more collaboration in the future, but the brother snaps back with disdain, telling him he's not on his level. Geng Hui leaves an envelope for the brother containing the address and phone number of Wang Yuehong's hideout. The brother burns the paper after reading it. Then he hops on his motorcycle and heads to a luxury villa, scaling the wall, determined to put an end to Wang Yuehong's spoiled life. In her room, Wang Yuehong was throwing a fit about being locked inside the house, cursing the victim Chen Lian for causing all this mess, and vowing to get slow revenge on her brother. She demands her guards let her out, but they refuse, reminding her of her dad's strict orders to stay grounded for a whole month. Half an hour later, the brother sets a fire in a part of the villa to distract the guards. Wang Yuehong screams that a fire broke out, and the guards rush to put it out. While she gets a bad feeling about this, taking advantage of the chaos, the brother slips into the villa through the back door. A guard spots him and asks who he is. Wearing a mask, the brother reaches the Wang family villa. One guard confronts him, but the brother steps forward with confidence. The guards surround him, asking who he is and if he even knows where he's standing. With pure skill and speed, the brother destroys all the guards, leaving them flat on the ground. After that, he storms the villa and finds Wang Yuehong. He beats her until she blacks out, then throws her over his shoulder and carries her out. He puts her on his motorcycle and speeds off. Inside, the remaining guards tell Wang Yuehong's mother, Chen Suhua, about her daughter's kidnapping, justifying their failure by saying the attacker was insanely fast. Chen Suhua snaps and calls them totally useless, then orders them to hunt down the kidnapper, swearing he'll pay the price. The brother takes Wang Yuehong to a remote location. When she wakes up, he tells her this is the place where he and his sister used to play as kids. She arrogantly asks what he wants, threatening him to let her go, then offering him money. He responds with a brutal slap, making her scream in pain and beg for help. He coldly asks if she's hurting from just one slap, reminding her that his sister took over 100 stabs. Grabbing her by the hair, he asks why they hated his sister so much. She shamelessly replies it was just for fun, and that she hated his sister because of her arrogant look. The brother is absolutely furious, wondering how such a petty reason could lead to torturing and killing his sister. She starts crying out of pure terror. In a desperate attempt to save herself, she claims the final stabs that killed his sister were from Zhang Kai, adding that his sister begged them, telling them her brother would be back soon. But Zhang Kai, the mastermind, showed no mercy. She begs him to leave her alone. Raising his sword, the brother vows to send every single devil involved straight to hell, but he calmly tells her that killing her this easily would be letting her off too soft. Then he asks her where the rest of the bullies are. She claims their parents hid them and she doesn't know where they are. Not buying it, he throws her into a cellar full of rats and bugs, promising her she's about to face the darkest days of her life, then locks the door on her. Meanwhile, at the detention center, Wang Hongli meets his lawyer. The lawyer tells him things are looking bad. Wang Hongli screams that Chen Mu set him up. The lawyer confirms it's obvious. He was tricked into leaving his prints on the bag. Wang Hongli wonders how Chen Mu could time the police raid so perfectly. The lawyer explains that Chen Mu didn't just bet on a single plan. He planted contraband in multiple spots and reported them all to the police, ensuring Wang Hongli would walk right into one of the traps. The lawyer keeps explaining the brother's flawless plan, pointing out that he planted contraband everywhere, including Wang Hongli's car. Wang Hongli insists he's innocent, wondering if he's going to take the fall for something he didn't do. While the work keeps piling up at his company, the lawyer reassures him, promising he'll make sure he doesn't get convicted. Right then, the lawyer gets a call on his phone. He tells Wang Hongli that his daughter has vanished and was kidnapped. On the other end of the line, his wife is crying hysterically, unable to find her daughter. Wang Hongli completely loses hope upon hearing the news. Meanwhile, Geng Hui calls the brother to tell him that his plan to take over the Hongchen group is going smoothly. He adds that Wang Hongli's wife, Chen Suhua, might be an obstacle, but he can handle her. The brother coldly tells him not to worry about her because she'll disappear within days. Geng Hui is shocked, realizing the brother is planning to take her out. After that, Geng Hui meets up with one of his men and asks him what he found in his investigation. The man tells him about a mysterious organization called the Heaven Society and hints that the brother is likely linked to it. Geng Hui orders his man to investigate this organization and uncover the truth. The brother heads back to the cellar, where Wang Yuehong begs him for mercy, complaining about the darkness, bugs, and rats. The brother mocks her, saying this is just the beginning, and questions what his sister ever did wrong to deserve all this torture. He asks her if being poor or shy is a crime. Wang Yuehong admits her mistake and begs him for a sip of water. The brother agrees to her request, but on one condition. She has to confess to all her crimes on camera. Driven by thirst and utter despair, Wang Yuehong starts confessing. She states her name and explains she was Chen Lian's classmate at the institute. She describes herself not as a human, but as absolute trash. She confesses that she abused her wealth and power, and along with Zhang Kai, Gao Shui, and Fang Yu, she constantly bullied Chen Lian. She continues her confession with the details of the crime night, where they lured Chen Lian to an isolated spot, and when the victim mentioned that her brother would return soon and protect her, they flew into a blind rage. Zhang Kai stabbed her multiple times, and the others followed suit. After that, Zhang Kai suggested dumping her body in the trash, relying on their family's influence to cover up the crime. She confesses that everything that happened was entirely her fault. After recording her confession, Wang Yuehong bangs on the cellar door, demanding the water he promised her. Half an hour later, the brother returns, saying he never breaks a promise. Then he pours 100 degrees Celsius boiling water all over her while she's tied up, while laughing mockingly. At the same time, Geng Hui is shown watching the Hongchen Group's stocks crash on the screen, flashing a victorious smile now that control of the company is within his grasp. In her office, Chen Suhua notices the sharp crash in the company's stocks, realizing someone is taking advantage of the situation. Furious, she calls the culprit a scumbag exploiting the crisis for his own gain. In the evening, she calls the lawyer to ask when her husband, Wang Hongli, will get out of prison. The lawyer tells her it's not that complicated, but it requires some paperwork, and he'll be out in just a few days. During the call, a video clip pops up on her phone. She watches the video only to find her daughter, Wang Yuehong, on her knees in a filthy cellar, confessing to her crimes and saying she's not human but absolute trash. Chen Suhua is hit with pure shock and rage. She calls the cops, telling them her daughter sent her a confession video, insisting that Chen Mu is the one who forced her to do it. She demands they move immediately to save her, but the female officer on the other end tells her to stay calm, explaining that they need to verify the evidence first before taking any action. Chen Suhua completely loses her mind with rage, screaming at the officer, threatening that her daughter's life is worth more than all of theirs combined, and that they'll pay with their lives if anything happens to her. Chen Suhua loses her patience and decides to take matters into her own hands. She rounds up a mob of her men and orders them to head to the Chen family home to destroy it and force them to hand over her daughter. The convoy takes off in several black cars. On the way, she calls the lawyer, tells him her plan, and demands he be ready to defend them no matter the cost, because she is hell-bent on destroying the Chen family. Little did she know, the driver behind the wheel of her car was Chen Mu himself, after he had already gotten rid of her original driver. He speaks to her calmly, asking her how she would feel if it was her daughter who got hurt. Chen Suhua turns around, terrified, as he reveals his identity as Chen Lian's brother. Then he smirks sarcastically and welcomes her to hell. He guns the car at an insane speed, crossing 180 kilometers per hour, leaving the bodyguards' cars eating his dust. The guards think her driver is just being reckless and unable to catch up. They decide to head straight to the set destination and wait for her there, vowing to teach the driver a lesson. The brother takes Chen Suhua to the exact same cellar and throws her onto the ground. Her daughter is shocked by her presence and asks why she's there. Chen Suhua wakes up and looks with utter disgust at her filth-covered daughter. Crying, the daughter begs her, saying she confessed to everything, but the mother shoves her away, asserting that their lives are way more valuable than anyone else's. Chen Suhua stands up to face the brother and tries to negotiate, brushing off what happened as just a kid's fight, and offers him cash compensation for a settlement. The brother coldly rejects her offer, telling them both that he'll make them taste the exact same pain his sister felt. Then he throws them a fake lifeline, saying only one of them can make it out alive. The brother leaves Chen Suhua and her daughter, Wang Yuehong, in the cellar, telling them they have to decide who gets to live, or he'll just end them both. The daughter screams, begging her mother to choose her because she's still young, reminding her that she's already lived her life, promising she'll visit her grave and burn ritual money for her. Furious, the mother slaps her daughter, scolding her for being selfish and ungrateful. Then the mother turns to the brother, trying to shift all the blame onto her daughter, claiming that as a mother she couldn't control everything she did. She tells him to kill her instead if he wants, and in a desperate bid to save her own skin, she disowns her daughter, calling her a disgrace, and says she can just have another kid. The brother smirks sarcastically, watching them tear each other apart, then drops a knife on the floor and walks away, leaving the mother-daughter showdown to reach its bloody climax. Half an hour later, the scenes show Wang Yuehong sobbing hysterically, claiming she didn't mean to kill her mom. The brother opens the cellar door and tells her she played her part well, and that she can keep living, but how much time she has left depends entirely on how she behaves. As he tries to leave, she begs him to take her mother's corpse out of the cellar because she's terrified, but he completely ignores her and locks the door. In prison, Wang Hongli receives a video showing his wife and daughter fighting to the death. He's hit with absolute shock and bewilderment, demanding to see his lawyer immediately. He tries to call his wife, but her phone is off, and he realizes the video has been wiped. He rings up his lawyer, demanding to be pulled out of prison at any cost because his family is in grave danger. Meanwhile, Zhang Zhongsheng and the rest of the bullies' parents find out about Chen Suhua's disappearance. They realize Chen Mu is the one behind it and that they completely underestimated him. They decide to dodge a direct confrontation with him, and Zhang Zhongsheng suggests negotiating and offering a massive payout to put an end to this. Zhang Zhongsheng tasks one of his employees to negotiate with the brother. The employee meets the brother and offers a settlement, suggesting he show some mercy. He presents a contract with a 4 million compensation. The brother coldly asks if he has a sister, and when the guy answers no, he tells him he will never understand where he's coming from. The employee tries to threaten the brother, reminding him of Zhang Zhongsheng's power and influence, but the brother smashes a teapot over his head, then boots him hard in the stomach, sending the cafe into total chaos. The brother tells the employee he's lucky he has nothing to do with the case, otherwise he would have slaughtered him. Then he walks out, leaving the guy bleeding on the floor. When the news hits the bullies' parents, they realize the brother isn't after cash, he only wants blood. They decide they have no choice left but to use their own dirty methods. Since going by the book won't work on him, Fang Long suggests getting rid of him permanently, telling them he knows a powerful mob boss in another province who can take care of business like this. Everyone agrees to the plan, stressing they are ready to drop any amount of money to wipe out the brother. Fang Long hits up the gangster, who demands a 3 million fee, with half up front. The parents agree and instantly wire 1.5 million. Down in the cellar, Wang Yuehong keeps begging, telling the brother she realized her mistake and asking him for some food because she's about to starve to death. The brother coldly tells her that a human can survive for 7 days without food or water, and only 3 days have passed. Then he mockingly hints that there is food right down there with her, referring to her mother's corpse, pointing out that desperation can drive a person to do anything, and he tells her that this game of hell has only just begun. After a while, the brother gets a phone call. On the other end, a man introduces himself as Brother Chen, a gang leader respected by everyone. He tells him he's here to mediate the situation. The brother asks what he wants, so he invites him to meet up at a cafe to discuss it, and the brother agrees. The brother arrives at the spot and gets patted down by Chen's men before heading in. Inside, he finds Chen sitting down, surrounded by dozens of his gang members. The brother calmly sits down and pours himself some tea, then asks the man if he's Brother Chen. One of the thugs snaps at him for his audacity, but Chen orders him to clear out along with the others. Chen tells the brother he knows his story, and that he's here as a mediator at the request of Gao Chenhong, advising him not to be reckless and to save his life to take care of his parents. The brother sharply asks if he's here to talk or to fight. Chen mocks his question, explaining he's just sharing advice based on experience, and he's free to take it or leave it. Then he warns him that an ordinary person can't stand up against his power, and swears to send his men to kill him within 3 days. The brother fires back defiantly, then let's see who dies first. The brother leaves the place, and Chen orders his men to be ready to roll at any second. The brother walks down a hallway lined with Chen's thugs. He enters a room and sits down, leaving the door cracked open. Xiaofeng walks in, who turns out to be his childhood friend and one of Chen's guys. He notices the brother has started smoking, something he never used to do. The brother welcomes him, and Xiaofeng tells him he's been out of town for the last few days. His childhood friend Xiaofeng asks the brother what's up with all the trouble and why he's being hunted down. The brother tells him to take a look around the house to see who's missing. Xiaofeng heads toward Chen Lian's room, and is frozen in shock when he finds it completely empty. He asks heartbrokenly if Lian is really gone. The brother tells him she was murdered by 4 of her classmates, admitting he had no clue she was being bullied for so long, feeling like a failure as an older brother for not protecting her. Xiaofeng asks what his plan is, and the brother insists he'll get revenge on his own, telling him to stay out of it. Xiaofeng agrees and promises to keep him updated on any new info, reminding him that brother Chen trusts him. When they step outside, Xiaofeng is stunned to see a massive crowd of Heaven Society members waiting for them, all decked out in matching uniforms and standing in formation out of respect. The men salute the brother, shouting, "Welcome back, Brother Mu." Then they chant their creed, "Heaven never fails, life never ends, and all worldly evils must be wiped out." The neighbors watch the scene go down, assuming they're just shooting a movie. The brother angrily demands to know why they came. The group leader apologizes, explaining he couldn't hold back the men, who insisted on rolling out to help him avenge his sister after hearing her story, unable to stand by and watch this injustice. They assure the brother they can flip the entire city upside down within 3 days and that this is exactly what the Heaven Society stands for. Xiaofeng offers his help too. The brother tells them he'll call them when he needs them, warning them never to break his orders again, or they'll be punished according to the society's rules. The men fall in line and clear out of the area. Then Xiaofeng says goodbye to his friend and takes off. The brother gets a call from his dad, who tells him the police have reached a verdict on his sister's case and asks them to come over to sign the papers. The brother agrees and heads down to the police station, where he finds his parents completely breaking down. He asks about the verdict, only to find the parents of the other bullies waiting for him. They mock him for rejecting the financial settlement, telling him they offered him a way out but he threw it away. Meanwhile, Gao Shui's mother downplays the whole incident, calling it just a schoolyard fight that got a bit out of hand. The bullies' mothers keep up their mockery, with Fang Yu's mother claiming people are just painting their kids as monsters, arrogantly adding that nobody actually wants to be friends with poor people anyway. Brushing off the financial payout like it was an act of charity, she insults the victim's life, saying it's just one dead girl. Gao Shui's mother backs her up, claiming the incident traumatized their own kids, and that they haven't even filed for compensation yet. The brother reads the official police report, which labels the incident as a mutual brawl. The sentence rules that the killers will only serve 6 days in juvenile detention, with bail options and a couple thousand in fines, closing the case for good. The brother and his mother can't believe the absolute injustice, seeing their daughter's life thrown away for a joke of a punishment. In pure pain and fury, the brother mutters, "Monsters are living among us." After leaving the police station, the brother confronts the parents in the parking garage. Fang Long orders him to clear out, threatening to run him over. The mothers keep mocking him, viewing the brother as a total nobody, and acting like the case is done and dusted. Then Fang Long threatens him again, claiming he knows about his past and that his end will be by their hands. In a flash of rage, the brother grabs Fang Long's hand and snaps his fingers, while Fang Long screams in agony. The brother calmly tells him that the Fang family is his next target, and their fate won't be any different from the Wangs. Then looking straight at Fang Long, he promises him a slow, painful death, telling them all that what he did today was just a little greeting. Meanwhile, Wang Hongli gets released. On his way out, he calls one of his thugs named Air Long, ordering him to gather his crew. When he arrives at his company headquarters, he's blindsided to find out he wasn't notified about a board meeting. He storms into the conference room only to find Geng Hui running the show. Geng Hui mockingly tells him they were just way too busy to give him a proper welcome. Wang Hongli screams in his face, accusing him of exploiting his absence to slash his shares in the company down to just 1%. Geng Hui fires back coldly, blaming his daughter for causing this entire mess. Then he orders security to throw him out of the building. After kicking him out, Geng Hui fires over a text to the brother, letting him know the plan was a total success. Wang Hongli meets up with Air Long and orders him to launch a massive online smear campaign against Chen Lian, handing him a credit card with no limit, emphasizing that the cost doesn't matter, only the impact does. Meanwhile, Wang Hongli gets a text from the brother, informing him that his wife has been taken out but his daughter is still breathing, telling him he's up next and inviting him to meet up alone in the afternoon. Erlong starts executing the plan, flooding the internet with fake rumors, claiming Chen Lian's death was a complete accident, that she had mental health issues, and that her family only cares about milking the situation for cash. He piles on more lies, claiming she used to pack a knife to school and terrify her classmates. Erlong scrolls through the net and reads a comment claiming Chen Lian's brother is just fighting for justice for his sister. Erlong fires back that true justice lies in people's hearts, accusing the brother of unfairly targeting her 4 classmates, swearing that the brother will get what's coming to him. Then he offers to testify that Chen Lian's classmates never touched her, but were actually helping her out behind the scenes. Thanks to the organized hit job, the fake rumors instantly skyrocket to the top of the trending charts. Wang Hongli watches the chaos unfold with a satisfied smirk. When the brother spots the news, he snaps into a blind rage and storms back down to the cellar where he's holding Wang Yuehong. He unleashes his fury, brutally beating her. The girl collapses onto the floor, completely broken. The brother records a video of the assault. After that, one of his guys rings him up, asking if it's finally time to make a move. The brother shuts it down, saying it's not time yet, then asks if he saw the viral news trending online, and tells him he'll send over 2 video clips, ordering him to blast them online to completely replace the fake rumors at the top of the trends. The man instantly agrees. Meanwhile, the brother goes shopping at a mall, but people passing by recognize his face. One guy points him out, confirming he's the dude from the news, while another mutters that he'll do anything to extort cash. A woman steps up and confronts him directly, saying denying it won't do him any good, since his pictures are blasted all over the place. A guy walks up and accuses him of lying, claiming his sister was mentally ill and committed suicide, blaming him for making trouble for everyone. A whole mob surrounds him, throwing wild accusations. They call him a horrible person, exploiting his sister's death for a quick buck, and threaten to beat him to death. The brother finds himself completely cornered. Calmly, he grabs a fire extinguisher and aims it straight at the angry mob. He unleashes the spray, causing massive chaos and a giant cloud of dust. Taking advantage of the confusion, he totally dismantles the people who jumped him. When the dust clears, nothing is left but a massive puddle of blood on the floor. The female officer arrives at the scene, wondering if the brother was the one behind it. Paramedics rush to wheel out the injured, and the officer is left stunned at how the brother, in a single split second, managed to single-handedly take down all these people on his own. Checking the security room, she discovers the cameras recorded absolutely nothing, realizing she can't arrest him based on mere eyewitness chat without real proof. Suddenly, the trending charts flip completely as Wang Yuehong's confession video breaks the internet. In the video, she confesses her name and confirms she was Chen Lian's classmate at the institute. Then she calls herself not human, but absolute garbage. She goes on to confess that on that night, the 4 of them lured Chen Lian out, and then brutally murdered her. Public opinion completely flips upside down instantly, with everyone realizing the horrific truth that Chen Lian was murdered. Comments flood the internet calling the killers absolute demons. The second video drops, showing Wang Yuehong standing right next to her mother's corpse, confessing she was the one who killed her, screaming that she's a monster. The public goes wild, with non-stop comments demanding justice and bloody execution. The police officers watch the news unfold in absolute shock. The headlines are dominated by pictures of the mother and daughter, labeling them as savage and completely soulless. Puzzled, the female officer mutters, "Chen Mu, who on earth are you really?" In his office, Wang Hongli collapses in utter despair. Then he springs up screaming that he needs to save his daughter. He shoots a text to the brother asking for the location, swearing he'll come alone, and the brother sends the coordinates instantly. Wang Hongli grabs a knife and speeds off in his car, consumed by pure rage. He rolls up to an abandoned spot and sees his daughter sitting on the ground, screaming for help. Suddenly, her face twists into an evil smirk as she repeats, "Save me." The father looks at her with intense rage and clenches his fist, gearing up for a showdown. Wang Hongli demands the brother let his daughter go first, saying they can settle their score later. The brother plays along, pretending to set her free, and as the girl dashes toward her dad, the brother blindsides her, throwing a knife straight at her. The blade bites deep into her leg, sending her crashing to the ground, screaming out for help. The father yells at his face, asking why on earth he keeps rejecting cash, adding that money can buy literally anything. Then he shamelessly tells him to just ask his parents to breed him another sister. The brother fires back with a mocking laugh, asking if the dude honestly thinks he gives a damn about money. The father backs up in pure terror, threatening that he'll destroy him. The brother lunges at him and stabs him, sending Wang Hongli crashing down. The brother tells him his sister's death is just the beginning of his end. Then turning to the sobbing daughter, he tells her torment has just begun, and she'll pay her dues in hell. After that, the brother douses the cellar where he locked the daughter in gasoline. He flicks his lighter, setting it ablaze, flames violently tearing through the cellar, burning the daughter alive along with the rest of her family. The brother speeds off on his motorcycle as the entire building blows up behind him. Cops roll up to the scene to find the place completely leveled, pulling out a charred corpse from the wreckage. At the fire site, a police officer asks his partner if she has any suspects. She tells him she suspects Chen Mu, Chen Lian's brother, asserting he is definitely the killer, but she doesn't have any solid proof against him yet. She adds she's confident the evidence will surface soon, vowing to lock him up herself. Meanwhile, the remaining bullies' parents gather, and Gao Shui's father announces his family is packing up to leave the country. Another points out that getting a passport will take about a month. Feng Yu's father comments that running away is a solid plan, but the paperwork takes a whole month, wondering if they can even survive for that long. He suggests trying to renegotiate with the brother through brother Chen again. Fang Long decides to handle it himself this time, ordering a massive stack of cash to be brought over. because he refuses to believe the brother won't eventually get greedy for money. In the meantime, the brother is chilling in a cafe, getting a text from his buddy Xiaofeng saying brother Chen wants to meet up at the Gao family's request, promising him he'll be right there. Gao's father meets up with brother Chen, offering an extra $1 million to permanently take out the brother. Brother Chen accepts the hit by any means necessary, reassuring Gao's father that he knows exactly how to handle business like this. Brother Chen asks his right-hand man about the brother's background, who tells him that after looking into it, the guy is just an ordinary nobody with zero backing. The brother arrives at the meeting spot, and the mobsters pat him down. Brother Chen welcomes him and pours some tea, praising him for his guts. The brother asks him straight up about Gao Xue's status. Gao's father tries to dodge it, claiming she was just misled, expressing his regret over what happened to his sister, but adds that she's already dead anyway and they need to find a workaround. The brother fires back mockingly that when his daughter was slapping his sister, those slaps sure sounded loud. Gao's father begs him to name his price, swearing to do absolutely anything if he just spares his daughter. The brother tells him he has 2 conditions. The father urges him to spit it out, and the brother replies, "First, all of you drop dead. Second, my sister comes back to life." Brother Chen steps in, saying the dead don't return, and asks him to drop the matter out of respect for him. Brother Chen and the bully Gao's father offer Chen Mu $5 million, asking him to back off and close the case. Wondering if this chunk of change is enough to buy his life, the gangsters show up, completely surrounding the place. Brother Chen starts bragging about his background and influence, pointing out that he spent nearly 20 years in the underworld and has dealt with all kinds of crowds, boasting that he owns 7 nightclubs in other provinces and has hundreds of followers, alongside a massive network of connections. Chen Mu mockingly cuts him off, asking if he came here for a blind date, telling him coldly that he doesn't give a damn about his background details. Chen threatens him that if he keeps sticking his nose into this case, he won't make it back to his province alive. Flying into a blind rage, he orders his men to slaughter him, screaming at them to attack. The next second, his childhood friend, Xiaofeng, suddenly opens fire in a backstabbing move, blasting brother Chen and telling Chen Mu that he took him out for his sake. Chen Mu thanks him for it. Xiaofeng announces brother Chen's death right in front of the crew, claiming he died today in a freak accident, and declares himself the new boss taking over the wheel, challenging anyone who objects to step right up. The gang members cheer, welcoming their new boss and celebrating his takeover. Xiaofeng orders them to grab brother Chen's corpse and bury it, so the body gets dragged away to be hidden. Gao's father is absolutely terrified, begging Chen Mu to reason with him, and asking him not to use violence. Chen Mu points his gun straight at him, asking him if he finally gets what it feels like to fear death, pointing out that his sister felt that exact same terror before she was killed. The father begs him to hold on, insisting there's still a chance to negotiate. Chen Mu pulls the trigger without a second thought, dropping him dead on the floor. Chen Mu wonders if he went too easy on him by letting him die that easily, but Xiaofeng assures him he got exactly the punishment he deserved. Chen Mu heads to his parents' house to get them out of harm's way, and his mom is shocked by his sudden arrival, asking if he sorted out all his business outside. Chen Mu hands his dad a bank card, telling him it's packed with enough cash to last them for the rest of their lives. He adds that he booked plane tickets for them, to take off tomorrow evening. The dad asks in total confusion where they are heading, so Chen Mu tells him he's already arranged for his friends abroad to take them in, asking them to just look at it as a vacation and that they'll be back soon once he finishes wrapping things up. The father wonders about the massive change in his son over the years he spent at the training facility and how he ended up like this. Chen Mu promises to tell him everything later, stressing that right now just isn't the time. They sit down for a farewell dinner, eating their food in absolute silence. At the airport, Chen Mu watches his parents take off. The female officer corners him, asking if he thinks sending his parents away will cover up his crimes, and does he honestly think they don't know what he's up to? He fires back, denying that his parents' trip is any of her business. The officer assures him she'll get the evidence soon, and when she does, she'll come to lock him up, adding that she believes he's not a criminal by nature, advising him to come with her and turn himself in, to get a lighter sentence. Chen Mu flat out rejects her interference, threatening her that if she keeps investigating, he won't mind dragging her straight to hell with him. His words completely terrify the officer, giving her total goosebumps, and she completely freezes in her tracks from the shock. Meanwhile, the father of the bully, Zhang Kai, gets word about the suspected deaths of both Gao's father and brother Chen, wondering who on earth could pull off an attack like that and take them both out together. The bully Zhang Kai completely collapses in terror, pointing out that it started with the Wang family, then the Gao family, and that their turn is coming up next, crying and begging his dad for a way out. His father scolds him and tells him to pull himself together, refusing to believe it, ruling out any chance of Chen Mu storming their house and wiping them out. Back at the station, the female officer suspects Chen Mu is behind the recent murders, wondering if he's the real killer. She stares closely at his personal file. Her thoughts are cut short when the police chief walks in and she salutes him. He pulls out a picture of the Heaven Society symbol, and the officer is totally shocked to see it, wondering what the Heaven Society has to do with this. The chief confirms his suspicions that these events are tied straight to that society. The officer calls out to her chief, asking if he means this mess has something to do with Chen Mu, asking if the Heaven Society is secretly backing him up. The chief denies it, explaining he suspects Chen Mu himself is actually the boss of the Heaven Society. Meanwhile, the scene shows that Xiao Lu has wrapped up his investigation into Fang Long's background. Xiao Lu sends a text to Chen Mu letting him know he's uncovered every single detail and asks to meet up in the evening, and Chen Mu texts back agreeing. A calm smile appears on Chen Mu's face. The two meet up later at a restaurant where Xiao Lu greets his boss Chen Mu, inviting him to sit down. Chen Mu asks him if it's finally time to shave his beard. Xiao Lu laughs, justifying his beard by saying it gives him an artistic touch, adding that women totally dig this look nowadays. Xiao Lu hands over a file packed with all the details on Fang Long's background, pointing out that this is exactly what he asked him to dig up. Chen Mu reads through the file and notices that Fang Long is a sly bastard, since he's got several companies registered under his name. But in reality, he's just using them as a front for money laundering. Xiao Lu points out that his wealth is estimated at 300 million, and while it's not a massive amount, he's got a crew of followers who are all dangerous, reckless criminals. Chen Mu believes these reckless punks are the absolute least to be feared in this world. Xiao Lu asks him in surprise why that is, so Chen Mu coldly answers that they are the ones who represent the ruler of hell. Xiao Lu laughs, totally agreeing with him, and raises his glass to toast Chen Mu, and they drink together. Suddenly, an annoying brat intentionally bumps into their table, knocking over a beer bottle. Xiao Lu tells him to be careful, but the kid gives him a provoking look, claiming Xiao Lu was the one who bumped into him. The brat literally spits, stomps his foot, and stands right in front of their table in defiance. The kid's mother steps in, shouting to ask why Xiao Lu is screaming, accusing him of terrifying her kid and demanding compensation for it. She rudely asks him if the bump killed him, bashing him for picking a fight with a little kid. The kid keeps up his provoking antics and intentionally spills a drink all over Xiao Lu. Liquid splashes all over his clothes. Xiao Lu loses his temper and demands the parents control their son. The kid's father sharply steps in, asking why he's shouting, mocking him, asking if his kid stepped on his tail or something. Chen Mu tries to step in and talk to the man, explaining that the kid's seat is on the completely opposite side, way too far from his friend, stressing that the brat intentionally used the chair to crash into his buddy, suggesting they seriously discipline their son. The dad, high and mighty, refuses to let anyone teach him how to raise his son, ordering him to mind his own damn business, then points his finger threateningly, vowing that daring to scold his kid won't fly. He turns to his son, encouraging him to do whatever the hell he wants, telling him not to give a crap about what they say, assuring him his dad has his back and nobody will dare bully him, shamelessly adding that he can even stand on their heads and take a leak if he wants to. Chen Mu tells his friend to ignore them and keep eating, pointing out they didn't come out to start trouble. Xiao Lu's phone buzzes, so he steps out to take the call, standing outside to talk on the phone. At the exact same time, Chen Mu heads to the restroom. The kid takes advantage of their absence, climbs onto their table, and starts peeing all over it. The other customers look on in absolute shock at what the brat is doing, and the kid keeps right on peeing on the table. The kid's mother comes back to serve her son some grilled meat, feeding him herself, telling him to eat more so he can grow strong like his dad, and so nobody dares bully him. The brat keeps stuffing his face greedily. Not stopping there, he goes ahead and eats the grilled meat sitting on Chen Mu's table, smirking with enjoyment while chewing someone else's food. Xiao Lu comes back and angrily asks the parents if they're tired of living. The father stands up defiantly, asking who the hell he's talking to, shamelessly admitting his kid peed on their table, completely brushing it off, claiming that a little kid's pee is perfectly clean, adding mockingly that it's cleaner than both of their mouths. The mother chimes in, screaming that her son peeing on the table is no big deal, even claiming they should be grateful for it. The bystanders are absolutely floored by this shameless logic. The mother keeps up her bizarre justification, claiming her son is going to be a celebrity in the future, and that others wouldn't get this honor even if they begged for it. Chen Mu listens to this total garbage with a cold, piercing look. Xiao Lu suggests to Chen Mu that they teach this fat kid a lesson. The brat keeps provoking them, sticking his tongue out and making stupid faces. Instead of blowing up, Chen Mu just gathers his papers and files, getting ready to roll out. The provoking brat throws juice all over Chen Mu and grabs the chance to steal his data file, while Xiao Lu looks on in absolute shock. Xiao Lu explains that losing the file isn't a problem since it can be reprinted, but the real danger is that the leaked info inside could hurt Chen Mu. Xiao Lu demands it back, ordering the parents to return it immediately, warning them of severe consequences if they don't. But the brat intentionally throws the file into the fire grill to burn. The mother smirks, brushing it off as just paper, then cheers her son on, telling him he got what he wanted, and that this paper is his now, so he's free to do whatever the hell he wants with it. She arrogantly adds that she has his back and nobody will dare touch him. The father steps in to egg him on even more, telling him to let them know if anyone bullies him so they can skin them alive, adding that he should use the exact same style at school, and if anyone dares touch his stuff, he should beat them to death. Chen Mu and Xiao Lu leave the restaurant and cut the power, disabling the security cameras, completely sabotaging the entire electrical circuit. Inside, the kid's mother wonders why the power suddenly went out, complaining that her brat hasn't finished his food yet, demanding they call the restaurant owner right now, using the excuse that this blackout is ruining her son's meal, and threatening to smash the entire restaurant to pieces. Suddenly, the brother appears right in front of her in the pitch dark, blasting her with a powerful blow to the chest. Realizing the attackers are the two guys from earlier, the mother screams, bashing their audacity to attack, ordering her husband to beat them up. Xiao Lu uses a heavy glass ashtray as a weapon in the dark. Xiao Lu smashes the father's head hard with it. In the pitch-black place, he pulls out a knife and stabs the mother right in the stomach, leaving only the son sitting right next to his parents' corpses. The kid completely breaks down crying out for his parents, sobbing uncontrollably. Chen Mu approaches him, coldly telling him not to be such a brat in his next life, then grabs the kid's head firmly and forces it close to the fire. Meanwhile, Xiao Lu stands there calmly chugging a bottle of beer, completely ignoring the chaos around him. At the hospital, Fang Long and his wife visit a patient completely covered in bandages. It turns out to be the provoking brat's mother, named Chen Chen. The wife asks her in absolute shock what caused her horrific injuries. Crying over her luck and wondering what sin she committed, the mother tells them those two crazy attackers slaughtered her child. Sobbing, she adds that her husband is still fighting for his life in the ICU and that her family is completely destroyed. Then she advises them to be extremely careful when raising their kids, and never let them just do whatever they want. Admitting she was the one who ruined her own family, Fang Long asks her about the description of the culprits. She describes the first one as a tall, skinny student, and the second one having a thick beard and a powerful build. Fang Long instantly realizes the killer is Chen Mu. The bedridden mother wonders who on earth Chen Mu is. Fang Long sighs anxiously, asking her if she's heard about what happened to Wang Hongli, the chairman of the Hongchen group. She confirms she heard about it, and as their conversation goes on, he realizes in absolute horror that Chen Mu is the mastermind behind all of this. Fearing revenge, Fang Long hands over the management of his company to other executives, and flees to hide with his wife and daughter in a secret villa, where the wife grumbles about how long they've been stuck in this hideout. Fang Long furiously scolds his daughter, blaming her entirely for the disaster, stressing that he can't even go to his own company anymore, adding that she completely miscalculated when she chose to provoke this specific guy. But the daughter, Fang Yu, fires back coldly and arrogantly, viewing the victim as just a dead girl, and that it's not worth all this fuss, dodging responsibility by claiming she wasn't the mastermind behind the crime. Late at night, Chen Mu sneaks into Fang Long's company headquarters carrying a can of gasoline. A guard dog stands in his way, so he picks up a rock from the ground and hurls it at it, and the dog drops dead on the floor. Chen Mu douses the company headquarters with gasoline, sets it ablaze, and takes off. In the surveillance room, a guy sits watching the screens, who turns out to be Fang Qiang, Fang Long's brother. While the gasoline quietly begins spreading across the company floor, Fang Qiang notices the fuel covering the floor, and flames violently erupt in the place, revealing that Chen Mu successfully burned down Fang Long's shipping warehouses, destroying them completely. At exactly 6:30 a.m., Fang Long wakes up to his phone ringing, getting an urgent call from his assistant letting him know a disaster struck, informing him that his brother Fang Qiang met with an accident and burned to death in the warehouse fire, throwing Fang Long into absolute shock. The assistant keeps telling him that the fire devoured all the trade secrets in the office, and Fang Long asks if any documents were saved, only for the assistant to flat out say no, and that everything turned to ash, causing Fang Long to drop his phone from the sheer horror of the tragedy. His wife asks him what happened, so he tells her that his brother is dead and the company suffered a devastating fire, shocking the wife as grim silence takes over them both. Fang Long realizes right then that his opponent Chen Mu is no joke, deciding to hit up a guy named Haozi, asking him to take care of wiping someone out, offering him 5 million for the hit. Haozi smirks and agrees instantly, showing his readiness to slaughter anyone he names. So Fang Long wires an upfront payment of 2 million yuan to his account, and leans back in his chair trying to catch his breath. Meanwhile, Chen Mu gets a call from one of his men, letting him know that Fang Long hired a pack of mercenaries to take him out, offering to handle this problem on his behalf. Chen Mu asks about the identity of these mercenaries, and his man tells him their leader is named Haozi, who is a notorious figure in the underworld, having pulled off several massive crimes in recent years and been laying low this whole time. Chen Mu asks if he's a habitual criminal, wondering if taking him out fits the creeds of the Heaven Society, and his man confirms it aligns perfectly with their principles. Chen-mu issues his orders to eliminate this threat according to the society's rules, and the man agrees to execute it, telling him he'll send someone to pick him up to start the mission. At the gang's hideout, Hyozi's men celebrate receiving the cash, asking their leader when they're rolling out to execute the mission, expressing their pure thirst for a fight. One of them downplays the target since he's just a regular student, thinking it'll be boring and way too easy. As the gang members burst into mocking laughter, Hyozi steps out to warn his men not to underestimate the situation, questioning why someone like Fang Long would drop such a massive amount of cash for an ordinary student, stressing the absolute need to be careful. Their conversation is cut short when some thugs show up dragging a kidnapped girl, presenting her to their leader as a gift. One of them smirks wickedly, loving the change of routine, and starts talking to his men, wondering if they should get rid of the hostages locked inside first and replace them with this girl. Then Hyozi decides to spend some time with her to teach her a lesson first. Suddenly, a female officer appears right in front of them, flashing a gun in their faces. It turns out to be Officer Zhang Qian, ordering them not to move. The gang members are caught off guard at first and grab their weapons, but Hyozi smirks sarcastically, totally unbothered by her threat, and the thugs laugh mockingly when they realize she's just a cop, making fun of her looks with overinflated confidence. The officer orders them to put their hands on their heads and hit the deck to go back with her to the police station, addressing Hyozi directly, telling him the bounty on his head has been up for a long time and today is his end. Hyozi smirks arrogantly hearing how famous he is, so the officer warns him again, ordering him to get down before she fires. One of the thugs fires back mockingly, considering her attempt to arrest them all by herself total madness, and wondering how she plans to control a crowd this big. They mock her, asking if her gun is even loaded, and if it even packs real bullets to begin with. The officer replies that she knows they don't have real firearms, so they tell her to stop bluffing with empty threats, ordering them again to shut up and faceplant the floor. She fires a warning shot into the air to prove she's dead serious, as the gang members look at her tensely, but one of the thugs hiding behind the door exploits her distraction to blindside her, striking her down so she hits the floor, losing complete control of the situation. The gang surrounds her, mocking her vanished bravery, gloating over how fast she fell, keeping up the mockery while looking down on her with pure contempt, as their provoking laughter echoes, while she glares at them in rage and utter helplessness. And Hyozi smirks evilly, vowing he'll deal with her in his own special way later. The gang members realize the officer just fired a shot and know the security forces will hit the site soon, making the call to pack up and pull out immediately. Meanwhile, the kidnapped female officer screams out for help, begging them to set her free. As they get ready to bolt, one of the thugs is shocked to find someone sitting inside their car. The officer stands there bleeding, watching the scene, while the thug asks furiously who this intruder is. Chen-mu gives him a razor-sharp glare, and calmly announces he's the boss of the Heaven Society, leaving everyone present completely blown away. The thugs whisper to each other that they've heard about the terrifying reputation of the Heaven Society, and that many of its members hold special identities that make even the guards not dare touch them. The officer is completely shell-shocked finding out his true rank, but the gang leader Hyozi ignores all warnings and points his gun straight at Chen-mu, declaring he won't back down even if divine intervention hits, asserting he doesn't fear the Heaven Society. Hyozi fires directly, but Chen-mu dodges the bullet with ghost-like speed, moving to the left side of the car. Suddenly, Hyozi's left hand gets pierced by a sharp blade, revealing that Xiaofeng has arrived with hundreds of Heaven Society men to settle the score. Xiaofeng appears, announcing he's come to punish the abusers. Hyozi hits the ground in agony, taking a brutal blow straight to the face, while the gang members are completely surrounded by a massive crowd of society men. In a later scene, Officer Zhang Qian wakes up lying in her house, realizing last night's events felt like an unreal dream. Her phone suddenly rings, and she gets a call from her boss at work ordering her to come to the guard station immediately. The officer agrees, confirming she's on her way. At the guard station, an emergency meeting is called, and the officer wonders if there's a major case going down. The chief tells her it's about last night's events, confirming her presence at the crime scene. The chief explains they found leads pointing to Hyozi's gang, but they also found her own gun at the crime scene, scolding her for losing her service weapon. The chief asks her what really went down, so the officer rushes to give a detailed report on last night's events. The officer suggests issuing immediate arrest warrants, stressing the absolute need to bust Hyozi's gang as fast as possible, adding that the gang kidnapped several female students, and their fate is still completely unknown. The chief drops a bombshell, announcing that all 9 members of Hyozi's gang are dead, with Hyozi found slaughtered and dumped in a trash bin, while the others were killed by being thrown off a tall building, or crushed under train wheels, or buried alive. The officer is shocked and anxiously inquires about the kidnapped students, only for the chief to reassure her that they've returned home safely. adding that the Heaven Society handed them a sum of cash as compensation. He notes that he tried to interrogate the students about the society, but they flat out refused to talk. Elsewhere, Fang Long reassures his family that they'll be able to head back home as soon as things settle down in a few days. Suggesting to his wife and daughter they go out for a family trip to clear their heads. This moment is shattered when a message hits the wife's phone, containing a video clip documenting Fang Long's cheating. The wife flies into a total rage, confronting her husband, demanding to know who the woman in the video is. She brutally beats him and stomps all over him, sharply scolding him for cheating on her, accusing him of taking advantage of her getting older. The daughter steps in, expressing her disgust at her father's behavior. While the wife keeps violently bashing him, Fang Long breaks down, begging her to give him a chance to explain, claiming that what he did is a mistake every man makes, throwing the blame on his mistress, claiming she seduced him. The wife rejects his excuses, ordering him to end his relationship with that woman within 2 days, threatening to kick him out for good if he doesn't. Fang Long is left all alone, drowning in his rage and frustration, only to suddenly get a text from his mistress Meng Yuan, demanding he pay up the agreed amount of cash. The mistress threatens him that she'll expose him to everyone before flying abroad if he doesn't pay. So Fang Long angrily texts back demanding to know her location to hand over the money. Fang Long gets a threatening text from his mistress demanding the cash before she travels and vowing to expose him, so he asks for the meeting spot, and she sets it at the back door of his house in half an hour. Fang Long waits furiously until it strikes 10:30 p.m. He heads toward the back door, reaching the specified spot. A text hits him asking how he knew her location, followed by another mocking him and making light of his attempts to hide. He replies, asserting he's going with her, adding that he wants to know who that other guy is. But he begins to suspect there's foul play, trying to call the number with zero response. Standing at the back door, wondering why nobody is there, he suddenly deduces that his wife, Yu King, has been kidnapped. He dashes back inside the house to find his daughter sitting alone. He asks her frantically if her mother has returned. She answers in surprise that she assumed she went out with him. He realizes right then that the disaster has already struck. He sits down in despair, checking his phone in the dark. An unknown text hits him, confirming his wife is being held hostage. He boils with rage and curses at the sender, demanding he return his wife immediately. The reply comes back mocking, challenging him to come to him if he wants her alive. He turns sharply toward his daughter, ordering her to lock down all the doors and windows of the house, and call the police the second anything happens. He rushes out carrying a metal weapon. His daughter locks the door from the inside, making sure to put on the iron chain, then looks on in fear and anxiety, locking the door with the key. Fang Long sets off, his face filled with extreme rage. He storms through the door of an apartment, only to be blindsided by seeing his mistress in another guy's arms. Signs of shock and anger flash all over him, staring in complete bewilderment at what he sees. The mistress is shocked and asks him why he came. He lunges at her, accusing her of blowing his cash on another lover. The lover steps in, trying to protect her and stand up for her. Fang Long exchanges brutal blows with him, vowing to murder him. The lover manages to land powerful hits on him while the mistress watches the scene. Fang Long crashes to the floor, covered in his own blood. The mistress sits back coldly, asking him what exactly he wants, telling him he's got his own family and house, rudely asking what's stopping her from having other men. Fang Long stands up with difficulty, completely ignoring her betrayal, demanding she hand over his wife right now. He declares right to her face that he's cutting ties with her for good. The mistress finds his words bizarre and asks what he means. He directly accuses her of kidnapping his wife and starts choking her, accusing her of sending him that scandalous video and trying to blackmail him for cash. The mistress denies his accusations, swearing she knows nothing. He keeps squeezing her neck and confronting her. He suddenly realizes the mastermind behind all of this is Chen Mu. He dashes out sprinting down the hallway while his mistress calls out to explain. She quickly chases him down the stairs, swearing there's nothing serious between her and that guy, begging him not to drag her into his messes. Fang Long keeps right on running out of the building, completely ignoring her. She keeps sprinting after him into the street, stepping onto the main road only to be blindsided by a speeding truck barreling toward her. Fang Long screams her name Meng Yao in pure panic. The truck violently plows right over her without mercy, leaving her sprawled on the ground drowning in her own blood. Fang Long kneels in absolute shock right in front of the truck. Chen Mu pokes his head out of the driver's window, greeting him with total coldness. Chen Mu tells him the reason she was killed is because she was pregnant with his kid, vowing to send his entire family straight to hell, asserting his illegitimate kids won't be an exception. Fang Long explodes with rage, deciding to fight him to the death. He charges at the truck carrying his metal weapon. Chen Mu flings open the truck door and kicks him hard. Fang Long stumbles backward from the sheer force of the blow. Chen Mu steps down, looking at him with utter contempt, mocking his attempt to fight, assuring him with a smirk that he doesn't have the qualifications to face him. He reminds him that his daughter was the one who caused his sister's death, and he didn't even bother to offer a single apology. Chen Mu kicks him again, dropping him flat on the floor, vowing to make him taste true despair slowly, standing over him, revealing he knows all about him hiring the criminal Hyozi to slaughter him. Fang Long is totally shocked that he knows. Chen Mu mocks his audacity to keep playing enemy, calling his reliance on a guy like Hyozi completely hilarious. Chen Mu drives a finishing punch straight into Fang Long's face, smashing him violently into the ground. Chen Mu assures him he won't let him die that easily, but will make him taste the agonies of hell step by step. He bargains with him over his wife's life if he still wants to save her, conditioning it on him publicly exposing all his company's scandals and crimes, giving him a deadline of just 2 days to pull it off while Fang Long bleeds out heavily. Chen Mu climbs back into the truck and drives off calmly, leaving Fang Long all alone, shell-shocked and broken in the pitch-black street. The scene shows the truck burning down completely to wipe out the evidence and hide any trace of the crime. Elsewhere, Officer Fang Qian meets Chen Mu to ask if he was the one who saved her life last night from Hyozi's gang. Chen Mu denies it with absolute coldness, claiming he was fast asleep at home, telling her to stop imagining things. The officer stands her ground, insisting she's completely certain he's linked to the Heaven Society and knows damn well he's the one who saved her, thanking him all over again. Chen Mu ignores her talk, pointing out she's thanking the wrong guy. So the officer justifies her stance, saying he has no right to judge Hyozi's gang on his own, warning him against crossing red lines, advising him to get back on the right path. Chen Mu cuts her off, refusing to listen to her lecture, and angrily reminds her of the 4 bullies who tortured his sister, before ordering her to beat it immediately. The scene shifts to Fang Yu asking her dad Fang Long where her mother is. The father flies into a blind rage, delivering a hard slap that sends her crashing to the ground, then kicks her brutally, scolding her severely, holding her entirely responsible for the disaster due to her recklessness, revealing to her that Chen Mu kidnapped her mother, and that his brother met his end too. Fang Yu breaks down crying from the shock, while her father stomps out of the room in anger, and Fang Yu sprints to her room. Fang Yu is shown slumped on the floor, cursing the victim Chen Lian, wishing she had tortured her even more, and vowing that her brother will meet his end soon by their hands. Fang Yu is hit with a nasty surprise as a scandalous video of her leaks, with her boyfriend Wang Xiangdong all over the internet. A netizen is shown watching the scandal, laughing hysterically at the shattered image of the girl he used to think was perfect. Fang Yu discovers that her boyfriend pinned a comment accusing her of cheating and trashy behavior. She calls him in a total rage, blasting him and ordering him to get out. She later notices that any attempt to defend herself gets instantly wiped from the net, realizing someone is intentionally targeting her, and suspects Chen Mu. It's later revealed that her boyfriend Wang Xiangdong was actually kidnapped, as he shows up crying and begging in a dark interrogation room for them to leave him alone, pleading his innocence. One of Chen Mu's followers calls him up to let him know they found critical clips on the boyfriend's phone. At the exact same time, Fang Long sees his daughter's scandal topping the internet trends, and reads her texts confirming her presence at the hotel. The father storms into his daughter's room again in a blind rage, screaming at her face, slamming her actions. Fang Yu replies, crying and completely broken, saying she never wanted this to happen, wondering in absolute despair how she can ever face her classmates now that her reputation is completely ruined. Manhwa recap script translation. Fang Long is watching the news announcing a major murder in the city, where the gang of the long-wanted criminal Hyozi got wiped out. The news reveals that 9 bodies were found the next morning, and they all died in a remote area right outside the city, while the crime scene was absolutely gruesome. Weighing his options, Fang Long decides to expose his own company to save his skin. He grabs his phone and types, "Exposing the dark secrets of Dekang shipping." Looking totally exhausted and super stressed out. Somewhere else, a guy is tied to a chair with a rope. In a dark warehouse, the door slowly opens, revealing Chen Mo with a cold stare piercing through the dark. The tied guy is terrified and starts sweating out of fear. Chen Mo meets one of his men, who calls him Brother Mo, and the guy shows him a video on his phone. The video shows his sister, Chen Lian, getting bullied and mocked by 30 students at the training institute. The girl is seen crying in pain and humiliation. A bully steps up to her and tells her to move her hands away from her face, saying that everyone has already seen everything anyway. While the rest of the students keep laughing out loud, the bully smirks with an evil sense of victory. The scene cuts back to the tied guy who gets terrified just hearing that video, begging Chen Mo and insisting he was just going along with the others, and that he never meant to hurt her. Chen Mo remembers how kind-hearted his sister was since she was little, to the point she'd feel guilty for a long time just for stepping on a bug. He recalls their poor childhood when breakfast was just 2 slices of bread and 1 sausage. But even then, she gave her sausage to a stray cat that had just had kittens. He explains that because of their tough situation, her parents told her to be careful and not cause trouble. So, at the training institute, she always acted like a good girl, and avoided mixing with others, not out of arrogance, but because she felt inferior. Chen Mo angrily wonders how her kindness and feeling of inferiority could be a reason for others to attack and bully her. The Tide guy claims he understands her feelings, admits his mistake, and begs for another chance to start over. The guy kneels before him, but Chen Mo coldly rejects his pleas, confirming he doesn't understand his sister's feelings, but only cares about himself and reminds him how much he and the others enjoyed torturing her. Chen Mo pulls out a small knife and lunges at the guy to stab him. The guy falls to the ground screaming, covering his eyes in pain, yelling that he can't see anything anymore. Chen Mo tells him this darkness might just cleanse his soul. Chen Mo asks his guy about the Fang Yu case online. The guy tells him the scandal is spreading super fast, and now everyone knows her truth. Chen Mo smiles in satisfaction. Then he asks him about the video showing his sister getting bullied, wanting to know exactly how many people were watching and laughing. He orders him to get a list of all their names within 3 days, and the guy agrees right away. The scene shifts to show the scandals Fang Long leaked about his own company, revealing they used hearses to transport food and put dangerous additives and rotten meat in their meals. The news spreads like wildfire, and people are shocked and furious, leading to the shutdown of Dakang shipping and it getting swarmed by the press and authorities. Fang Long is sitting at home, totally defeated. Then he gets a call from Chen Mo. He answers and tells him he did what he asked. Fang Long demands Chen Mo to release his wife, arguing that his daughter's scandal is enough to end this. But Chen Mo coldly tells him he has to come pick her up himself, then suddenly hangs up, leaving Fang Long angry and confused. Meanwhile, Fang Yu is dealing with constant harassment messages, where a stranger contacts her and offers a collab. He claims he's planning to produce a movie and wants her as the main star, hinting the pay will be huge. Anonymous messages keep haunting her, and when she gets mad and blocks the number, she gets texts from a different number confirming she can't escape, making her break down in tears. Later, Fang Long finds his daughter's window open and realizes she's gone. He panics, instantly knowing Chen Mo is behind her disappearance, calling him a literal demon. At that time, Fang Yu hops into a cab trying to run away from home, but the driver, who turns out to be one of Chen Mo's guys, warns her about how dangerous the situation is. She snaps back rudely and tells him to mind his own business. The driver mocks her recent internet scandal, and she angrily asks what he means. He reveals who he really is and tells her that her fate is already sealed, completely shocking and terrifying her. She tries to open the door and bail from the car but fails. She is dragged to an abandoned, dark place, where Chen Mo welcomes her to hell with a sarcastic smile, promising he'll send her to her end himself. She tries to escape again, but he catches up and knocks her down, stepping hard on her fingers, asking if she's ever seen anyone successfully escape hell before. She screams and begs, downplaying the murder she committed, claiming it doesn't warrant all this, and offers him cash for her life. Chen Mo grabs her by her clothes, then punches her in the face, making her scream in pain and hit the floor again. He tells her she won't be able to run, so she keeps crying. She admits her mistake, begs for mercy, and offers to be his servant and do whatever he commands. Right then, one of Chen Mo's men gets a call from Fang Long and hands the phone to his boss. Fang Long screams into the phone, accusing Chen Mo of kidnapping his daughter even though he already did everything he asked, saying he's crossed the line. Chen Mo agrees to return his wife, telling him he'll text him the address later, but coldly adds that his daughter is an honored guest and he'll be keeping her for a bit, then hangs up. Fang Yu asks Chen Mo about her mom. Chen Mo smiles and says he'll let her take a look. He takes her to a dark alley, drags out a bloody black bag, points at it with a stick, and tells her that her mom is inside. Fang Yu stares at the horrific scene, gets completely overwhelmed by the shock, passes out instantly, and collapses next to the bag. Chen Mo smiles coldly, sarcastically wondering if she fainted that easily, stating the real torment has just begun. Meanwhile, Fang Long arrives at the dark alley using the address Chen Mo sent. Following the map on his phone, he finds the bloody trash bag, and when he realizes his wife's dead body is inside, he's horrified and shocked, dropping to the ground in total breakdown. Desperate, Fang Long decides to go to the cops, screaming at an officer, accusing Chen Mo of killing his wife and mistress. The cop listens calmly, and when Fang Long asks when they'll arrest him, the cop says the crime scene had zero evidence or security cameras, and the car used in the crime was totally burned down. The cop then hits him with a shocking truth. The only evidence they found at the scene were Fang Long's own fingerprints. In shock, Fang Long asks if the cop is implying his wife did all this to herself. The cop tells him the investigation will take a long time and tells him to leave. Elsewhere, Fang Yu is seen hanging by her hands in an abandoned warehouse, screaming for help and admitting her guilt. Chen Mo shows up, coldly telling her this place is a slaughterhouse, and she's filthier than anything in it. She cries and begs, claiming she used to be good friends with his sister, and promises to visit her grave every year. She then tells him his sister sent her a message saved on her phone and asks him to read it. Chen Mo takes the phone from her pocket, scrolls through the photos, and actually finds a message from his sister saying how happy she is about their friendship. But his memory flashes back to the truth, where Fang Yu was bullying his sister, who was crying and asking why she betrayed their friendship, begging her to let her go home to study for the upcoming exams while she forced her to work as a maid. The scene cuts back to the present as Chen Mo grabs Fang Yu by her hair and lands a heavy punch on her, knocking her out cold on the floor. He kicks her hard and walks away. After that, Chen Mo meets one of his guys who hands him a cup of coffee. Chen Mo asks if he found the name list he asked for. The guy confirms he did and asks about his next move. Chen Mo looks at the list on his phone, saying all these people saw his sister's weakness, and even though they were scared of the main bullies, they didn't just stay quiet, they actually cheered them on and laughed, which is something he can never forgive, vowing that justice will catch up to every single one of them without exception. He then orders his guy to get ready to grab Fang Long tonight, and to hurry up and finish off his daughter Fang Yu. Back at his house, Fang Long decides to flee to save his life. He opens his safe and gathers all his cash and jewelry, apologizing to his daughter that he won't be able to save her, justifying his selfishness by wanting to keep the family bloodline going. He packs his bags, grabs his passport, wishing his daughter gets born into a better family in her next life and never hurts anyone again. He heads to the airport wearing a mask, standing in the smoking area with a sly smirk on his face, thinking he got away. In the airport bathroom, Fang Long is shocked to see Chen Mo there, gets terrified and drops his cigarette in pure shock, wondering how he managed to find him. Out of nowhere, Chen Mo delivers a heavy punch to his face, followed by a strike to his neck, dropping Fang Long unconscious to the floor. Somewhere else, Chen Mo explains that the Heaven Society was founded 2 years ago. All its members are chasing justice, and their goal is to punish the wicked, having never failed a mission yet. He confirms that Fang Long and his daughter Fang Yu won't escape this fate. At the warehouse, Chen Mo confronts Fang Long, expressing surprise at his choice to run away, ditch his daughter, and abandon avenging his wife, while Fang Long just stands there speechless. Fang Yu is brought into the place, and she angrily confronts her dad, accusing him of abandoning her to save himself. He yells at her to shut up, claiming Chen Mo is the one who killed her mom and his mistress, and that the cops found no proof but suspected him instead. His daughter mocks him, calling him a useless loser dad, so he explodes in anger and blames her because she started this whole mess by provoking Chen Mo. He loses control and starts beating her, threatening to kill her himself to end the problem. Chen Mo tosses a knife toward them. Fang Yu manages to grab it first and stabs him in the chest. Fang Long drops dead on the floor, while she stands there in shock, covered in blood. Chen Mo steps out of the shadows in front of her. After that, he takes her to a bridge over the river, telling her his sister mentioned they used to come here after school and that she loved looking at the river view, then coldly tells her this will be the last time she ever sees it. She is terrified, so he ties her up, then kicks her hard off the bridge, sending her falling into the water to her death. Chen Mo stands on the bridge smoking a cigarette calmly, then drives off in his car. The next morning, breaking news takes over the city screens, announcing the murder of Fang Long's family of 3, and their bodies being found under Jiangcheng Bridge. The news confirms the cops locked down the scene and investigations are ongoing. Bystanders comment that Fang Long got what he deserved after hurting so many people. Elsewhere, the last bully, Zhang Kai, begs his dad to speed up the paperwork to move abroad. His dad tells him it takes time to set everything up, so the son reminds him he's his only heir and the family line will die if anything happens to him. The dad gets pissed at his son's threat and slaps him hard. In a fancy office, Geng Hui pours tea for Chen Mo, who asks him how it feels sitting in the chairman's seat. Geng Hui admits he owes him everything, assuring him he'll never forget what he did for him. Chen Mo tells him he called him in today to hand the entire company over to be managed by the Heaven Society. Geng Hui explains to Chen Mo that many Heaven Society members don't have an official identity, causing them a lot of trouble. He suggests laying off some Hongchen Company employees and hiring society members instead, while using the company's profits and shares to fund the society's activities. Asking him to accept the deal, Chen Mo agrees to the plan and tells him he'll send someone to handle it. Meanwhile, Officer Zhang Qian discovers that 36 out of 45 students in Class 3 were involved in bullying Chen Lian. She is surprised to find Chen Mo sitting right outside the institute, asking why he's there and what he's planning. He answers coldly that he was just passing by and taking a break. The officer confronts him about the Fang family's murder the night before, insisting he did it. Chen Mo smiles sarcastically, saying they got what they deserved, denying any involvement, and dares her to find any proof against him, advising her not to waste her time on him. She asks him about his plans for the institute students, reminding him that he saved her life before but is crossing the line, emphasizing they're just students and punishing them isn't his job, warning him to watch his step. Chen Mo gets pissed at her words and slaps her hard, knocking her to the ground. He angrily asks if they are just students, reminding her they basically murdered his sister, yelling at her for focusing on hunting him instead of punishing the actual criminals. The officer tries to justify herself saying she plays by the rules, so Chen Mo clenches his fist in rage, He steps closer and whispers, confessing that he is the leader of the Heaven Society. He tells her he'll warn her just this once. If she tries to stop his revenge again, she'll be the next victim hanging off that bridge. He warns her not to test his patience and walks away. Inside a classroom, a teacher lets the kids do whatever they want, as long as they keep it down, then gets busy reading a novel. The students invite their classmate Jung-hoo, the officer's brother, to play with them. It turns out Jung-hoo is one of the involved Class 3 students. His sister tries to call to warn him, but he rejects the call. He calls her back annoyed, claiming he's in a training session at the 4th floor lab, quickly hangs up and goes back to playing. The officer instantly realizes something is wrong. The lab is isolated and secured with heavy metal doors, and with all the students in there, it's the perfect spot for Chen-mo to strike. She tries calling her brother over and over, but he doesn't answer, so she speeds off in her car. On the way, she calls the institute's security, telling them an attack on Class 3 students is about to happen, but the guard mocks her and doesn't believe her. She keeps running down the institute's hallways. As she passes by the restroom, she's shocked to see Chen-mo there. He confronts her coldly, reminding her how fast she forgot his warning. She gets terrified and screams that Chen-mo has lost his mind, and suddenly one of his guys appears right behind her. Chen-mo's guy hits the officer, making her fall to the floor, and she looks at him in terror, before he locks the bathroom door from the inside. Chen-mo faces the officer and tells her she didn't listen to his warning. She screams in his face, calling him a devil, wondering how he can hurt all these students, calling his actions brutal. He reminds her that those students mocked his sister and watched her get tortured without lifting a finger, and if just one of them had stepped up and called the cops, his sister wouldn't have gone through all that humiliation. Then he calls her out for calling him a devil. The officer tries to warn him and vows to testify against him to make sure he goes down, reminding him her brother is among the students inside. Chen-mo decides there's no room for holding back anymore, and tells her it's better if she doesn't see anything. He adds he never meant to hurt her, but today she came for her brother, making her no different from the parents of the other bullies. He gags her with a cloth, telling her he hates fake righteous people. He then orders his men to take her away, and they agree instantly. Chen-mo makes it to the Class 3 lab, and kicks the teacher hard in the chest, dropping him to the floor and shattering his glasses. The teacher angrily asks who the attacker is and threatens him. Chen-mo tells him he knows exactly who he is. He's his sister's teacher, and the scumbag who ignored her cries for help. While the students watch in shock, the teacher denies the accusations and threatens to call security. Chen-mo hits him with the fact that his sister begged him for help so many times, but he blew her off. The teacher admits she was an introvert, blaming her for not trying to fix her own problems. And before he can finish, he threatens Chen-mo with calling the cops if he touches him again. Chen-mo smiles mockingly, then smashes a wooden chair, and grabs one of its broken legs. The teacher, terrified, asks what he's doing, so Chen-mo smashes him hard on the leg, making him scream in pain and hit the ground. While the students watch in total horror, Chen-mo stands over the teacher's body, telling the kids their teacher got his payback, telling them not to worry and assuring them none of them are walking out of here today. One kid stands up with fake bravery and challenges Chen-mo, saying he's just the victim's brother, and there are too many of them for him to hurt. The other students start flexing their family's influence and threatening him. One steps up, telling him to back off, and threatens him with the same fate as his sister. Chen-mo replies with a brutal kick to his face, pulls out a knife, and stabs another student, dropping him to his knees in agony. Right then, Chen-mo's masked men storm into the lab, ordering everyone to shut up and listen to their boss. Chen-mo puts on a mask, grabs the name list, and tells them whoever hears their name gets to leave, because they're innocent and have nothing to do with this, making it clear that the Heaven Society doesn't hurt innocent people. Chen-mo insists he won't hurt any innocent person. He then starts reading off the list of innocent students, and his men escort them out of the lab, leaving the guilty students locked inside. Chen-mo rips up the paper, then tells the remaining students to take one last look at the sky, because this will be the last time they ever see it. After that, his men unleash thick dust all over the lab, creating total chaos. The students start coughing and choking, screaming they can't breathe. Then one of Chen-mo's guys tosses a tear gas grenade right in the middle of them, making the students collapse in extreme pain. Meanwhile, the institute principal shows up at the lab door with security guards, realizing Chen-mo is behind this. They order him to open the door and promise to arrest him. Inside, all the students are on their knees, injured and drained. Chen-mo promises that whoever insulted his sister with their looks will lose their sight, and whoever mocked her with their voice will lose their voice forever. Then he and his men get to work executing the punishment. Outside, the principal wonders who the attackers are, and asks the head guard if the security cameras caught anything. The principal panics. When the guard tells him the institute's network got hacked, the entire surveillance system is trashed, and absolutely nothing was recorded. The principal begs the head guard to save the 40 students inside, calling them good kids. The guards kick the door in, but are forced back by a cloud of lime dust and tear gas. The principal looks through the door to find the lab in total chaos, and the students lying on the floor covered in their own blood. The guards wonder where the suspects went, so the boss orders them to focus on catching them first. But they find out they already escaped through the fourth-floor window, leaving them shocked by their guts. The guard captain orders his men to save the injured and call for ambulances. The wounded students get rushed to the hospital. At the hospital, beds are full of the injured students. The doctor notices their injuries specifically targeted their vocal cords and other areas, but aren't fatal, realizing the goal was strictly torture, not murder. On the city streets, videos of Chen Lian getting bullied go viral, completely flipping public opinion. People see the truth, agreeing the students got what they deserved. It comes out that the principal was kissing up to the rich kids and even protected the 4 main bullies, and when the scandal blew up, he decided to bolt. His wife calls him down to eat, but he refuses to leave his room. After that, he's shocked to find Chen Mo in his house, who his wife thinks is just a student wanting to chat with him. In a later scene, Chen Mo confronts the principal right in his own home. Chen Mo walks up to the principal, who asks him in terror what he wants. Chen Mo assures him his wife won't be harmed because he is the one at fault, and she needs to stay alive to take care of him for the rest of his life. Chen Mo then confronts him about how, during a meeting, he publicly criticized his sister Chen Lian and defended the 4 bullies. He adds that the principal knew all about the group bullying his sister went through but totally covered it up. The principal admits his mistake and begs Chen Mo to give him another chance. Chen Mo flashes back to a scene where the principal scolded his sister in front of everyone, saying he was sick of seeing her in the same clothes, and telling her to look for the problem in herself instead of blaming others. After everyone left, he ordered her to stay as punishment, making her stand in the field, accusing her of framing others. While his sister is seen crying, the scene snaps back to the present where Chen Mo attacks the principal with a chair, knocking him down and kicking him. Chen Mo leaves the place, but the cops raid the house and arrest him. In the interrogation room, the officer asks Chen Mo if he went to the institute on the day of the incident, but he denies it. The officer insists he cooperate with the investigation. Another cop tells him a major incident happened at the institute and advises him to confess his crimes, emphasizing he's the prime suspect. He adds that the principal got seriously injured, and Officer Zhang Qian was hurt too, hoping he'd cooperate for a lighter sentence. Chen Mo explodes in anger, asking how the cops mobilized all their forces for this case, while their response to his sister's murder was that they could only mediate. The cop yells in his face, furious at his disrespect, then asks if he had anything to do with the Wang Yuehong and Fang Yu cases. Another cop steps in and straight up asks Chen Mo if he's a member of the Heaven Society, but Chen Mo refuses to answer. Right then, they get word that Chen Mo's lawyer has arrived. The lawyer, named Chu Xinyu, walks in and tells them any questions they have can be directed to him. He confronts the cops, stating they haven't found any evidence yet, holding his client is illegal, and he suspects they used shady methods to interrogate him. The lawyer drops a lawsuit and a bail request, announcing he's taking his client with him. Chen Mo leaves with a sarcastic smirk, while the cop vows to make him confess to his crimes later, to which Chen Mo replies that he's always ready for a showdown. After walking out of the police station, Chen Mo meets his lawyer, who apologizes for being late. Chen Mo tells him not to worry, knowing Heaven Society matters keep him busy. At the gate, Chen Mo finds a mob of students' parents surrounding him, while the cops try to calm them down and tell them to go home. The cop reassures the students' parents that they'll be updated right away. One mom screams, pointing at Chen Mo, accusing him of being the one who hurt their kids. The parents surround Chen Mo in a circle. A crying mom breaks down, demanding compensation for everything that happened to her daughter. Another dad yells that his son's future is ruined because of him. Others wonder if Chen Mo is even human to do all this to them. But Chen Mo coldly orders them to make way, and they instinctively back off, opening a path for him. Meanwhile, the counselor had fled to the countryside at night to hide. She looks at herself in the mirror, having lost an eye and ending up with a limp. She thinks she's totally safe now, and that Chen Mo won't be able to find her. She figures the money she got is enough to live on for a long time. Then she mocks Chen Mo and his sister, thinking they'll never wash off the stench of poverty. A black cat appears in the courtyard. The cat rubs against her leg, so the counselor kicks it away. Annoyed by its sound, the counselor picks up a rock to throw at it. She smirks wickedly and yells at the cat, accusing it of looking down on her. The cat runs away, and the counselor throws the rock after it, and vows she'll hit it even though she lost an eye. Suddenly, Chen Mo's voice comes from the dark, saying the cat is innocent. The counselor is terrified and asks who he is. He steps toward her, and she falls to the ground in fear. Chen Mo tells her he was way too merciful with her. She tries to act tough and threatens him. Chen Mo pulls out his phone and shows her a video recorded by the students. In the video, the counselor is mocking his sister in class for always wearing the same clothes, suggesting she should sell her body to buy new ones. The students laugh and agree, demanding to change their seats so they won't catch the poverty disease. His sister breaks down crying. The counselor announces the next class is art, and suggests the kids help Chen Lian customize her clothes using paint cans. The students grab paint cans and surround his sister. They start pouring colored paint all over her head and clothes, while the counselor laughs mockingly. The scene cuts back to the present, where Chen Mo tells the counselor his sister wasn't too broke to buy clothes, but was actually saving money to help their parents. He asks her if that's a crime. The counselor drops to her knees begging, claiming a bunch of kids joined in, and it's not entirely her fault. She reminds him she already lost an eye and asks what more he wants. Then she offers to visit his sister's grave and apologize, insisting his sister was kind and simple and would definitely forgive her. Chen Mo's anger flares up and he asks her, "So you knew my sister was kind and simple?" Chen Mo sarcastically asks the counselor if his sister deserved all that bullying just because she was kind and simple. The counselor admits she was wrong and that she took money from the 4 bullies, so she had to follow their orders. Then she begs him, claiming she was just joking. Chen Mo coldly tells her some mistakes can be overlooked, but others can never be forgiven. The next morning, the cops arrive at a crime scene. An officer tells his partner the victim's identity has been confirmed, and it's the institute's counselor who used to be Chen Lian's teacher. He adds she had beef with Chen Mo's family and ran away to hide here. The senior officer orders his guys to investigate every little detail without missing a thing. The other cop tells him they already did, but all the security cameras on the road got hacked, and the footprints at the crime scene belong to shoes that leave 0 marks, making it impossible to find any clues. While the cop feels frustrated, another guy comes up and shows him a video. The video shows Chen Lian getting bullied by the counselor, ending with the text, "Do you think she was wronged?" Later on, Chen Mo spots an old lady collecting trash from the street. He walks up and offers to help her. The old lady thanks him but tells him not to touch the trash so his clothes won't get dirty. She adds there aren't many good young men like him around anymore. Chen Mo pulls out a gold credit card and hands it to her. She's shocked and tries to refuse it. Chen Mo asks if she remembers him, and she realizes he's Chen Lian's brother, noticing how much they look alike. The woman mourns the death of the sweet girl. A flashback shows how Chen Lian always helped the old lady sort out the scrap. And one day, while Zhang Kai and his gang were chasing her, the old lady stepped in to protect her, but Zhang Kai pushed her to the ground. As a result, her leg broke and she became disabled. Chen Lian apologizes to her crying, feeling she's the reason this happened to her. Back to the present, Chen Mo offers the card to the old lady, telling her to stop collecting trash and live a decent life. He thanks her for trying to help his sister. Crying, she tells him his sister was a kind and beautiful girl, and the only person who willingly helped her. Chen Mo assures her the criminals won't get away with it, and insists she takes the card, saying his sister would have wanted that. The old lady agrees to take it, but tells him she'll return the rest of the money after taking just enough to live on. Chen Mo leaves, and the old lady cries, mourning the siblings' fate. Suddenly, a speeding red sports car appears, and hits her, knocking her to the ground. The driver gets out, revealing himself as Gao Jie, the uncle of the bully Gao Shui, and complains about his bad luck because the old lady was in his way. The whole hit and run gets caught on a nearby security camera. A resident manages to snap a pic of Gao Jai's license plate as he leaves the scene, but thanks to his connections, Gao Jai easily gets out of jail quickly after being arrested for a DUI, claiming he has mental issues. In the car, he complains about wasting his time, blaming the old lady he hit and calling her an evil spirit haunting him. His driver asks where to next, so he orders him to go take a shower first, complaining about the trash smell stuck to him. At the morgue, Chen Mo stands in front of the old lady's body. The doctor asks if he's a relative and asks him to identify the body. Another doctor tells him her husband also died at home because no one was there to take care of him, and the female doctor asks him to handle his burial too. Chen Mo stands by the body and reassures the old lady, telling her his sister Chen Lian is waiting for her and he'll handle the revenge himself. Chen Mo leaves the morgue and makes a call, asking if the target has been found. One of his guys tells him they found him and that he compiled a list of everyone involved and is just waiting for orders. Chen Mo gives the command, "All right, Heaven Society, begin the harvest." Chen Mo throws a grand funeral for the old lady and her husband, with Heaven Society members showing up to pay their last respects. The neighbors are amazed by how fancy the funeral is, featuring a whole fleet of Rolls Royces. Wondering how the poor couple could afford all this, they mourn their sudden passing, remembering how kind they were and how they always helped others. Elsewhere, Gao Shui is having dinner with her mom and her uncle, Gao Ji. She asks her uncle to get rid of Chen Mo, complaining she hasn't slept in days out of fear. Her mom backs her up, crying to Gao Ji that she can't take it anymore, and she's certain Chen Mo is behind everything happening to them even with zero proof. Gao Jie reassures Gao Jue's mom, telling her he'll handle it since he's a guy with power, and he'll help her avenge her brother, but he wonders why she didn't tell her dad about what happened, since he'd definitely take her side. She replies that she relies on him, and telling her dad about some reckless kid is just blowing things out of proportion. Gao Jie laughs and agrees, promising he'll fix the problem himself. Suddenly he gets a call saying a doctor named Zhang died in a car crash. He's shocked and orders his assistant to send a huge chunk of cash as condolences to his family. Then he gets another call telling him another doctor died from electrocution. He orders a massive payout for his family too. After that, his brother calls warning him someone is targeting them, advising him to come back. But Gao Jie mocks the warning, flexing his power, then hangs up because he's busy. Gao Shui's mom asks what happened, so he tells her the 2 doctors working for him just died. Gao Shui suggests Chen Mo might be behind it, but her uncle brushes off the idea that a simple kid could have all that power. Right then, his dad, Gao Tiansheng, calls him, telling him the doctor's deaths were no accident, and orders him to come back immediately because his life is in danger. Gao Jie jumps up terrified, tells her he has to leave right away and they'll talk later, then speeds off in his car. Meanwhile, his dad, Gao Tiansheng, was packing to flee, realizing that if his son pissed off the Heaven Society, their family is finished. He tries to open the car door but finds his driver is already dead, dropping to his knees in despair. Suddenly, Heaven Society men appear and surround him. One of them steps up and invites him to meet their boss. Elsewhere, Gao Jie finds his path blocked on a bridge by Heaven Society members. He asks who they are, insisting he never heard any of them. Chen Mo shows up and asks if he's ever heard of the Heaven Society. Gao Jie is stunned when he realizes it's Chen Mo. He tries to play nice, claiming they have no beef. He never agreed to help Gao Shui against him, and even offers to become his lackey. But Chen Mo lands a solid kick, dropping him to the ground. Xiao Lu appears and mocks him, saying, "You think you're worthy to be one of Brother Mo's men? Keep dreaming." Then Chen Mo tells him that after he's done with him, he'll go hunt down Gao Shui. And the reason he's after him is because of that old lady. Gao Jie downplays the old lady, saying there's no need to make an enemy of Chen Mo over a beggar, and suggests they team up for mutual gain. But Chen Mo coldly tells him that old lady helped his sister in the past, so she's basically a savior to him. Gao Jie gets mad and reminds him he's the eldest son of the Gao family, threatening that his dad won't let him off the hook if he touches him. In response, Chen Mo calmly says he's taking him somewhere first. Meanwhile, Gao Jie's dad is hearing his son's voice through the phone and wonders where it's coming from, only for one of Chen Mo's guys to tell him that's his son Gao Ji's voice. Then he watches a horrifying scene of his son getting dragged behind a speeding car, tumbling on the ground in agony, begging his dad to save him. Suddenly, an army of Heaven Society men shows up on the bridge, all shouting in unison, "Good evening, Brother Mo." The dad drops to his knees, begging Chen Mo to spare his son, not to end the Gao bloodline, promising his son will never cause trouble again. Chen Mo flashes back to Gao Ji's past crimes. Last June, he kidnapped a bunch of schoolgirls and tortured them. In October of the same year, he assaulted a couple out on a date, and just days ago, he killed an old lady in a hit and run. Chen Mo then confronts him, saying the heavens are watching all their deeds, and karma is definitely coming. The next morning, the cops arrive at the crime scene, and the officer in charge orders the case file temporarily closed, telling them to notify the families to come pick up the bodies. Elsewhere, Gao Shui suggests her mom tells her grandpa about what happened, but her mom refuses to bother him with trivial stuff. Gao Shui breaks down crying, angrily asking why Chen Mo doesn't go take revenge on Zhang Kai instead of them. Her mom tells her Zhang Kai is the biggest culprit, which is why Chen Mo is saving him for last. After that, the mom makes a phone call, then takes her daughter to meet someone. They arrive at an isolated spot and meet a dangerous criminal named An Qingsheng. Seeing him, Gao Shui gets so disgusted she throws up on the ground. The mom shows the criminal a picture of Chen Mo, asking him to take him out for a massive payday. She warns him Chen Mo is no ordinary guy, which is exactly why she came to him. The criminal demands 70% upfront, promising to get the job done the second he gets the cash. The mom insists he has to start within 2 days. The mom agrees to wire the money immediately, so the criminal An Qingsheng reassures her with a laugh, saying Chen Mo is as good as dead. Meanwhile, Xiaofeng informs Chen Mo that Gao Shui's mom hired a hitman to take him out, a hardcore criminal named An Qingsheng who's wanted for multiple murders. He adds the killer was planning to head to the company, but the cops spotted him and cornered him in a nearby mall. The criminal ended up in a tight spot and took a hostage. Chen Mo decides to step in, stating this is strictly between him and the Gao family, and no innocent person should get hurt over it. The scene shifts to a store where An Qingsheng is holding 5 hostages. He demands a car and 5 million from the cops within 2 hours, threatening to kill a hostage for every minute they're late. The police chief tries negotiating over the megaphone, promising to meet all his demands for the hostages' safety. Inside, the criminal forces the hostages onto their knees, and they beg him to let them go, explaining they're just broke employees. But he gets madder and assaults an old man, bragging that he doesn't care about adding more bodies to his kill count. Outside, with the press swarming the area, an officer tells the chief that higher-ups approved the criminal's demands, Suddenly, Chen Mo shows up and tells the chief they shouldn't cave to his demands because it'll just encourage him to commit more crimes. The chief asks why he's there, and Chen Mo replies, he's here to end this. The crowd mocks him, thinking he's just showing off. Chen Mo tells the chief the criminal came for him, and he knows who's inside, then walks toward the store. Chen Mo walks in calmly, telling An Qingsheng he's arrived. The criminal is stunned he actually showed up. He orders him to walk up slowly with his hands open, and Chen Mo complies. But Chen Mo's intense aura starts freaking him out. He nervously asks about his real identity and the secret behind his terrifying glare. Chen Mo simply replies, I am Chen Mo. The criminal threatens to kill all the hostages, to which Chen Mo replies that he believes he can, but evil deeds always face punishment, and if he kills them, his own fate will be 10 times more miserable. The criminal panics, while the police chief yells from outside, telling Chen Mo not to provoke him. An Qingsheng decides to let the hostages go, figuring they're innocent, then steps out of the store demanding his car and money, threatening he won't show mercy if they're late. The chief tells him the car is here and asks him to release the hostages first. But the criminal insists on bringing the car to the back door and having all the cops back off. Right then, Chen Mo appears in front of him and tells him he's getting absolutely nothing today, and that he'll make him taste the exact same pain and terror he caused his victims. Suddenly, Heaven Society men storm the place, and Chen Mo announces they're here to execute judgment. And Qingsheng drops his gun in absolute terror. Then a smoke grenade is tossed into the store. When the police chief sees the smoke rising, he orders his guys to arrest them, but Heaven Society members block them from entering, insisting they need to secure the hostages' safety first. The hostages walk out of the store unharmed, expressing their gratitude for surviving. The cops raid the store, but find zero trace of An Qingsheng. One officer suspects Chen Mo helped him escape as a distraction, but the chief doubts it, realizing the Heaven Society is behind all this, and orders the arrest of all its members for questioning. At the police station, an officer complains to the chief about the costs of feeding and detaining so many members, so the chief tells him to be patient. Later, the police commissioner asks the chief about the case updates, and he tells him they couldn't interrogate them since they're all legally registered company employees, and they actually helped save the hostages with 0 casualties. The commissioner wonders if this is just a trick by them. A female officer interrupts and points out that the incident is trending all over the internet, and public opinion is heavily siding with the Heaven Society, calling their intervention heroic. The commissioner insists the priority is finding An Qingsheng, because no matter how much of a criminal he is, Chen Mo has no right to dish out justice himself. Elsewhere, Gao Xue's mom wonders about Chen Mo's real identity, while her daughter breaks down crying because not even a hitman could take him down. She suggests telling her grandpa to save her life. Her mom tries to calm her down, floating the idea that maybe An Qingsheng kidnapped Chen Mo, and not the other way around. In another scene, An Qingsheng wakes up tied up in a dark room, screaming, asking where he is. Chen Mo walks in and notes he's awake, so the criminal begs him, claiming he was just following orders for cash. The criminal, An Qingsheng, begs Chen Mo, claiming he was just a tool doing a job for money, and there's no personal beef between them. He offers to become his bodyguard, bragging he can take down 7 or 8 guys by himself, but Chen Mo steps up and slaps him hard. He then coldly tells him the Heaven Society is all about justice, and they can't let someone like him join their ranks. He informs him he's going to face the society's trial. Chen Mo confronts the criminal with his crimes, revealing he's responsible for 4 murders, 2 women, a man, and a kid. He kidnapped the 2 women just for fun, tortured them to death and stole their stuff. As for the man, he was on his way to buy meds for his sick mom, and after he was killed, his mom died of a broken heart at home, and the kid he killed completely shattered his grandparents. Chen Mo then vows to make him slowly taste hell, because people like him are the reason hell exists on Earth. And Qingsheng screams that Chen Mo has no right to judge him and demands to be handed over to the cops. Chen Mo mockingly asks, "Who do you think you are?" Then grabs a pair of bloody pliers, telling him handing him over to the police would be letting him off way too easy, advising him to be reborn as a decent human next time. Meanwhile, the police chief is chewing out one of his officers for staring at his phone while they're out hunting for Chen Mo, stressing they'll face massive trouble if they fail to catch him. The officer reflects on the An Qingsheng case, noting he's been on the run for 6 years after ruining 4 families. He says bad guys need to face someone even more savage, and this might actually be the best ending for him. The chief gets mad at his words, reiterating that Chen Mo has absolutely no right to enforce justice himself. The officer backs off, claiming he was just joking. Suddenly, they get a report that they've tracked down Chen Mo's location. Chen Mo is chilling in a cafe, quietly sipping his coffee. Looking at his watch, knowing it's time, a girl approaches him and asks if she can sit with him. After he lets her, she tells him she's been watching him, and he doesn't look like a coffee expert. Yet he ordered something super expensive. She offers to teach him how to taste coffee, introducing herself as Yang Ying, but he coldly rejects her offer, saying he's not interested. Right then, the police raid the place and surround his table. The chief steps up, announcing Chen Mo is a suspect in the An Jingsheng case, and asks him to come in for questioning. Chen Mo calmly agrees and goes with them. The girl is shocked when she realizes he's that internet-famous guy. In the interrogation room, the chief demands to know where An Jingsheng is, but Chen Mo plays dumb. The chief yells in his face, telling him to drop the act and hand over the criminal, or he'll face serious consequences. Chen Mo replies calmly, reassuring him they'll find him in a few days, just not right now. At that moment, a high-ranking military commander walks in, and the officers give him a military salute. The commander walks over to Chen Mo and apologizes, admitting his men crossed the line. He tells him his lawyer reached out, and he's free to go now. After Chen Mo leaves, the commander furiously chews out the officer in charge, reminding him that Chen Mo is a figure with massive public support, and arresting him without solid proof will just turn public opinion against them. The next morning, a street cleaner finds An Jingsheng's body dumped in a public square. He calls the cops right away, reporting a heavily injured guy who's not breathing. The police arrive at the crime scene and identify the body. The chief orders the area locked down, keeping anyone from getting close. Elsewhere, Liang Cheng calls his sister, Gao Shui's mom, telling her he heard she hired An Jingsheng. He advises her not to tell their dad about it because he's in a bad mood, and he's worried he'll scold her. He then offers to find someone else for the job. She tells him An Jingsheng was no match for Chen Mo, and that Chen Mo's power is no joke. He suggests the name Chu Long. She gets shocked hearing it, but agrees and asks him to finish this fast no matter the cost. Liang Cheng reassures her he'll talk to Chu Long right away. Chu Long is introduced, a gang leader and underworld emperor worth billions. He gets a call from Liang Cheng, who tells him his sister's family is getting tortured by Chen Mo, and that even An Jingsheng was killed by him. Chu Long agrees to handle the job within 3 days. So, Liang Cheng thanks him and invites him to dinner after it's done. Chu Long issues orders to hunt down a 19-year-old kid named Chen Mo from Baitian City. While Chu Long is enjoying himself, one of his guys comes up and tells him there's a visitor. He's shocked to find out the visitor is Chu Shao, heir to one of the biggest wealthy families. Chu Long welcomes him and asks the reason for the surprise visit. Chu Shao asks if he's planning to capture Brother Mo. He then rips up a major business contract, telling him his project in Future City is cancelled, and he's permanently banned from participating in it. Chu Long begs him to explain why. Chu Shao asks if he's heard of the Heaven Society, then reveals he's a member, and that Chen Mo is the boss. Chu Long completely breaks down, unable to believe what he's hearing. After realizing the truth, Chu Long breaks down crying and apologizing, admitting he was blind, and had no idea Chen Mo's real identity was the boss of the Heaven Society. Chu Shao orders one of his limbs cut off as penance for his mistake. Chu Long agrees right away, thanking him for going easy on him, and orders his terrified men to chop off his arm. When they hesitate, he pulls a gun and threatens to kill one of them if they don't do it. Ultimately, Chu Long gets smashed with an iron rod, screaming in pain, while his guys watch in total shock. Meanwhile, Gao Shui's mom wakes up to an urgent phone call, and Liang Cheng tells his sister to pack her bags fast because he's coming to pick her and her daughter Gao Shui up to run away. He explains Chen Mo isn't a normal guy, and they have to leave immediately. In the car, his sister asks if Chu Long failed to face Chen Mo. So he tells her Chu Long didn't even dare to face him in the first place, because the Heaven Society's power is way bigger than they ever imagined. They head to the Liang family mansion for protection. There, Liang Baojian, the elder of the Liang family, scolds his daughter for stirring up trouble, but agrees to handle it himself. Liang Baojian summons one of his top mercenaries, Feng Zi, and orders him to eliminate Chen Mo within 2 days, whatever it takes. After that, Liang Baojian heads to a secret passage, going down into a dark basement where kids are locked in cages. The chef tells him his special healing meal is ready, and Liang Baojian expresses his excitement to eat it after waiting so long. Back at the cafe, Yang Ying asks Chen Mo if he remembers her, and offers to join him in his pursuit of justice. But he refuses, making it clear they are from 2 different worlds, advising her to stay away from all this. He tells her his guests have arrived, and right then, mercenaries led by Feng Zi storm the place. Feng Zi walks up to Chen Mo, telling him Liang Baojian sent him to finish him off. Outside, Xiao Feng and the Heaven Society men had already set an ambush, and they smash into the mercenaries' cars. Feng Zi reacts fast and shoots at Chen Mo, but the bullet accidentally hits Yang Ying, dropping her to the ground. Before he can do anything else, Feng Zi finds himself completely surrounded by Heaven Society guys, who announce he's fallen right into their hands. The mercenary Feng Zi gives in to reality, but challenges Chen Mo that he won't get any info out of him. Chen Mo approaches him with a knife, and after moments of silent torture, the mercenary breaks down and begs to tell him everything in exchange for ending his life quickly. Chen Mo agrees. So the mercenary reveals his boss is Liang Baojian, a guy with power exceeding the police, warning him his strength is no joke, and the reason he's targeted is because of what happened to his granddaughter Gao Shui. After getting the info, Chen Mo orders his guys to get rid of the rest of the mercenaries. Then he tasks one of his men to look into Liang Baojian's background and confirm if Gao Shui is with him, assuring that they'll make their move in a few days and no one escapes the Heaven Society's punishment. Xiao Feng comes up and tells him Yang Ying is in critical condition and needs to be rushed to the hospital right away. At the Liang family mansion, Liang Baojian is waiting anxiously, but he's confident since Feng Zi has never failed a mission. He gets a phone call and answers expecting good news. But an unknown voice asks if he's Liang Baojian, then tells him there's a gift at his door and advises him to pick it up. 2 suitcases are brought in, and upon opening them, everyone is shocked to see Feng Zi's dead body inside. Liang Baojian unleashes his anger on his daughter, blaming her and his granddaughter Gao Shui for their bad upbringing and causing this disaster. Suddenly he notices a blinking light on one of the suitcases, realizes it's a bomb, and screams at everyone to run, right before a massive explosion wrecks the room. Amidst the rubble, Gao Shui screams that her mom got hurt, so her grandpa orders his men to call the doctors immediately. At the hospital, Chen Mo visits Yang Ying while she's recovering. She thanks him for visiting, so he tells her he'll send her some money as compensation, warning her not to mention what happened to anyone and to pretend she never saw him, but she refuses, insisting her injury has nothing to do with him and she has no regrets. She tells him she works at this hospital and the procedures were simple and she won't take his money. Chen Mo leaves in silence. And in the hallway, he bumps into his childhood friend, Zhang Jiayu, who expresses how happy he is to see him after he recently came back to the city. They shake hands, and Zhang Jiayu asks how he's been all these past years. Zhang Jiayu tells his friend he heard what happened to his sister, wondering why her fate was so cruel. Chen Mo tries to comfort his friend, confirming it's all over and telling him not to grieve too much. Zhang Jiayu reveals that Chen Lian always had a crush on him, and he never expected such a disaster to happen. He vows to make the culprits pay dearly. Chen Mo asks him why he's at the hospital, so he tells him his mom just had a baby brother here. Chen Mo congratulates him, and they agree to meet up later. Late at night, a nurse conspires with a strange guy, and orders her co-worker at the front desk to turn off all the security cameras, because Nurse Yin is about to start her mission. A masked kidnapper sneaks into the nursery and kidnaps Zhang Jiayu's baby brother. Yang Ying witnesses the whole thing and recognizes the baby. She confronts Nurse Yin, asking what she's doing, but the nurse reminds her she's not on shift today and asks why she's here so late, warning her not to stick her nose where it doesn't belong. Yang Ying insists what they're doing is against the rules. The nurse threatens to get her fired if she doesn't leave immediately. She demands the baby back, threatening to scream for help. The kidnapper gets pissed and lands a hard kick, dropping her to the ground. Despite her injury, Yang Ying gets up and rushes to the baby's mother's room, telling her that her son, Jia Xin, has been kidnapped. The mom wakes up terrified to find her baby's crib empty and screams that her son is gone. Yang Ying confirms she saw Nurse Yin and another guy taking him. The mom tries to call the cops, but a team of doctors stops her, claiming they'll take full responsibility and telling her to go back to rest. Later, one of the doctors confronts Yang Ying and slaps her hard, warning her this is way bigger than her. She accuses them of committing a crime and vows they'll get punished, so they just mock her, bragging about the massive payouts they get for their services. The next day, Zhang Jiayu and his dad find out what happened and break down in pure shock. Zhang Jiayu heads to the hospital director's office, holding him responsible for his brother's kidnapping, demanding they cooperate to find him. But the director dodges responsibility and tells him to bring proof, claiming not even the cops could prove a thing. Zhang Jiayu leaves furious, vowing to expose the truth and ruin them. After he leaves, the director makes a phone call ordering a hit on Zhang Jiayu. After Zhang Jiayu returns, he insists they need to investigate this to the very end, confirming the hospital is involved, and announces he's going to the police for help. Meanwhile, a strange guy comes up and threatens them, advising them to just forget about it, warning that the people behind this are not someone they can mess with, and they better think about their own lives before a missing baby. Zhang Jiayu gets pissed at the threat and punches him, stating this is far from over and he won't back down until he finds his brother. Zhang Jiayu spends a whole day at the police station, but with zero evidence, they couldn't step in. Later on, he gets a call telling him his parents were in an accident, and he needs to come to the hospital to sort out the paperwork. Zhang Jiayu gets to the hospital to find his mom in the ICU, breaking down crying right outside the door. Yang Ying shows up to comfort him, and he drops to his knees in despair right in front of her. He tells her his parents were attacked and are now in a coma, and their enemies are the ones behind all this. That night, Yang Ying gets tracked by a bunch of gang members. They corner her in a dark alley, mocking her and announcing today is the end of her life, saying justice is just an illusion. Suddenly, Chen Mo shows up and asks coldly, "Who said this world has no justice?" Yang Ying breaks down crying when she sees him, telling him what happened to Zhang Jiayu's parents and brother, begging him to save them. Chen Mo reassures her, confirming he already knows, and the Heaven Society will handle this case. Chen Mo faces off against the thugs who attacked Yang Ying. They mock him for being alone, but before they can attack, a speeding car pulls up and runs them over. Heaven Society men step out led by Xiao Lu, and easily take control of the situation. One of the remaining thugs tries to attack Chen Mo with a knife, but Chen Mo takes him down with a single hit. Xiao Lu asks the attacker how it feels tasting their boss's fist, then orders his guys to dispose of the bodies without leaving a trace. At the hospital, a hitman sneaks into Zhang Jiayu's room, telling him he's here to take him out. And this is what happens when you don't listen to advice. But at the crucial moment, Chen Mo steps in and saves his friend, then orders his guys to get rid of the hitman. Zhang Jiayu sits on his bed in shock, telling Chen Mo all they wanted was to live peacefully in this city. Wondering why it's gotten so hard, Chen Mo reassures him that the Heaven Society will get his revenge for him. Zhang Jiayu is stunned realizing his friend is part of the Heaven Society, asking why he never told him before. Chen Mo tells him to get dressed and come with him. Meanwhile, Liang Baojian is practicing calligraphy in his office. Liang Baojian furiously summons his men. His assistant walks in, telling him his daughter's injuries aren't serious and she's recovering in her room now. But Liang Baojian cuts him off, asking about the baby's prep. The assistant confirms everything is ready, but they need to wait 2 or 3 days before making a move. Liang Baojian orders his guys to keep hunting for the merchandise, especially from the Oasis hospital, urging them to hurry up and reminding them of the consequences if they leave him starving. The assistant agrees and goes to carry out the orders. Elsewhere, the thugs who attacked Yang Ying are being interrogated while tied up on the deck of a ship. They beg for their lives, promising to spill everything they know. Xiao Lu mocks them for not showing this kind of fear when they were getting paid to hurt others. Chen Mo shows up and asks who's the guy backing the hospital's operations. They confess they were only hired to attack Yang Ying, and reveal that Oasis Hospital is running a newborn trafficking ring and they've pulled this crime off multiple times. Chen Mo tells them they'll have to atone for their sins in hell, then orders Xiao Lu to get rid of them. The thugs get tossed into the water. At Oasis Hospital, it's business as usual, with a new family and their baby getting checked in, offering them VIP services to gain their trust. At night, Nurse Yin repeats her crime. She tells her co-worker she drugged the family so she could snatch the baby, complaining that this family was way more cautious than the last one, which almost ruined her plan. She manages to steal the baby, and meets the hospital director who's super pleased the op was a success. The nurse celebrates, saying the payout she's getting is enough to buy a house, something normal folks can't make in a whole year. But when they try to make a run for it, they find the car won't start. Suddenly, Chen Mo smashes the car window and drags the director out. The director screams in his face, flexing the massive influence backing the hospital. Chen Mo easily takes control of the situation, demanding they reveal who their boss is and what happens to the kidnapped kids. After taking a beating, the director confesses they hand the babies over to a middleman and they're used in a dietary therapy for VIPs, but claims he doesn't know any more details. Chen Mo tells them their end is here now that they're in the hands of the Heaven Society, then floors his car to run over the hospital director. Up on a rooftop, Chen Mo interrogates Nurse Yin. He asks her who the ringleader is, so she tells him her job is just kidnapping the babies and the doctors are the ones dealing with the buyers, insisting she doesn't know anything else. Chen Mo declares that anyone involved in this crime is going straight to hell. The nurse realizes her end is near and admits that bad guys gotta face the music. Chen Mo tells her he's the one executing the punishment the heavens failed to deliver, then throws her right off the roof. Meanwhile, Dr. Li, one of the accomplices, gets a massive deposit in his account after successfully handing over a baby, and starts planning to buy a new house. Suddenly, Chen Mo busts into his office and smacks him hard. The doctor is shocked and angrily asks who he is. So, Chen Mo announces he's from the Heaven Society and came to cleanse the world of his evil. Elsewhere, Liang Baojian is anxiously waiting for his men to return. His son, Liang Cheng, tries to calm him down, assuring him they're on their way back. But as time passes, Liang Baojian gets madder and orders his son to call them right away. One of Liang Cheng's guys calls Dr. Li to check on the baby. The doctor tells them there's a problem and tells them to come pick the kid up themselves, then hangs up. The squad leader gets pissed at his attitude and decides to head to the hospital himself. When they arrive, they can't reach the doctor, so one of his guys suggests going through the back door. The leader feels something is off, and soon his men find the body of one of the kidnappers dumped in the back, so he realizes how dangerous the situation is and orders an immediate retreat. Chen Mo stands in the dark, announcing it's harvest time. He confronts the gangsters and asks who their boss is. They gear up to attack, threatening him, but are caught totally off guard when Heaven Society men pop up, surrounding them from every side. Their leader is terrified when Chen Mo tells him who he is, and his men break down in fear. Chen Mo confirms he won't hurt an innocent, but he won't show mercy to any criminal. The gang members get tied up on a bridge over the river, where one of them confesses that Liang Baojian ordered the hit, begging for his life. Chen Mo orders Xiao Feng to dig into Liang Baojian's identity. Xiao Feng reveals his files are top secret and hacking them will take a full day, but he manages to find out he has a son and a daughter, and Gao Shui is his granddaughter. Chen Mo asks for his address, so a thug tells him he lives in an isolated, heavily guarded place that's impossible to reach. Chen Mo and his guys head to the spot, but the guard stops them from getting in. They pretend they're lost, but the guard insists on turning them back. After they leave, one of Chen Mo's men tells him this is the only way in, so Chen Mo decides they gotta find a way to lure him out. Late at night, Liang Chung gets a call from a guy named Yan. The dirty cop Yan tells him a disaster went down at Oasis Hospital, where a doctor and 2 nurses were killed, along with an unidentified guy, and they're currently investigating it. Liang Chung gets pissed and tells him he's on his way to the hospital, and on his way there, he gets a call from his dad, Liang Baojian. He tells him he's going to check the situation at the hospital, but his dad orders him to return to the mansion immediately and forbids him from leaving without his permission. Confused, Liang Chung asks why. So his dad tells him the cops found traces of his men on a bridge, suspecting they got dumped in the river, then orders him back right away. At the mansion, Gao Shui tells her grandpa that what happened is definitely the Heaven Society's doing, and Chen Mo is going to wipe them all out. But Liang Baojian mocks her fears, bragging about his power and influence, totally brushing off the Heaven Society's ability to challenge him. The next morning, while the family is having breakfast, the humidifiers suddenly blow up, sparking total chaos and panic. An assistant rushes in to tell Liang Baojian that the network got hacked and all security cameras are down. Another assistant suggests Liang Baojian should hide, afraid the attacker might be a pro and put him in danger. But Liang Baojian orders the power cut to the entire mansion, thinking that'll keep him safe from any cyber attack. Suddenly, weirdly shaped kites appear in the sky above the mansion. The guards notice they're deliberately heading their way, realize they're a threat, and try to warn Liang Baojian immediately. The kites, which turn out to be mini-missiles, start smashing through the mansion windows, causing massive destruction. Gao Shui's mom breaks down crying, telling her dad the Heaven Society isn't even scared of their trained guards. So, Liang Baojian scolds her, blaming her and his granddaughter for pissing off Chen Mo in the first place. Liang Baojian orders the butler to grab the safe room key, but as the butler hands him the key, Liang Baojian discovers a mini-bomb was planted inside his body, and it goes off instantly. After the explosion, an injured Liang Baojian scrambles and takes his family to the safe room for cover. Meanwhile, Chen Mo and his guys head down to the underground secret dietary therapy room based on their intel, and step into a secret kitchen. One of the chefs mistakes them for new temps and orders them to get to work because Mr. Liang is waiting for his meal, right before he gets grabbed. With the chef pinned to the ground, Chen Mo coldly asks him where the baby is. The terrified chef replies the baby is in a secret room in the back. Chen Mo grabs the keys off the chef's body. The chef tries to warn him about Liang Baojian's power, insisting they'll meet a bad end if they cross him. But Chen Mo stomps on his head, telling him whoever helps him commit his crimes deserves the exact same fate, and he'd better not be born human in his next life. After that, Chen Mo and his guy head to the secret room and open the door. Inside, they find a baby, so Chen Mo picks him up. He hands the baby Jia Xin to his right-hand man, Xiao Lu, and orders him to take him somewhere safe, while he gets ready to head back into the secret kitchen. The rest of the chefs discover what happened to their boss, and one decides to alert the security squad. But Chen Mo ambushes them and wipes them all out in a quick fight. The last survivor, terrified, asks who he is. Meanwhile, a guard informs Liang Baojian there's a problem at the secret room and the door is locked tight. Liang Baojian screams at him over the phone, ordering him to head to the safe room to protect him. When Liang Baojian and his guards reach the kitchen, he falls into a raging fit seeing all his chefs laid out on the floor. It turns out Chen Mo and his guy reach the edge of a cliff, gearing up to escape using paragliders. Liang Baojian screams at his men and orders them to get the kid back, but they manage to escape, soaring into the sky. Later, Liang Baojian's daughter tells her dad she doesn't feel safe anymore and suggests they hide somewhere else. But he angrily refuses, insisting this is his mansion and he's not running from anyone. Liang Baojian makes a call to a guy named Zhang Tiansun, Zhang Kai's grandpa, proposing an alliance to take down Chen Mo. Zhang Tiansun cautiously agrees, telling him this needs careful planning and Chen Mo's power is nothing to sneeze at. He warns him the Heaven Society is a massive threat that needs to be wiped out. Liang Baojian threatens him that if he goes down, he'll make sure Zhang Tiansun doesn't survive either. Zhang Tiansun tells him he'll prep a plan and get back to him in 3 days. But right after hanging up, he orders his son to prep a jet to send his grandson Zhang Kai out of the country immediately. Meanwhile, Gao Shui and her mom, Liang Xiaohong, decide to flee the country. They pack their bags and head to the airport to catch an early morning flight, planning to hit a visa-free country first before bouncing to another destination. On the plane, Liang Xiaohong angrily asks the flight attendant why takeoff is delayed. The attendant apologizes, saying there's a technical issue they need to check. Liang Xiaohong demands they get moved to another flight, threatening her with serious consequences. But the attendant calmly tells them the issue has been found, and it's them. She then reveals her identity, asking if they really thought they could escape the Heaven Society that easily. The mom and daughter are absolutely terrified. Before passing out, they wake up to find themselves in a filthy, dark, flooded spot, with Gao Shui complaining about the awful smell. Chen Mo appears from behind an iron gate, telling them there's no need to scream, advising them to save their energy. Chen Mo adds, they have no idea how long they'll be staying in this place. Liang Xiaohong realizes who he is and screams his name. Chen Mo points at some hanging wind chimes, explaining his sister made them before she died. She believed they'd bring good luck, but he found out wind chimes are used to summon spirits. He hopes hanging them here will bring her spirit to witness the fate of those who hurt her. Then he reveals the water is laced with strong acid that also acts as a purifier. He assures them their torment has just begun. Chen Mo tosses a wooden plank into the water, explaining it only fits one person. He tells them the water will slowly corrode their bodies, leaving it up to them to decide who survives. Gao Shui screams from the burning water, begging her mom to let her climb onto the wooden plank. But her mom refuses and shoves her hard underwater. After the daughter drowns, the mom stays alone on the plank. Meanwhile, Liang Baojian gets a video showing what happened and is totally stunned. He vows to get revenge on Chen Mo. Then he gets a threat text saying, "You're next." His assistant tells him they can't trace the sender. Liang Baojian snaps and smashes his phone, ordering his men to find and save them no matter what. Meanwhile, Zhang Kai is fleeing on a private jet, mocking Chen Mo, thinking he got away safely. Suddenly, the plane shakes violently, and the pilot tells him there was an explosion and they have to make an emergency landing. Zhang Kai orders him to call his grandpa for another plane, but gets zero response. After landing, Zhang Kai steps out, only to find himself surrounded by an army of Heaven Society men led by Chen Mo. Zhang Kai collapses in terror and drops to his knees. Chen Mo drags Zhang Kai to a dark basement, asking if he ever thought about this day when he was hurting his sister. Zhang Kai tries to claim her death was just an accident, so Chen Mo lands a heavy punch on him. Zhang Kai realizes Chen Mo had been planning this from the start, and Chen Mo confirms it. He tells him he's serving him some appetizers today, reminding him of his crimes against innocent girls just because he enjoyed the power trip. He promises to make him taste that exact same feeling. A bunch of tough guys walk into the basement. Chen Mo tells a terrified Zhang Kai he'll soon find out what's waiting for him. Then he sarcastically reassures him, confirming he's got a specialized medical team that'll make sure he stays alive for as long as possible. He then flashes some cash to the guys, asking them to put on a good show. One of the guys eagerly agrees. The guy rudely tells them he's not paying just to watch. He reassures Chen Mo they'll take care of it. The men approach the terrified Zhang Kai. Elsewhere, a nurse asks the hospital director if they'll keep working with Liang Baojian. The director insists they'll keep doing business with him for the money, but only after things cool down. Anxiously, the nurse asks if they should just ignore the Heaven Society, so the director scoffs, dismissing them as just a bunch of thugs. Suddenly, the power goes out in the hospital. The director orders the nurse to fire up the backup generator. The nurse rushes out to do it, but screams in terror as soon as she steps out. The director wonders where the sound came from, and when he opens the door, he finds Chen Mo and his men waiting for him. Shocked, the director asks who they are, and Chen Mo replies he's from the Heaven Society and came to make them pay for their actions. All the complicit doctors and nurses get rounded up in the conference room. The director angrily asks what they plan to do after already killing 3 of his staff. Chen Mo tells them about an old doctor he knew when he was a kid. That doctor lived a super humble life, and sometimes even gave out free treatments and meds to broke families. He says that was the moment he realized what it means for a doctor to have a kind heart. Then he questions the difference between a doctor who uses his knowledge to hurt people and a literal demon. Chen Mo pops open a case full of syringes and meds. He asks the director if he knows what makes a doctor completely helpless. Then he holds out a syringe, and the director panics, asking what's inside it. Chen Mo tells him it's the rabies virus. The director collapses in fear, but Chen Mo smirks, telling him there are other viruses in the case too, like Ebola and Marburg. Then he orders his guys to get started. Meanwhile, Zhang Tiansun gets a photo of his battered grandson, Zhang Kai, and screams in rage. He blames his men for failing to dig into the Heaven Society. Right then, Liang Baojian calls to tell him his daughter and granddaughter were kidnapped by Chen Mo, advising him to be careful. But he finds out it's too late, and his grandson is already captured. Liang Baojian asks for their next move, so Zhang Tiansun suggests they find Chen Mo and get their grandkids back. He tells him Chen Mo set a meeting at 9 p.m. on the Jianghai Bridge, and since it's right in the middle of the city, they agree to mobilize 50 guys each. Zhang Tiansun stresses that they need to capture Chen Mo alive. Zhang Tiansun vows to get revenge and torture Chen Mo after catching him. Meanwhile, their men were lying in wait for Chen Mo under the bridge. On the bridge, Zhang Tiansun wonders why Chen Mo is late. He worries that he might have tricked them. Suddenly, one of the men spots a boat approaching on the river. Chen Mo appears all alone on the boat. One of their men informs his boss about Chen Mo's identity. Zhang Tiansun yells at Chen Mo, offering him anything in exchange for releasing his grandson. Liang Baojian asks him about his daughter and granddaughter, demanding he hand them over immediately, and then they can pretend none of this ever happened. Chen Mo tells them with a sarcastic smirk that he has only one condition, that they jump into the water and go with him, because family should be together. Then he reveals he knows their men are everywhere, and orders them to back off immediately, or else he'll kill Zhang Kai and Gao Shui right then and there. Zhang Tiansun gets pissed at his refusal to negotiate. So Chen Mo tells him he only came to see them mad, and declares that the battle between them has just begun. Then he jumps off the boat and disappears into the water. One of the men tells his bosses that Chen Mo escaped, complaining it's impossible to find him in the dark river. Zhang Tiansun mocks Chen Mo, claiming what happened to his sister isn't a big deal, and that money can fix any problem. He adds that his sister is worthless in his eyes. Suddenly, the boat Chen Mo was on explodes, injuring the two men. Their men rush to save them and take them to the hospital. At the hospital, Liang Baojian asks Zhang Tiansun about their next move. Zhang Tiansun suggests they exploit Chen Mo's weak point, which is his sister. He decides to launch a smear campaign against her online to force him out to negotiate. The two men drop 20 million to hire a troll army to spread lies and rumors about Chen Lian. They claim she had a bad reputation, flaunted luxury brands despite her family being broke, and was dating a rich guy. They add that she neglected her studies, fought with her teachers, and threatened them, and that she had multiple affairs and didn't deserve any sympathy. These rumors spread like wildfire online, taking over the top trending news. Meanwhile, Xiao Lu finds out what's happening online and tells Chen Mo. He tells him Liang Baojian and Zhang Tiansun are behind this campaign, and their goal is to piss him off and make him slip up. Chen Mo gets furious and decides to play their game to the very end. He orders Xiao Lu to activate the Eye of Heaven, the Heaven Society's surveillance network, and commands him to make everyone who took part in smearing his sister pay the price. Xiao Lu agrees right away. It's revealed that Flying Cloud Media and Zhendian Media are involved in the campaign, having hired people to Photoshop Chen Lian's pictures and post them for profit. At a wild party, the CEO of Zhendian Media is celebrating with his staff. He expresses his joy over the smear campaign's success, calling it the most viral in the company's history, and he promises to double their salaries by the end of the year. The employees cheer enthusiastically, and one of them praises his own decision to work with this boss. The boss praises an employee who photoshopped Chen Lian's pic and promises him a raise. One female employee worries they might get sued by Chen Lian's family, but the boss reassures her, insisting he looked into them and they're just powerless, regular folks. He adds that despite her brother's crazy actions before, he's quieted down now. Suddenly, the room's door swings open and Chen Mo appears, surrounded by his men. The boss yells at them asking who they are, then calls for the waiter. Chen Mo coldly tells him there's no need to scream, nobody's coming. One of the boss's guys steps up and threatens Chen Mo, but gets hit with a knockout blow that drops him to the floor. One of Chen Mo's guys orders everyone to listen to their boss or die. Chen Mo tells them his sister, Chen Lian, lived on just 200 yuan a month, and still managed to save half of it to send back to her family. Then he angrily asks if they really think a girl like her could do the things they accused her of. He talks directly to the boss, asking if he feels good spending the money he made ruining his sister's reputation. Then he brutally attacks him. The boss begs him to stop, admitting his mistake, but it's too late. The police arrive at the crime scene but find zero evidence. They discover that 15 of the company's top execs were attacked, resulting in 8 dead and 7 permanently disabled. The police chief suspects Chen Mo is the culprit. He expresses his frustration with the media spreading lies without any accountability, but he admits Chen Mo crossed the line this time. Meanwhile, an employee at Flying Cloud Media anxiously wonders if they'll still get their bonuses after the rival company's boss got killed. His coworker reassures him they made massive profits off this campaign. One of Chen Mo's guys walks in and hands them snacks as a gift from their boss, and within a single day, Zhendian media collapses and gets acquired by the Red Dust Group. The guy triggers a remote bomb, saying, "Disappear forever." A massive explosion goes off on the 20th floor of the building. At Flying Cloud Media, an employee asks his boss if they should keep spreading the rumors. She orders him to keep going, insisting their company's success relies on this campaign. The boss, Sun Chin, gets a call from an unknown number. A mysterious voice tells her she has half an hour to delete all info related to Chen Lian, issue an apology statement, and chop off her hands, and only then will her life be spared. Sun Chin mocks the threat and asks who's calling. Suddenly, an employee rushes in and tells her the company's internet is down. The employee adds that their internal data is getting wiped. Sun Chin orders her tech team to act fast to save the data. 5 minutes later, a scandalous video of her with a top official gets leaked along with the company's confidential data. Sun Chin realizes how bad the situation is and decides to run. She orders her staff to stop working and issue an apology, telling them to come back to work in 6 months. The next day, news of the two companies' apologies takes over public screens, completely flipping public opinion. With a memorial page created for Chen Lian, Liang Baojian calls Zhang Tiansun, telling him Chen Mo's power exceeds their expectations, and dragging out this fight isn't in their favor. He adds their grandkids can't wait any longer, suggesting they use more aggressive methods. Meanwhile, both men receive videos showing their grandkids getting tortured. Zhang Tiansun breaks down seeing his grandson, while Liang Baojian is shocked seeing his granddaughter. Zhang Tiansun orders his men to find the two locations, lock them down, and clear out the civilians. He suggests to Liang Baojian that they split into two teams to ambush Chen Mo. Liang Baojian agrees to the plan. At one of the locations, the police chief and his men get ready to move, but he struggles to clear the area because of the huge crowd of bystanders. He worries a forced evacuation might spark a panic, so he decides to send his men in secretly among the crowd to keep an eye on things. In a nearby cafe, Zhang Kai is lying on the floor, injured. Zhang Tiansun and his men arrive, so he screams for help. His grandson begs him to save him. His grandpa reassures him and promises to save him. Suddenly, Chen Mo appears in the cafe and the cops surround the place, warning that he's armed. Chen Mo asks Zhang Kai how much money they plan to pay for a settlement, reminding him they initially offered just 200,000, which is chump change to them, and sarcastically wonders how that amount could ever make up for his sister's life. Then he tosses a hot cup of coffee in his face and screams that no one is allowed to tarnish his sister's honor. Zhang Tiansun begs him to let his grandson go. So Chen Mo demands he gets on his knees and apologizes to his sister, and only then might he consider letting him off. Meanwhile, the police chief orders his men to clear the area to avoid civilian casualties. But Liang Baojian grabs him, demanding he save his granddaughter first, claiming civilian lives are worthless. In a public park, Gao Shui was screaming, begging her grandpa for help. Liang Baojian angrily asks the police chief about the weird device attached to his granddaughter's neck. The chief tells him they've never seen a device like this before, but it's clearly lethal. Liang Baojian orders one of his guys to go in and save her, thinking Chen Mo is just bluffing. The chief tries to stop him, but the guy rushes forward anyway. Suddenly, a landmine goes off and blows him away. Right then, the police chief gets a call from Chen Mo. The chief asks him to state his terms, assuring him he doesn't want this tragedy to continue. But Chen Mo denies having anything to do with it and asks if they have any proof against him. The chief gets pissed at his audacity. Chen Mo tells him if he wants to save Gao Shui, he needs to get on his knees and apologize to his sister. Gao Shui begs her grandpa to save her. Under pressure, Liang Baojian drops to his knees. Meanwhile, people everywhere are glued to the news as the Heaven Society takes over the headlines again. They find out that Liang Baojian and Zhang Tiansun are the grandpas of the bullies who caused Chen Lian's death, and they sympathize with Chen Mo, seeing him as a bringer of justice. Elsewhere, Zhang Tiansun also gets on his knees to apologize. Then he demands Chen Mo let his grandson go. But Chen Mo slaps Zhang Kai hard right in front of his broken grandpa, telling him the battle between them has just begun. Then he tells Zhang Kai he put on a good show today, and orders his men to leave after tossing smoke grenades. The police chief orders his guys to chase them down and block all roads. Liang Baojian tries calling Chen Mo but gets no answer, realizing he's been played. In the park, after the smoke clears, Gao Shui is gone. Liang Baojian orders his guys to look for her, and they find out she escaped through a sewer grate. Zhang Tiansun gets called in for questioning. He screams at the detective, blaming them for not catching Chen Mo. The detective confronts him, stating he mobilized his forces without official permission, and that his actions are a serious violation of the law. He justifies it, saying he was trying to save his grandson, but she tells him that even to save his own mother, he can't break the rules. He demands she send her men to save his grandson held by Chen Mo. The detective assures him she'll do her job. Meanwhile, the cops were hunting for Chen Mo everywhere. By the riverbank, some bystanders recognize him, wondering how he has the guts to show up in public while being wanted. Suddenly, police cars surround him. The officer orders him to surrender, and he gets arrested and dragged to a police car. Chen Mo asks to see his lawyer. In the interrogation room, a female officer asks him where he was on the 25th of the month. He claims he was working at a cafe. The officer confronts him with photos of his crimes, telling him to stop denying it. But he smirks sarcastically, claiming he was just at the cafe when he heard a commotion, and Zhang Kai was hiding there from his grandpa, and claims he was just helping Zhang Kai. The officer asks if he's claiming to be a victim too. A high-ranking official steps in and orders the detectives to prove his involvement. But Chen Mo's lawyer chimes in, stating that spilling coffee on someone isn't a crime. He adds that if there must be a punishment, a verbal warning is enough. The official furiously storms into the interrogation room and screams in Chen Mo's face. But the lawyer starts recording him. The official threatens Chen Mo that he's not walking out in one piece today. But Chen Mo grabs his hand and snaps it. The lawyer claims his client was acting in self-defense, then asks who the guy busting into the room is. Someone tells him he's a top official, so Chen Mo just scoffs at that. The official threatens him, saying he's making an enemy of the whole city of Baitian, and they'll find proof of his other crimes. Chen Mo coldly asks if they can investigate the threats he got from Zhang Kai, wondering if they'd even care if the victims were just ordinary people. He insists that what they're doing isn't justice, it's complicity. The lawyer steps in and tells them his client is tired and needs some rest. Chen Mo leaves the police station surrounded by a mob of reporters. Later, Liang Baojian calls Zhang Tiansun, telling him the cops are no longer their hope. He adds that the officials are watching them closely and they can't move their forces. Liang Baojian decides he's got a plan, telling him he'll meet him in half an hour and they'll travel abroad for a vacation until things cool down. The two men hop on a private jet heading to another country. An officer stops a group of armed men, asking why they're here. Their leader tells him they came to take Chen Lian's body, but the officer refuses to hand it over without an official order. The leader hands him a classified document, forcing the officer to agree. Chen Lian's body gets moved into a car. In another country, Liang Baojian and Zhang Tiansun arrive at a tropical beach. Zhang Tiansun praises Liang Baojian's plan, confident that Chen Mo will be forced to bow to them. One of their men comes up and tells them the mission was a success. Liang Baojian orders him to deliver the body straight to the top officials in that country. He adds he made a deal with them to keep it, sarcastically wondering what Chen Mo will do now, considering that Chen Mo's power is no match for a whole country's might. Meanwhile, Chen Mo calls his dad telling him he wants to bury his sister as soon as possible. The dad sadly agrees to schedule the funeral for a week later. Chen Mo goes to the police station to wrap up the paperwork. He tells the officer he's planning to bury his sister, but while he's signing the papers, the officer gets a call saying the body has been moved. Chen Mo gets mad and asks where his sister is, so the officer tells him some people took her under official procedures. Chen Mo angrily wonders how they could take her without her family's permission. The police chief reveals to him that Wu Tuan men took the body, and they were following top-level orders. He adds they don't have any more info. Chen Mo asks if Liang is the one behind this, so the chief confirms his suspicions and offers to help investigate. But Chen Mo refuses, insisting he'll handle it himself. In the prison, Gao Shui asks her mom to let her climb onto the wooden plank, but the mom refuses, blaming her for causing this whole disaster. Chen Mo appears, so the mom begs him, claiming she has nothing to do with it, and her daughter is to blame. Chen Mo mocks her weakness, asking if she ever thought about his sister's despair when she was getting tortured. Then he orders his men to heat up the water. Meanwhile, one of Chen Mo's guys tells him Wu Tuan men took his sister's body under orders from Liang Baojian and Zhang Tiansun. Chen Mo looks at a photo of the body transfer, feeling the pain of failing to protect his sister even after her death, and vows that everyone involved will pay the price. At a fancy nightclub, a girl asks her friend if she's worried. At one of the city's fanciest nightclubs, Tianlun Night, a girl asks her friend why she looks sad. The other tells her work is exhausting and she needs to relax now. Sitting with them is Chu Yi, Chen Mo's high school classmate, who tells one of the girls, also named Chu Yi, that if she works hard, he guarantees she'll become head nurse in 2 years. Reminding her his dad is the hospital director and is well connected with the dean. Suddenly, another guy deliberately spills his drink on Chu Yi and rudely threatens her, claiming the spilled drink is worth 400,000 and demanding she pay up. Chen Mo's classmate steps in to defuse the situation, but is shocked when the other guy's men show up and surround them. Chen Mo's classmate tries offering 3,000 as a settlement, but takes a heavy punch that drops him to the floor. The attacker mocks him, demanding that Chu Yi stay with them. At that moment, Chen Mo steps onto the stage and forcefully snatches the mic from the DJ, announcing the club is shutting down for the night. The crowd mocks him and yells at him to get off. Chen Mo calls in his right-hand man, Xiao Lu, who pushes through the crowd and rescues Chu Yi, guiding her to escape through the back door. In another room, Xiao Lu confronts Chen Mo's assaulted classmate Guo Hao, exposing his recent crimes where he assaulted a woman and caused her husband's death, telling him the Heaven Society came today to punish him. Guo Hao is terrified, so Xiao Lu orders his men to take him and dump him in the river. Meanwhile, Chu Yi wonders about how much Chen Mo has changed over the years. The club owner, Wang Huiyun, shows up with her guards, angrily confronting the crowd, asking if they really dare to cause a scene in her place. People whisper that she's super powerful and crossing her means death, backed by high-ranking officials. Chen Mo steps up and coldly asks her where Liang Baojian is. Wang Huiyun mocks Chen Mo, calling him arrogant. Suddenly, Xiao Feng shoots her, hitting her in the shoulder. Chen Mo tells Wang Huiyun she's wasting her chance. She breaks down crying and tells him Liang Baojian traveled to another country. After getting the info, Chen Mo orders his men to get rid of her. Meanwhile, Xiao Lu tells Chen Mo he found out Wang Huiyun and Liang Baojian have an illegitimate son together. Chen Mo gives the order not to spare anyone from the Liang bloodline. Then he orders all Heaven Society members to head to that country to show them the society's true power. Meanwhile, Liang Baojian's son, Liang Li, learns what happened and decides to get revenge. He rallies 600 men, promising $1 million bounty to anyone who kills a Heaven Society member. When only 3 Heaven Society cars pull up, Liang Li mocks their tiny numbers. Xiao Lu and his guys step out, announcing he's here to punish them. Liang Li's men charge in to attack, but get easily wrecked by the Heaven Society guys. Liang Li realizes how bad the situation is and tries to run, but Xiao Lu catches up to him. Xiao Lu reveals Liang Li's identity as the illegitimate son, confronting him with his crimes, including murdering an old man, vowing that his crimes mean a death sentence. Meanwhile, Heaven Society members reach the port and get ready to sail. In another country, Liang Baojian's son tells his dad about Wang Huiyun's death. Liang Baojian gets furious and vows revenge, swearing he'll make Chen Mo regret what he did. Then his son tells him Liang Li went missing and they couldn't find him. Liang Baojian orders his guys to find him, throwing down a 10 million bounty for whoever saves him, insisting he's still alive. His son expresses his worry about the Heaven Society coming over, but Liang Baojian mocks him, asserting that the power of Wu Tuan is something a small society like theirs can't face. That night, Chen Mo arrives at Liang Baojian's residence, telling the guards he's Chen Mo and he's here for a visit. At Liang Baojian's place, Chen Mo meets one of that country's top officials, Da Xing. Da Xing asks him why he rallied all these men. So Chen Mo tells him his only goal is handing over Liang Baojian and Zhang Tiansun, along with his sister's body. Da Xing tries to de-escalate, inviting him to taste the local tea, but Chen Mo refuses, knocking the teacup to the floor, warning him he won't repeat his demand. Da Xing tells him the 2 men are VIP guests and he can't just hand them over, adding that his sister's body is held at their request too, then suggests he enjoy his stay in their country on their dime. Suddenly, the teapots on the table vaporize, and Chen Mo accuses Da Xing of aiding criminals. Da Xing gets mad and threatens him, calling him a mere bug. Chen Mo vows to destroy his country within a month. Da Xing gets a call telling him 150,000 Heaven Society members just entered the country. He panics and asks Chen Mo to give him 2 weeks to convince Liang Baojian to hand over his sister's body, but Chen Mo smashes his cup and gives him exactly 10 minutes. Xiao Lu walks in and tells him everything is ready. Da Xing asks about the bomb he mentioned, so Xiao Lu reveals he planted a bomb in a residential building for top officials. Chen Mo looks at his watch, and when the time is up, Xiao Lu triggers the bomb. Da Xing gets a call confirming the blast, breaks down, calls Chen Mo a devil, and accuses him of hurting innocents. Chen Mo tells him an apartment address in the building, revealing who lives there, the parents of top officials, explaining that years ago, this family killed an old lady in a car crash and hid her body, and when her family demanded justice, they were silenced and disappeared. Then he exposes another corruption ring run by officials, exploiting innocent girls. He confirms he didn't hurt a single innocent person, and the blast only shattered some windows, promising to pay for the damages. Meanwhile, Da Xing gets a call from his boss, telling him the officials are furious and ordering Chen Mo's arrest immediately. The boss tells Da Xing he sent choppers for backup, warning him that Heaven Society members are in the area. The choppers surround the building where Chen Mo is. Da Xing tells Chen Mo command ordered his arrest and advises him to surrender. At the Wu Tuan HQ, Commander Fu Jinhua gears up to assassinate Chen Mo, telling him today he falls into their hands, and Wu Tuan will handle him. Meanwhile, the police chief gets a call saying Wu Tuan kidnapped Chen Mo, realizing things just got way more complicated. Fu Jinhua mocks Chen Mo, daring the Heaven Society to raid their HQ. But Chen Mo hits him with a knockout blow that drops him to the floor. Then he faces the rest of the soldiers, reminding them they serve their country, not Zhang Tiansun. Threatening Fu Jinhua, that he won't live to see tomorrow if he stays loyal to Jiang Tiansun. Fu Jinhua gets a call from Jiang Tiansun and claims he captured Chen Mo and has him under control. Jiang Tiansun orders him to keep a close eye on him until he arrives in 40 minutes to get revenge himself, letting him torture Chen Mo however he wants, but insisting he must be the one to kill him. Fu Jinhua grabs a rifle getting ready to face Chen Mo, but one of his guys rushes over and tells him a top official from HQ has arrived. The official walks in and asks where Chen Mo is. Fu Jinhua tells him he caught him and is handing him over to Jiang Tiansun, wondering why he cares. The official reminds him of a secret mission a month ago where all Wu Tuan forces were sent to hunt down classified documents, explaining that the Heaven Society agreed to hand those docs over in exchange for Chen Mo's release. Fu Jinhua is stunned, wondering how a gang boss could have this much power. The official tells him they already got half the docs, and the other half will arrive once Chen Mo is freed. Snap! Chen Mo walks out of the prison with the official, who thanks him for cooperating and assures him the country won't forget his favor. Chen Mo replies that what he did is just his duty as a citizen. The official tells him he'll handle Jiang Tiansun and the cops, but Chen Mo refuses, insisting he'll deal with it himself, and asks them to arrest him and try him by the law after he's done. In the interrogation room, Jiang Tiansun realizes he's been played. Jiang Tiansun screams at the Wu Tuan commander, asking where Chen Mo is. The commander tells him a top official came and took him, adding he had no other choice. Jiang Tiansun gets pissed and calls them all losers. In prison, Chen Mo gets thrown into a new cell. There, everyone welcomes the prison boss, Han Chiang, and one guy congratulates him on his light sentence, calling it an immunity from death, telling him he admires him because he killed 3 people and dodged punishment. Han Chiang brags about how much fun it was seeing his victims beg before they died. One of the inmates asks him how he dealt with the police chief, so Han Chiang confirms he's got powerful connections to protect him and he'll just do a few years and get out, threatening to kill the chief if he tries to cross him. During chow time, a guard orders Chen Mo to hurry up and step forward. In his cell, another boss, Wang Jiandong, confronts him, ordering him to serve them, wash their feet every night, and fetch their food. One of his lackeys suggests they discipline Chen Mo since he's the new guy and doesn't know the rules, threatening him to kneel before their boss. Chen Mo coldly asks where Han Chiang is. Wang Jiandong mocks him, telling him Han Chiang killed 3 people and is now a high-risk inmate in another cell. Then he orders his men to teach Chen Mo a lesson. But Chen Mo attacks Wang Jiandong with a hard kick that drops him to the floor, then easily wipes out the rest of his guys. Standing over Wang Jiandong's body, he tells the terrified inmates that they just witnessed him acting in self-defense, giving them 10 minutes to get their stories straight, threatening them with punishment if they mess up. During the investigation, an officer tells Chen Mo he'll be transferred to the maximum security block until the inquiry is over. In another cell, Han Chiang asks for the new inmate's name, and when he hears it's Chen Mo, the name feels familiar. One of his guys remembers that Chen Mo is the boss of the Heaven Society. Han Chiang jumps up in terror and heads to the warden's office. The corrupt warden reassures him, confirming everything is under control and he can do whatever he wants. Han Chiang asks the warden to transfer Chen Mo to his cell. Han Chiang asks the prison warden to transfer Chen Mo to cell block 4, explaining he's got one of his guys in there to catch up on old times with him. Considering this a personal favor to him, he promises the warden he'll wire some cash to his account once the job is done, asking him to just turn a blind eye to what's about to go down. The warden agrees with a loud laugh. In his cell, Chen Mo is making his bed, before another inmate calls out to him. He turns around to find 2 massive guys telling him that Brother Feng sent them. Chen Mo smirks, realizing they're allies. One of them introduces himself as Da Guang, confirming to Chen Mo that they're at his command. Chen Mo orders them not to draw any suspicion for now, and that they need to find Han Chiang first. Da Guang hands Chen Mo a pack of smokes, and explains the reason he got moved to this high-risk cell is because Han Chiang pulled some strings. Chen Mo smiles, realizing his enemy has already made his move. Da Guang tells Chen Mo there's no need to hide anymore, warning him that the prison boss, Wang Qingdong, is the older brother of Wang Qingjian, whom he killed, and he's definitely out for revenge. Chen Mo coldly replies that if Wang Qingdong dares to lay a finger on him, he'll wipe the entire Wang bloodline off the map. Da Guang anxiously asks about the plan, so Chen Mo asks him if he can take a beating. Da Guang says yeah. Chen Mo reassures him, then whispers the plan. They're gonna launch a preemptive strike. When Wang Qingdong goes to the bathroom, out in the prison yard, Chen Mo asks who Wang Qingdong is. Da Guang points out the inmate with the triangle-shaped eyes. They watch Wang Qingdong as he works. After a bit, Wang Qingdong and his men head to the restrooms. Da Guang suggests going in with him, but Chen Mo orders him to stay outside and keep watch, telling him and his buddy to buy him as much time as possible. They agree to the plan. Inside the bathroom, Wang Qingdong and his guys are waiting around smoking. One of his men pulls a smuggled knife out of his clothes. He hands it to Wang Qingdong, saying he just brought it in. Wang Qingdong smirks wickedly, thinking the knife will make things way easier, and vows to make Chen Mo pay for killing his brother. One of his men tells him he heard Chen Mo just got transferred to their cell block, and they can make their move when they head back. Suddenly, Chen Mo shows up at the bathroom entrance, addressing Wang Qingdong, telling him there's no need to go looking for him since he delivered himself right to his door. A shocked Wang Qingdong asks if he's Chen Mo. Wang Qingdong vows to avenge his brother while raising the knife. He screams in his face, accusing him of the murder and threatens to kill him. Chen Mo calmly replies that killing his brother was self-defense, sarcastically asking if he's got a death wish too. Wang Qingdong lunges forward with a punch, but Chen Mo catches his arm effortlessly. One of Wang Qingdong's men screams for help from the rest of the guys outside. The rest of Wang Qingdong's men rush toward the bathroom, but they're surprised to see Da Guang and his buddy blocking the way. Their leader orders them to step aside so they can help their boss. But Da Guang tells them, Brother Mo is busy taking care of business inside, and outsiders aren't allowed in, daring them that they'll have to step over their dead bodies first. The leader gets pissed and orders his men to attack. A massive brawl breaks out in the hallway. One of Chen Mo's guys yells that he can't hold out much longer. Wang Qingdong's men overpower them and pin them down. The leader orders them to stop fighting. The scene shows the men lying on the ground totally defeated. Chen Mo walks out of the bathroom victorious, leaving Wang Qingdong and his guys laid out on the floor. Chen Mo checks on his allies, Da Guang and his buddy, asking if they're all right. The two guys reassure him they aren't hurt too bad, just some internal bruising. Wang Qingdong breaks down crying, begging Chen Mo not to kill him and admitting his mistake. Chen Mo stands over his defeated enemies. Wang Qingdong promises he'll never seek revenge for his brother again, calling what happened to him just bad luck. But Chen Mo hits him with a fatal punch, ending his life instantly. The prison captain, Captain Zhang, arrives with his men at the crime scene. One of the guards reports that 3 guys died in the brawl. The captain angrily orders Chen Mo to be taken in for questioning, and chews out his guards for being careless enough to let inmates get their hands on a knife. One of the guards claims he has no idea how that happened, while Da Guang makes up a story, claiming Wang Qingdong was using the knife for maintenance work. In his office, Captain Zhang is fuming. He was right on the verge of a promotion, but this incident just ruined his chances. He swears Chen Mo won't get away with this. One of his assistants tells him Chen Mo is insisting it was self-defense, and that Wang Qingdong's fingerprints are all over the knife, backing up his story. He adds that if his claim is proven true, they won't be able to convict him. Captain Zhang adds he heard Chen Mo has a powerhouse lawyer backing him on the outside. In a fit of rage, he orders Chen Mo sent back to his cell, determined to teach him a lesson himself. And on his way there, he gets a call from a high-ranking official. The official tells him he knows what went down, and orders him not to lay a finger on Chen Mo. The captain protests hard, but the official makes it clear these are orders from the top, threatening him that if he disobeys, he'll lose his job and put his family in danger. Later on, Han Qiang walks into the captain's office, and offers to take care of Chen Mo himself for a sum of cash. After the captain takes the bribe, Han Qiang tells him he knows all about his beef with Chen Mo, assuring him he'll handle it for him. The captain agrees to the plan, and Han Qiang laughs confidently, asking for a small favor. The captain unlocks one of the cells, and Han Qiang and his guys, armed with a sharp tool, storm into Chen Mo's pitch-black cell. Han Qiang acknowledges the power of Chen Mo and the Heaven Society, but reminds him that this prison is his turf. His guys pull the covers off the bed, only to be shocked finding a dummy instead of Chen Mo. They rush to the door only to find out they're locked inside. Outside, Chen Mo and Captain Zhang show up, with Chen Mo sarcastically asking how it feels to walk right into a trap. Han Qiang screams at the captain, accusing him of betraying him even after he paid him. The captain coldly replies that the cash was a gift, and he never forced him to pay up. Han Qiang accuses him of scamming him. The captain tells Chen Mo he killed the security cameras in the hallway. Han Qiang asks Chen Mo if the Centurion sent him, so Chen Mo tells him he came on his own, and what's about to happen is a gift from him to the commander. Chen Mo grabs a fire hose and blasts a heavy stream of water right into the cell. Han Qiang dares him to open the door and face him. Chen Mo shuts off the water, then pulls out a stun baton. He tosses it right into the puddle of water on the cell floor, instantly electrocuting Han Qiang and his men. Han Qiang breaks down crying, begging Chen Mo to stop, claiming everything he did was under Jiang Tiansun's orders, and he never wanted any of it. After killing the electricity, Chen Mo opens the cell door and lands a brutal punch on Han Qiang, knocking him to the floor. Han Qiang questions the point of torturing him, claiming Chen Mo is basically a dead man walking anyway. He asks what he wants from him, offering him absolutely anything he asks for. Chen Mo tells him that in the past, before founding the Heaven Society, He used to think forgiveness could change people, but he found out he was dead wrong, and that bad guys never actually regret their actions, adding that the only way to deal with them is using sheer force, and making them pay for their crimes 100 times over. Then he tells Captain Zhang he's done with his business. The captain asks what's going to happen to Han Qiang, so Chen Mo tells him he's taking him along to have some fun with him, and asks the captain to keep helping him out. The captain agrees right away. In a remote area, Han Qiang gets tossed out of a moving truck. Terrified, he asks who kidnapped him. As Heaven Society men surround him, one of them, Xiao Lu, steps up and announces he's from the Heaven Society and came to punish him. Meanwhile, the warden gets a call ordering him to bring Chen Mo in immediately. Captain Zhang tells the warden that their top commander called and forbade anyone from touching Chen Mo. Moments later, the warden gets another call. The official orders him to release Chen Mo right away. The warden tells the official that Chen Mo killed 2 inmates and injured 4 others. And when he asks if they're really just going to let that slide, the official confirms they are. The warden asks why, so the official tells him Chu Xinyu is in touch with him and filled him in on everything, and that the dead guys were criminals who deserved to be punished anyway. Chen Mo walks out of the prison with a victorious smirk, telling Xiao Lu that the 4 days he spent locked up felt like a lifetime. Chen Mo asks about Han Qiang, so Xiao Lu assures him everything is set up and he's gonna love the outcome. Chen Mo orders him to notify the 1,000 commander. Then the Heaven Society men bow to him in respect. Elsewhere, a top military commander gets a call from Chen Mo, letting him know he's out of jail. The commander thanks him for his efforts, telling him he'll send someone to pick him up. The commander arrives at a secret location and walks into a dark basement. There they find Han Qiang all tied up. Han Qiang apologizes and begs, claiming he was just following Zhang Tiansun's orders. The commander angrily confronts him, asking why he was so brutal when torturing his granddaughter. Han Qiang breaks down and admits he messed up. Then the commander hits him with a heavy punch. The commander asks Chen Mo if he can get him some boiling water. Buckets of piping hot water are brought in and dumped into a massive tub. Han Qiang gets grabbed and tossed right into the boiling water. Then the commander dumps a ton of salt into the water to ramp up his agony. Outside, Xiao Lu comments on the 1,000 commander's brutality, saying Han Qiang is going to die from pure pain. Chen Mo tells him the commander worked in the security forces for years, so he's an absolute pro at torture. Xiao Lu suggests recruiting the commander into the Heaven Society, but Chen Mo refuses, saying he wouldn't be a good fit for them. Elsewhere, Zhang Tiansun gets a call. He looks at his phone with a grim face, only to find photos of Han Qiang getting tortured in prison. The military commander is shown threatening his grandson with a knife. Zhang Tiansun is shocked and panicked, and collapses onto his bed, totally drained. The next day, his assistant rushes over and tells him a massive scandal involving him just blew up online. He shows him a video where Han Qiang confesses that Zhang Tiansun was the one who ordered the hit on the 1,000 commander's family. The video also exposes how Zhang Tiansun used his influence to rig the justice system and lighten his grandson's sentence. Zhang Tiansun gets furious and orders his assistant to prep a jet to flee immediately, but the assistant stays dead silent. He screams in his face, asking why he's not following orders. The assistant drops the bomb that the high command just issued an arrest warrant for him. Zhang Tiansun completely breaks down, then pulls a gun and shoots his assistant. The assistant drops dead to the floor, while Zhang Tiansun stands over his body. Zhang Tiansun scrambles to the airport and hijacks a military chopper, holding the pilot at gunpoint, ordering him to fly him out immediately. The pilot tries to calm him down, then agrees to take off. The chopper lifts off from the airport. Mid-air, the pilot tells Zhang Tiansun they don't have enough fuel, but he knows a nearby island where they can refuel. Zhang Tiansun agrees to the plan, threatening him not to try any funny business. The chopper heads to the island, and after landing, the pilot starts fueling up the chopper while Zhang Tiansun watches him at gunpoint. Suddenly, Chen Mo shows up with his guys, hitting him with a sarcastic smile and telling him he's late. Zhang Tiansun realizes he's walked right into a trap, accusing Chen Mo of setting him up. Zhang Tiansun aims his gun at Chen Mo, but the pilot, who turns out to be one of Chen Mo's men, grabs his gun hand. Chen Mo tells Zhang Tiansun their long battle is finally over, reminding him that letting his grandson, Zhang Kai, run wild is exactly what brought him to this end. Zhang Tiansun laughs like a maniac, bragging that he's got the backing of the Shadow Army in another country, and they're coming to save him, vowing to destroy Chen Mo and his country. Chen Mo mocks him, stating his country isn't what it used to be, and that the Shadow Army are nothing but bugs to him, promising to show him their true fate. Zhang Tiansun drops to his knees in total despair. Meanwhile, one of the Shadow Army commanders gets word that his grandpa, Zhang Tiansun, was kidnapped by Chen Mo. He realizes they're held up on a northern island, seeing this as their perfect chance for revenge. He makes a call to a top official named Yamada, telling him it's time to make a move, giving him their exact location on the island. On the island, Chen Mo mocks Jiang Tiansun, suggesting he build a tourist resort in this beautiful spot. Jiang Tiansun asks what he means by that. So Chen Mo tells him it's a shame he won't live to see it. Chen Mo gets a call from an ally named Sun Qinghai, who tells him he needs to escape from the east side of the island where a rescue team is waiting for him. Chen Mo smirks and tells him the Shadow Army ships are already here and planning to surround the island. Chen Mo adds they're going to launch a full-on bombardment of the island, assuring his ally that their enemies won't be able to escape, then sarcastically says if the Shadow Army ships want to come, let them come. His ally warns him about the sheer firepower of the Shadow Army fleet, but Chen Mo reassures him he's not dying today, inviting him for drinks in a few days. Chen Mo hangs up, then turns to Jiang Tiansun and tells him the folks he's been waiting for have arrived. The Shadow Army ships appear on the horizon. Jiang Tiansun realizes the Tada family came to save him and bursts into hysterical laughter. He drops to the ground, telling Chen Mo his end is here. Chen Mo calmly replies, this is a great chance to show him the true power of the Heaven Society, so he can die with peace of mind. A terrified Jiang Tiansun tries negotiating with Chen Mo, offering to put in a good word with the Tada family to spare his life, figuring that'll settle their beef once and for all. A Shadow Army commander arrives with his troops, ordering Chen Mo to surrender since he's surrounded. Chen Mo raises his hands in a fake surrender. The commander steps up to negotiate, advising him not to waste time. Chen Mo asks him if he remembers that this island originally belonged to their country, but got cut off because of the wars. And even though it's a deserted rock now, it still bears their country's name. The commander flexes the power of their new warships, claiming they can obliterate the Heaven Society, and not even Chen Mo's country would dare face them. Without any warning, Chen Mo shoots the commander dead. The Heaven Society men open fire and wipe out the rest of the soldiers. Jiang Tiansun screams at Chen Mo, calling him a maniac, because the Shadow Army is going to bomb the island now and they'll all die. One of Chen Mo's men tells him to shut up, telling him to just sit back and watch how the Shadow Army ships get sunk. Suddenly missiles launch from an allied fleet of Chen Mo's, straight at the Shadow Army ships. The three of them watch the scene in shock. A stunned Jiang Tiansun wonders where the missiles came from, confident that the Shadow Army's anti-missile systems will block the attack. But a massive aircraft carrier belonging to Chen Mo's allies unleashes another barrage of missiles, completely destroying the Shadow Army ships. Jiang Tiansun screams in pure terror watching his allies' fleet burn and sink. He completely collapses to his knees, admitting his mistakes and how he failed to raise his son right, begging Chen Mo for mercy. Chen Mo tells him his revenge for his sister's death is complete, but Jiang Tiansun committed high treason by selling out his own country, and the penalty for that is death. Jiang Tiansun begs for his life, so Chen Mo orders his men to grab him. Then they speed off the island on a speedboat, sailing right through the wreckage of the destroyed ships. Jiang Tiansun gets tied up on the boat. Then Chen Mo tosses him right into the water, saying goodbye to him forever. At an emergency meeting, Shadow Army officials express their fury, emphasizing that their relations with Chen Mo's country were always solid, wondering why they'd back the Heaven Society in attacking them, demanding an explanation for what happened. An official from Chen Mo's country suggests they team up temporarily to catch him, adding that once he's captured, they can hand him over for them to deal with themselves. The Shadow Army officials agree to the plan. After the meeting, one of the officials, Sun Qinghai, tries to convince his boss to rethink the call, reminding him how much Chen Mo helped them in the past, insisting that what they're doing is totally betraying him. His boss, Chen Hai, reminds him of the massive economic ties they have with the Shadow Army and that they can't afford to risk them. After he leaves, Sun Qinghai makes a secret call to Chen Mo, warning him that their country is issuing a warrant for his arrest, advising him not to come back. But Chen Mo reassures him, confident they'll change their minds the next day, and will even send guys to protect him, thanking him for the heads up. Xiao Lu asks Chen Mo why their country sold them out despite everything they did, including handing over classified weapon blueprints and intel, and suggests leaving the country and abandoning them to their fate. But Chen Mo refuses, insisting this country is their homeland and they can't just ditch it. So he decides to give them a one-day deadline to think about it. The next morning, the officials announce they reached a deal and issue an arrest warrant for Chen Mo to serve him up as a scapegoat for the Shadow Army. But a scientist interrupts them, handing over a flash drive with some crucial data. He asks them to check it out. A video plays showing the latest hypersonic missile, the S-45. The scientist explains they discovered some highly classified, incomplete tech specs inside the missile, and if they can extract this data, it'll trigger a massive leap in their own missile tech. He adds that fragments of this missile were actually salvaged from the wreckage of the Shadow Army ships that Chen Mo destroyed. Thanks to this tech, they won't have to fear the Shadow Army fleet ever again. The boss tasks Sun Qinghai with a new mission: win over Chen Mo at all costs. and convince him to spill the secrets of the Heaven Society's missiles. Sun Qinghai heads out to get the job done. Later on, Sun Qinghai meets Chen Mo for dinner and expresses how much he admires him. Chen Mo humbly replies, calling himself just a regular guy doing what he thinks is right. Sun Qinghai offers him a deal to collaborate with their country, bringing up the incident of sinking the Shadow Army ships, and telling him they're super interested in the missile tech he's holding. Chen Mo reminds him he already handed over classified weapon blueprints from the Shadow Army, adding that as a good citizen, he's already done plenty to serve his country. Sun Qinghai respects his call, and they agree to drop the subject. On the way back, Xiaolu asks Chen Mo how the meeting went. Chen Mo tells him the offer was both good and bad, and that their country was just trying to use him while playing nice. Meanwhile, Shadow Army soldiers were lying in ambush waiting for Chen Mo. One of them wonders what's taking so long, worried their intel might be wrong, but the commander insists their source is solid. The Shadow Army commander stresses that they gotta kill Chen Mo whatever it takes, making it clear that's their main objective. Meanwhile, Chen Mo's car approaches the ambush zone. The soldiers spot it rolling up. One of them shouts that Chen Mo is here. The soldiers get ready to trap him. The commander orders his guys to execute the plan. Team 1 targets the tires, Team 2 lights up the doors and windows, while Team 3 preps for a frontal assault. The car rolls into the ambush. The commander gives the order to fire. The soldiers unleash heavy fire on the car, blowing out its tires and wrecking it. Once the car stops, the soldiers move in carefully. The commander orders them to light it up again. They spray the car with bullets one more time, but they're shocked to find the car is completely empty, and the steering wheel is tied down. One of them realizes they walked into a trap, and the car was remote-controlled. Another soldier spots a guy bolting down the end of the street, confirming it's Chen Mo. The commander orders them to chase him. Chen Mo and Xiaolu bolt into the woods. While the commander screams, swearing to kill Chen Mo, the soldiers blast scorching laser beams into the forest. So Chen Mo and Xiaolu take cover behind a tree. The commander orders his guys to search for Chen Mo, certain he's hiding in the park. The soldiers push into the park to search. Elsewhere, Chen Mo and Xiaolu are seen watching the whole thing from a distance. Chen Mo calls out to Xiaolu, ordering him to give them the grand prize. Xiaolu hits the remote detonator, triggering a massive explosion in the park, wiping out all the Shadow Army soldiers. Grandpa arrives at the mansion, and his grandson Taichu welcomes him, asking if things have been settled. Grandpa angrily tells him to pack his bags because he's taking him somewhere else. Somewhere else, Taichu watches a missile launched by the Heaven Society guys streaking across the sky. With a smirk, he mocks the scene as just fireworks. The missile scores a direct hit, blowing up the Tomoto family's car. At the Shadow Army HQ, the commander flies into a rage upon hearing the news and demands the latest updates. He berates his men, calling them a bunch of incompetents for failing to handle the situation. One of his subordinates apologizes, explaining that the intel department is working around the clock to investigate. He assures him he'll report any updates immediately, but the commander slams his fist on the table and orders them to hurry up. He shouts that this is an insult to the entire Shadow Army. Today the Tomoto family got bombed, and tomorrow their own territories could be targeted. A staff member rushes in, announcing that the field investigators just sent their report. He explains that the missile used is a state-of-the-art hypersonic missile, the exact same type that targeted their warship before. Everyone present is shocked. The commander orders an emergency meeting to discuss Chen Mu. At the hospital, Taichu's severely injured grandfather wakes up. His other grandson tries to calm him down. The grandfather anxiously asks about Taichu. The grandson tells him that he was killed in the explosion, blown to pieces. The grandfather screams in rage and orders all the Tomoto family men to assemble. He vows to mobilize all his strength to eliminate Chen Mu, swearing he won't rest until he sees him dead. Meanwhile, a Shadow Army squad led by Yamai is secretly buying weapons from the Qi family. When Qi Heng is late to arrive, a truck arrives at the mansion. Yamai asks him if the weapons have arrived. Qi Heng reveals a massive shipment of firearms, enough to equip 300 men. Yamai thanks him, and they agree to close the deal. Yamai asks him for any new info on the Heaven Society. Qi Heng tells him he's got the latest intel. When Yamai asks how accurate it is, Qi Heng shows him a tracking device he planted on one of Chen Mu's inner circle. He reveals that the Heaven Society is holding a meeting tonight, and Chen Mu will definitely be there. Yamai's men ask him to lead them to the location. Yamai reassures him that once Chen Mu is dead, the Heaven Society will collapse on its own. Qi Heng reluctantly agrees. The convoy sets off in several cars. They arrive at a building and enter a hallway, and Qi Heng points to a door at the end, confirming Chen Mu is inside. Yamai flashes an evil smirk. They burst into a spacious hall only to find Chen Mu standing alone on the stage. Yamai asks him, "Are you Chen Mu?" Chen Mu mocks him, saying the Shadow Army is seriously underestimating the Heaven Society by sending only these guys. Yamai raises his weapon, but discovers that all their weapons are empty, realizing the ammo Qi Heng gave them was completely fake. Chi Heng laughs, stepping over to Chen Mu's side, and confirms they've been played. Yamai's men drop their weapons, realizing they walked right into a trap. Yamai screams at Chi Heng, accusing him of betrayal and swearing to kill him. He rallies his men, claiming that even without weapons, they can easily wipe them out thanks to their elite training. Chi Heng calmly replies that it's not betrayal since he was a Heaven Society member from the very beginning. Yamai orders his men to kill Chen Mu, but Chi Heng pulls out a sniper rifle, aiming it at them before opening fire with Chen Mu's help. All the Shadow Army men are wiped out in seconds. A panicked Yamai screams, ordering a retreat, but the Heaven Society guys block their path and finish off the rest. At the police station, a female officer informs her captain about a new video. The captain tells her he already knows about the park explosion case and that the investigation will take time, but she cuts him off, telling him the park case was shut down by higher orders. She explains this is a new case and tells him to watch the video. The captain discovers the video documents the slaughter of the Shadow Army men from the night before. Furious, he orders the tech team to be called in to wipe the video from the internet before the Shadow Army sees it, otherwise disaster will strike. But the officer tells him it's too late. The video has already gone viral and it's impossible to completely delete it. The captain breaks down, realizing they're in deep trouble. At the hospital, Yamakawa finds out through the news. He asks the nurse to replay the previous report and sees the video documenting the slaughter of his men. He screams in rage and orders Tomoto-su to be summoned immediately. Tomoto-su arrives and tells him to calm down. Yamakawa tells him that losing 100 of his men is an absolute insult to them. Tomoto-su reassures him that he's on top of it, explaining that it happened because of betrayal and that they underestimated the enemy. He then tells him he's already sent 2 new waves of fighters, totaling 400 men, and is confident they'll succeed in their mission. Then, he bows to him out of respect. Somewhere else, Chen Mu meets with a high-ranking official. The official asks him why he's doing this, telling him they'll handle the Shadow Army. He scolds him for what he did last night. Chen Mu replies mockingly, insisting that hitting enemies with absolute force is the only way to make them fear them. He confronts him with the truth. If their country really wanted to help him, they wouldn't have allowed all those soldiers to enter in the first place. The official asks how far he intends to take this. Chen Mu tells him the war has just begun, and the Tomoto family must be wiped out. Chen Mu gets a call, then orders the execution of the original plan. The official asks what he's planning, and Chen Mu tells him the answer will come soon. On the TV screen, breaking news flashes about the destruction of 2 cruise ships carrying 400 Shadow Army soldiers by precision missiles launched by the Heaven Society. Chen Mu tells the official that he wiped out 100 soldiers the night before, but the Shadow Army didn't give up. Instead, they sent hundreds to assassinate him. In his office, Tomoto-su receives a call informing him of the missile attack. He screams at the caller, demanding to know how this happened and where the defense systems were. He slams his fist on the table, screaming and vowing revenge, swearing he'll make Chen Mu regret this. Right at that moment, his phone rings. When he answers, the caller says, "I'm Chen Mu." Tomoto-su screams into the phone, accusing him of attacking his family's property and causing irreparable damage to the Shadow Army, asking how he dares to call him. Chen Mu calmly responds, "The Tomoto family started the fight with me." Then he warns him that there'll be only one ending, the total annihilation of the entire Tomoto family. He tells him that what happened was just a first greeting, and the next attack is definitely coming, hoping they can block it. After hanging up, one of his men rushes in and tells him they've tracked Chen Mu's location to Baitian City. Tomoto-su takes off in a private jet. But during the flight, he discovers that Chen Mu is continuing to bomb the Tomoto family's factories and mines with missiles. His jet gets hit by a missile, shaking violently and throwing him into a panic. Meanwhile, an officer bursts into a meeting of high-ranking officials, informing them that an envoy from the Shadow Army has arrived. He explains that they want to negotiate a ceasefire with Chen Mu. An official named Sun Qinghai is assigned to the task, ordered to track down Chen Mu and set up a meeting. Chen Mu gets a call and agrees to meet. Sun Qinghai meets him, telling him the envoys are waiting, advising him to speak with them calmly, not be reckless, and think of the bigger picture. Chen Mu smiles and reassures him he knows exactly what he's doing. He then heads to the meeting spot. Inside, the 2 Shadow Army envoys confront him, telling him that his attacks have destroyed 13 facilities and factories, plus a mine, costing them billions in losses. They offer to overlook everything if he just stops. They tell him that if he has any other demands, they can discuss them and settle things amicably. Chen Mu realizes this is just a trick to buy time. He tells them he has only one condition for a ceasefire. The entire Tomoto family must die. Sun Qinghai tries to calm him down, calling the demand overkill. Chen Mu tells them he doesn't trust the Shadow Army, saying he'd rather believe in ghosts than trust their word. Then he pulls out a pistol, telling his gift to them is 2 bullets. He then shoots them dead on the spot. Sun Qinghai screams at him, asking if he's thought about the consequences. Chen Mu coldly fires back, asking if he really believed they wanted peace. He explains it was just a conspiracy, planning to buy time and then assassinate him. He adds they admitted their losses are in the billions, mockingly asking if they'd ever leave him alone after all that. He then leaves the place, leaving Sun Qinghai shocked among the corpses. At a port, the bodies of the two envoys arrive. Tomoto So and his men fly into a wild rage. One of them suggests declaring war, insisting they can't stay silent after such an insult. Tomoto So decides to come up with a new plan. He asks about a high-profile delegation from Chen Mu's country currently visiting them for a scientific exchange. Tomoto So cracks a sinister smile, ordering his men to kidnap them and kill one of them every single day, asserting that this will force Chen Mu to show himself. In an official's office, a man rushes in to report a complete disaster. He informs him that the 15 official delegation has been taken hostage by the Shadow Army, and they've threatened that if Chen Mu isn't handed over, they'll kill one hostage every day. The new official, Dai Chen, slams his fist on the table and asks angrily, "What do we do now?" Dai Chen screams at his men, ordering them to arrest Chen Mu no matter what it takes. Meanwhile, Chen Mu is sitting calmly in a public park, reading a book. Suddenly, several special forces vehicles pull up. Heavily armed soldiers step out and surround Chen Mu from all sides, panicking the bystanders. Their commander steps forward and orders him to come with them because a high-level figure wants to see him. Chen Mu calmly agrees and goes with them. Chen Mu is taken to a cell, and Dai Chen walks in. Dai Chen introduces himself as the new official and tells Chen Mu he has some matters to discuss. He explains that because he killed the Shadow Army envoys, they took over a dozen of their officials hostage, so they've decided to hand him over in exchange for releasing the hostages in 2 days. He claims their country isn't cruel, but rather Chen Mu's actions crossed the line. After leaving, Dai Chen cuts a deal with a Shadow Army guy to execute their original plan, which is to secretly kidnap Chen Mu during the exchange. But Chen Mu, who was pretending to sleep, opens his eyes, having heard everything. In his office, Sun Qinghai angrily confronts Dai Chen, accusing him of acting recklessly, reminding him that Chen Mu is the leader of the Heaven Society. Dai Chen justifies his decision, saying it's for the country's sake, and that Chen Mu must sacrifice himself to ensure peace between the two nations. Sun Qinghai insists that Chen Mu isn't the one at fault, but Dai Chen mocks the concept of right and wrong in this world. Sun Qinghai warns him that the secrets Chen Mu holds are priceless, and him falling into the Shadow Army's hands would be a disaster. But Dai Chen reveals his true master plan: hand over Chen Mu, then dismantle the Heaven Society and seize all their classified info. Sun Qinghai leaves the office in absolute despair and rage. That night, Shadow Army assassins sneak into the prison. The commander orders his men to split into 2 teams to surround the place. They reach Chen Mu's cell and find him asleep. One of them mocks him, saying he doesn't look as dangerous as the rumors say. They unlock the cell door and step inside. Chen Mu wakes up, feigning surprise. The commander tells them they're from the Shadow Army and have come to take him, promising brutal torture once they reach their country. Chen Mu pretends to be desperate, then smirks and asks if they really came to capture him. The killers laugh, thinking they've won. They threaten that after his death, the Heaven Society will collapse, and he won't even be able to cry. The killers threaten Chen Mu with doom, but he coldly lights up a cigarette. He tells them that Dai Chen isn't a good guy, and he totally expected this betrayal. Then he advises them to look around before making any moves. The commander wonders what he means, and orders one of his men to check the situation outside. Suddenly, a screaming voice comes through the comms, warning him to escape immediately. The commander is shocked, wondering what's going on. The panicked man tells his commander they're surrounded. The commander and his men rush into the hallway, only to find themselves facing a massive crowd of Heaven Society men. One of their own men lies dead on the floor. The commander wonders who these attackers are. He discovers that the entire prison has been surrounded by the Heaven Society. One of his men notes they had a deal with the officials, angrily asking how they dared betray them. The commander realizes the attackers are Heaven Society, and they've walked straight into a trap. Chen Mu steps out of his cell and thanks them for helping clear out the prison guards, allowing his men to slip in easily. He then tells them to remember his name in hell, because the Grim Reaper is going to give them special treatment. Chen Mu opens fire and completely wipes them all out. After that, Chen Mu sends the evidence exposing Dai Chen's treason to Sun Qinghai. Sun Qinghai calls his boss to report an urgent matter regarding Dai Chen. Sun Qinghai arrives with his men at Dai Chen's office. Dai Chen screams at him, asking why he's bursting into his office. Sun Qinghai flashes the evidence on his phone. Dai Chen gets arrested on the spot. Sun Qinghai berates him, calling him a traitor and assuring him his crimes will destroy him. With the evidence being rock solid, he can't deny a single thing anymore. Meanwhile, Chen Mu and his men sneak into the Shadow Army's country, planning to tear down the Tomoto family's underworld industries. He mockingly wonders how long they'll last against the Heaven Society's onslaught. One of his men shows him a blueprint of the Chongqing building. He tells them they discovered that the core hub of the Shadow Army's security network is located right there. He adds they've already breached the network but need physical support. Chen Mu orders them to head to the building, asserting that within a day, the Shadow Army won't have a single secret left from them. They hop into a taxi and head to their destination. In an office inside the Chongqing building, the deputy manager was harassing an intern named Shui Li. He tells her he heard she's leaving the company next month. He reminds her that her paperwork won't fly without his signature. The girl tells him to have some self-respect, but he mocks her, telling her to stop playing hard to get. He grabs her hand, promising he'll golden stamp her papers if she complies with his demands. Then he tries to hug her, making her scream for help. Suddenly, the door flies open, and her fellow intern Huo Dong walks in, angrily asking what he thinks he's doing. The two men mock him, reminding him he's leaving in a month and advising him to stay out of it. They threaten to ruin his future while the girl begs him to save her. Enraged, Huo Dong calls them monsters, asking how they dare hurt a girl from his homeland. He then attacks them, knocking them to the ground. He tells them he'll quit on his own, and doesn't care about throwing away a year of internship experience. The police bust into the room and arrest him. The deputy manager orders them to take him away, announcing he'll file charges against him. In the interrogation room, Huo Dong claims he was acting heroically, and that the two men were the ones assaulting Shui Li. Huo Dong angrily asks the investigator if the police are going to look the other way. The officer tells him he's charged with assaulting his boss, and his crime is serious, claiming Shui Li testified that she was just having a normal chat with her boss, and that everything else was a figment of his imagination. He then threatens him that he could spend the next 10 years in prison. Huo Dong demands to see Shui Li. He meets her in the visiting room and tells her the police plan to convict him, begging her to come clean and tell the truth to save him. But she coldly tells him to snap out of his delusions, claiming nothing happened that day, and that his own recklessness caused people to get hurt, so she has nothing to do with it. He screams in her face, reminding her they're from the same country, tearfully asking if she's really going to let him get locked up for 10 years for nothing. She tells him it's no joke, and that everything that happened is the result of his own actions. Then she hangs up and leaves, leaving him in absolute despair. Outside, Shui Li makes a call, telling the person on the other end that she did what was asked, reminding him of his promise. He congratulates her on making the right call and invites her over to his room. Meanwhile, Huo Dong is hauled off to prison. During his transfer in an armored truck, the driver is forced to slam on the brakes when an old man suddenly appears in the middle of the road. The driver screams at him, telling him to get out of the way. The driver grumbles and tells the guard to clear him off the road. The guard steps out of the truck to confront the old man, but the old man blindsides him, stabbing him with a knife. The driver panics, telling him to back off, but another man suddenly appears in the passenger seat and tells him that disrespecting the elderly is a crime, then finishes him off. The old man peels off a mask to reveal his true identity. Xiao Lu, one of Chen Mu's men. His partner Xiao Feng praises his killer disguise skills, telling him to hurry up because Brother Mu is waiting for them. They pop open the truck's back door, where they find a captive Huo Dong. He asks who they are, and Xiao Feng introduces himself, saying they're from the Heaven Society. He's brought to a luxury hotel suite, where Chen Mu hands him an envelope containing his passport. He tells him he can head back to his country now since he's completely cleared from the crime scene. Huo Dong asks why they're helping him and if they want anything in return, emphasizing he won't do anything illegal. Chen Mu reassures him he doesn't need a thing, and he can leave whenever he wants. He adds that the entire building belongs to the Heaven Society, mockingly asking how much it's worth to them anyway. Huo Dong asks about what the Heaven Society really is. Chen Mu tells him he can stay and get revenge on those who wronged him, and after that, he might consider letting him join the society. Huo Dong breaks down in tears, asking if he's even worth it. Chen Mu explains he was at the Chongqing building just to handle some business, happened to see what went down, and knew he was innocent, so he decided to save him. He then suggests he tag along first to deal with Shui Li, and after that, he can make his choice. Huo Dong firmly agrees. Chen Mu and his men leave the hotel with Huo Dong. That night, the deputy manager was sitting in his car, smoking. Shui Li anxiously asks him when he's going to keep his promise, reminding him that he said he'd do it today. He reassures her he definitely will, telling her to wait just a bit because the guys he called are about to arrive. On an isolated dirt road, another car pulls up and two gangsters step out. The leader asks the deputy manager if he brought what they wanted. He then glances at Shui Li and asks if she's the girl they requested. The deputy manager laughs and tells him she's one of his best employees, assuring him Mr. Tomoto will definitely be pleased. He begs them to put in a good word for him. The leader agrees, telling him he did a solid job and Mr. Tomoto won't hold back on rewarding him. Shui Li screams from inside the car, finally realizing the deputy manager completely played her. The gang members try to drag her out of the car as she screams that she's from another country, begging them to let her go. Suddenly, Huo Dong emerges from the shadows. He confronts Shui Li, mockingly asking if she only just remembered she's from his country. reminding her that she showed zero sympathy for him at the police station. She tearfully begs him, claiming everything was just a misunderstanding, pleading for him to save her because they want to hurt her. The deputy manager is completely shocked to see Huodong, asking how on earth he managed to get out of prison. One of the gangsters threatens him, stating they're under Mr. Tomoto Ryuten and advising him to back off. Right then, Chen Mu appears, aiming his gun at them, and shoots one of them down. The leader panics upon realizing Chen Mu is packed. Heaven Society guys show up and surround them. The gangsters are pinned down, and one of them asks who the hell these attackers are. The other tries to flex the Tomoto name, but Chen Mu coldly tells him that the Tomoto name is exactly why he's targeting them. He then interrogates him about Tomoto Ryuten. In pure terror, the deputy manager asks why they're kidnapping women from his country. One of the gangsters confesses that Mr. Tomoto ordered them to look for them to refine something, but they don't know the specifics. Chen Mu asks where Tomoto Ryuten is hiding. The guy tells him the address is inside the car, warning him that going there means death. Xiaolu finds a membership card for Ryuten Club. Chen Mu takes it, then heads over to the deputy manager. He asks him how long he's been in this business. He confesses he's been working as a middleman for 5 years, getting a commission from Tomoto. Xueli cries, claiming she's not naturally a bad person. Chen Mu tells the deputy manager he'll host him real well in appreciation for his honesty. Xiaolu flashes a wicked grin, grabbing the deputy manager and promising to show him Lord Luo's methods that he'll never forget. The man screams in sheer terror, along with the rest of the busted gangsters. Shui Li is pulled out of the car, and thanks Huodong for saving her. But he grabs her arm, asking if it ever crossed her mind that maybe he came to get even. The deputy manager is terrified as he takes a beating. Shui Li is shocked and asks what he means. Huodong slaps her and shoves her to the ground, then reminds her they worked together for a whole year. He reminds her that he used to help her all the time, and that he even fought to save her, but she betrayed him and helped his enemies hurt him. Because of her, he was about to spend 10 years in prison for a crime he didn't commit. Shui Li admits she did Huodong wrong in the past, claiming a guy named Zhong Sang seduced and used her. Huodong stands before her, holding a club. He gives her a threatening look. She begs him for forgiveness, promising she'll stay by his side and serve him for the rest of her life. Huodong mocks her, telling her he knows she's had a crush on him for a long time. Then he attacks her with the club. He hits her leg, making her scream in pain. She keeps screaming, writhing in pain on the ground. Chen Mu and his men appear right in front of them. Shui Li tells Huodong that his attack was way too brutal. Huodong tells her she still doesn't get a thing. He adds that in this world, there's no cure for regret. Huodong reflects on his fate, then asks Chen Mu about their next destination. Chen Mu smiles and tells him he's made up his mind. He decides to recruit Huodong into the Heaven Society. Chen Mu tells him his life is about to get super busy. He'll be living in the shadows, far from the spotlight. Huodong pledges his loyalty, telling Chen Mu that his life now belongs to him. Chen Mu and his men leave, leaving Shui Li and the deputy manager on the ground. In front of the Ling Tian Club, the guards are complaining about a guy named Ueno being late. They wonder why he hasn't arrived yet, fearing their master Tomoto's wrath. They're sure Ueno will get brutally punished if he upsets their master. A car pulls up to the scene. The guards are blinded by its bright headlights. Xiaolu gets out, apologizing to the guards for being late, telling them he brought the person they wanted. He pops the trunk to reveal an unconscious Shui Li. Her leg was clearly injured. One of the guards checks to make sure she's still breathing. The leader berates Xiaolu, asking if he's stupid. He screams in his face for roughing her up, wondering what'll happen if Master Tomoto gets pissed. Xiaolu reassures them, saying Master Tomoto only needs her to refine something, so her just being here is what matters most. He begs them to put in a good word for him with their master. He promises to reward them, saying he'll bring them some beautiful girls tomorrow night. With a sly grin, he asks them what they think. The leader smiles and agrees to try and help him out. He adds he's doing this out of appreciation for his honesty. Xiaolu thanks them enthusiastically. Then he tells them he caught another guy from the same country. He reveals Chen Mu in the back seat, claiming he's her boyfriend. The leader orders his men to take her, telling Xiaolu his job is done. He tells him to get lost. Xiaolu leaves the place. In his car, he makes a call and confirms everything is set up, telling Xiao Feng that Chen Mu successfully infiltrated the club, ordering him to get his men ready to move. Chen Mu was sitting inside with a confident smirk. In a dark cell, Chen Mu was locked up with other women. Shui Li is brought in, and a guard orders to make her mute before taking her to the basement. Sitting right next to her, Chen Mu hears the order. Shui Li stands frozen, completely shocked by this horrifying command. Chen Mu helps another girl get up. The girl asks Chen Mu if his girlfriend is mute. Chen Mu pretends they were kidnapped by the Shadow Army guys. He asks her if she and the other girls are from his country. She tells him they came to the Shadow Army for training, but they were tricked and locked up in this place. She breaks down crying as she remembers her friend's fate. She tells him she used to have a friend who was taken by Tomoto Ryuten to the refining room, and she never came back. Shui Li lies on her bed, completely terrified. The girl continues her story, telling him the room has a massive melting furnace, and that Tomoto extracts fluids from their bodies to make something. Shui Li is gripped by absolute panic. The girl breaks down crying from fear. Chen Mu asks her if anyone ever investigated the disappearance of all these people. He wonders why the authorities are staying silent. She tells him everyone believes they came here of their own free will, and any accident that happens to them is considered their own personal responsibility. She adds that their country can't do anything except negotiate. Then she tells him Tomoto is returning today, and every time he comes back, he makes his special perfume. Chen Mu looks at Shui Li, wondering who the next victim will be. Shui Li looks at him, pleading. Chen Mu smirks, reminding her he promised not to interfere with her fate. He assures her he will keep his word. Shui Li screams in despair in front of Chen Mu, continuing to weep. Chen Mu coldly tells her that whatever happens to her is her own doing and the fate she chose. Suddenly, one of Tomoto's guards shows up. Shui Li looks at him in horror, but in a split second, the guard drops dead, while Chen Mu calmly sits back and watches the scene. Xiaolu appears at the cell door. He tells Chen Mu that all the guards outside have been taken care of. Chen Mu orders him to open the door. Xiaolu unlocks the cell. Chen Mu hands the keys to the girl he spoke with earlier. He orders her to free all the captive girls. Then he tells her to leave through the back door of the main hall. He reassures her that the Shadow Army guys have been completely wiped out. He adds that there's a car waiting for them outside to take them back to their homeland. The girl bows before him and thanks him, calling him their savior. She reassures him they will never forget his kindness. Xiaolu tells Chen Mu they discovered a refining room on the 12th basement floor, asking if he wants to see it. They head down the stairs. They find a massive, blazing furnace. The machine looked horrifying and creepy. Xiaolu comments on Tomoto Ryuten's brutality, wondering how anyone could design such a thing. Chen Mu looks at the machine with pure rage. One of his men presses a secret button. It reveals a hidden door. They rush inside, storming the secret room. Chen Mu opens one of the cabinets. He is shocked to find a massive number of passports belonging to the girls who were tricked. He grabs one of the passports. He reads the name of a victim, Wang Jiao, 22 years old. He keeps flipping through the passports, reading another victim's name, Liang Ting, 23 years old. Meanwhile, Tomoto Ryuten, the perfume factory owner, arrives in a helicopter. He asks his assistant if everything is ready. The assistant reassures him that they've prepared everything he asked for, and the refining process can start at any time. Tomoto tells them he wants to watch the process himself this time, emphasizing that there must be zero mistakes. His men bow to him out of respect. In his office, Tomoto asks about the racket he hears outside. He orders his assistant to check it out. The assistant opens the door but gets slammed to the ground with force, and Chen Mu and his men appear at the entrance. A panicked Tomoto asks, "Who are you guys?" One of Chen Mu's men opens fire. He hits Tomoto in the arm. Chen Mu and his armed men stand before him. Chen Mu mockingly asks if he forgot his arch-enemy, then introduces himself as Chen Mu from the Heaven Society. Tomoto is completely terrified, screaming, "What?" Tomoto angrily asks what they want from him, warning Chen Mu. He adds that this is Shadow Army territory, and his men are everywhere. Chen Mu smirks and asks, "Then why do you think I came here secretly?" Tomoto's eyes widen in sheer terror. He is dragged down to the refining room. Shocked, Tomoto asks how they managed to find this place. Chen Mu tells him he just took a quick look. He estimates that the number of women he killed is at least 100. The furnace blazes intensely. Chen Mu announces that the Heaven Society will judge him today for his crimes. Xiaolu tells him the furnace temperature is just right. Chen Mu orders him to start. One of Tomoto's men is thrown into the furnace and the door is locked on him. One of Chen Mu's men turns the control wheel. The man inside screams from the intense heat. A golden fluid is extracted from the machine. Xiaolu sniffs it, commenting on how strange it smells, saying he now gets why Tomoto is addicted to this stuff. Tomoto collapses to his knees. He admits his mistake and begs Chen Mu, asking him for another chance. He swears he will change. Chen Mu tells him he's gotten curious about the scent he'll produce. He asks him what kind of smell he'll turn into. Tomoto looks at him in absolute horror. With a wicked smile, Chen Mu answers that he thinks it'll be the scent of concentrated human trash. Tomoto screams in despair. He begs them not to do it. He is grabbed and thrown into the furnace. The door is locked shut on him as he screams. The control wheel is turned, and Tomoto keeps screaming. Tomoto is completely submerged in a clear liquid, screaming desperately. After the process finishes, Tomoto is shown turned into a skeleton inside the machine. Chen Mu orders his men to split the extracted perfume into several parts. He orders them to send it to the high-ranking officials of the Tomoto family, adding mockingly that this is his arrival gift to them. He describes it as a big gift. Xiaolu laughs and agrees immediately. Meanwhile, a squad of special forces and police is advancing through a dark area. One of the soldiers tells his commander, Captain Chen, that they are about to reach the Lingtian Club. The captain asks if it's necessary to inform the local authorities in the Shadow Army. Suddenly, the entire Lingtian Club building explodes. Captain Chen screams, asking where that sound came from. Everyone stands in shock. The building collapses, turning into burning rubble. The flames reflect in Captain Chen's eyes. He orders his men to go in and look for Chen Mu. The whole team rushes toward the blazing building. Chen Mu and his men walk out of the burning structure. He faces Captain Chen, who tells him their country sent them to bring him back. He assures him they won't hold his past actions against him. One of Chen Mu's men hands him a black bag. Captain Chen holds the heavy bag. Chen Mu tells him to see what's inside, explaining that these belong to all the citizens who were killed in the Shadow Army's country, and every single one of them died in this club, along with some evidence of the Tomoto family's crimes. He asks him to report this to the officials back home, and to negotiate with the Shadow Army regarding this matter. Captain Chen opens the bag only to find a massive number of ID cards. He looks at it in complete shock. He screams at Chen Mu, angrily asking how they dare commit such atrocities. One of Chen Mu's men tells him they aren't going back with him. He advises him to stay out of the Heaven Society's business. Captain Chen realizes there are things his country just can't stop. Chen Mu and his men leave the scene. Elsewhere, Tomoto Ryuten's mother was asking her husband if he had received a box. She describes it as being extremely elegant. The father comments on how strong the scent of the perfume inside is. He gets a phone call from someone named Tomoto Chang. His wife asks him if he received a box too. He screams at her over the phone, ordering her to throw away the bottle, warning her never to smell it again. She angrily asks him what he means. They look at the phone in confusion. The caller tells her that the perfume in the bottle is made from the body of their son, Tomoto Ryuten. The father screams in shock. "What are you saying?" Wondering in absolute horror if his son was refined. The caller calmly tells him that happened last night, and that the Ling Tian Club was attacked by the Heaven Society, confirming they found his son's body. The father collapses and falls to the floor, while his wife screams seeing him break down. In another car, an old man was enjoying his time with two girls. Suddenly the car screeches to a violent halt, and he screams at the driver, calling him an idiot. It turns out the driver was killed by a bullet to the head. The car window gets smashed with a club. The old man is dragged out of the car. He angrily demands to know who the attackers are, wondering if they don't know who he is. He brags about being Tomoto Sankawa. Chen Mu stands before him and says, "Tomoto Sankawa, we finally meet." He smirks and introduces himself as Chen Mu from the Heaven Society, and that he came looking for him. Tomoto looks at him in terror. He tries to negotiate with him, suggesting that he back him up, asking for the Tomoto family to support the Heaven Society in the future. He promises they'll forget everything that happened in the past. Chen Mu smiles coldly, telling him those are his last words. Then he pulls out a knife and kills him. Tomoto is left dead next to his driver, while Chen Mu and his men stand on the spot. At an emergency meeting for the Tomoto family members, the new leader announces the death of Tomoto Sankawa. He confirms the Heaven Society is responsible. He announces that starting from this exact moment, they will use all their power to clash with the Heaven Society. One of his assistants, Song Jun, steps forward and tells him they can mobilize nearly 130,000 men. The leader slams his fist on the table, ordering all men to be mobilized no matter what it takes. He orders them to find them. All his men bow, getting ready to carry out the orders. Suddenly, one of the Tomoto guys rushes in, screaming that a disaster just hit the port. Cargo ships catch fire, causing massive destruction. One of the leaders breaks down, screaming that Chen Mu is definitely behind this. He wonders angrily how the Heaven Society managed to destroy their biggest port. Song Jun gets a call from Chen Mu. Chen Mu tells him the Tomoto family will pay a heavy price, assuring him this isn't the end. Song Jun screams Chen Mu's name. Then he smashes his phone in a fit of rage. Song Jun collapses to his knees in despair. Chen Mu smiles triumphantly, saying that after today, the Tomoto family's financial power will take a massive hit. Chen Mu and his men stand on a building rooftop, watching the burning port. In the city streets, a young guy is scrolling through the news on his phone, wondering who this Chen Mu is, adding angrily how he dares cause chaos in their country. Another man mocks him, telling him to go back to his own country, wondering why he's flexing here. Another man shouts, demanding support for the Tomoto family to wipe out Chen Mu, adding that this is how they rid their country of his evils. A crowd of people gathers, chanting against Chen Mu. Meanwhile, Chen Mu was sitting quietly on a public park bench, reading a book, completely focused. Suddenly, several military vehicles arrive at the scene. Heavily armed soldiers step out and rush toward Chen Mu, panicking the bystanders. The soldiers surround Chen Mu. Song Jun steps out of one of the cars. He screams that he finally found him, adding that he's been looking for him all night. Surprised that he was hiding in this exact place, Chen Mu looks at him and recognizes him, confirming he's the supreme commander of the Tomoto family. Chen Mu tells him that if he kneels right now and apologizes to the Heaven Society, he might consider leaving some of the Tomoto bloodline alive. Otherwise, the Tomoto family will be wiped off the face of the earth. Zhang Jun orders his men to capture him and execute him on the spot. The soldiers aim their weapons at Chen Mu. Chen Mu pulls out a red button. He tells Chang-jun that this button is linked to his heartbeat. If his heart stops, it blows up instantly. He mockingly asks him if he wants to test it out. Chang-jun screams Chen-mu's name, aiming his pistol at his head. Chen-mu dares him to shoot. In another office, a high-ranking official screams into the phone, ordering them to stop, stressing that Chen-mu must not be touched. He adds that the secrets he holds are incredibly vital. One of Chen-mu's men tells Captain Chen to take his men and leave, warning him that staying might get them hurt. Heaven Society guys show up at the scene. Chen-mu mockingly asks Chang-jun if he wants to capture him or kill him himself. He calls him a coward, telling him he missed his chance. Chang-jun takes a hard slap to the face. Bystanders are shocked. Chang-jun screams, "How dare you touch me?" swearing to kill him. Chen-mu slaps him again. Chang-jun covers his painful face, weeping from the sheer humiliation. Chen-mu stands before him, completely cold. Chang-jun screams that he'll fight him to the death and that he's not afraid to die. He tightly grips his pistol. Chen-mu tells him that he already took his shot, and now it's his turn. Chen-mu blasts a powerful shockwave from a small device. The ground cracks from the force of the blast. Bystanders scream that there's an earthquake, telling everyone to run. One of Chang-jun's men reports a problem with a live stream, only to discover that the Wanhui building is on fire. Everyone stares at their phones in shock. Chang-jun screams that Chen-mu is declaring war. Chen-mu flashes a wicked smile, telling him the museum was destroyed too, along with all the Tomoto family's glory. He mockingly asks him if he's enjoying the view. Chang-jun screams that he and Chen-mu cannot live under the same sky, ordering his men to open fire. One of the soldiers shoots, but the bullet hits Chang-jun instead. Chang-jun drops to the ground, and his guards grab him. Chen-mu takes that opportunity to escape. A sniper is shown on a building rooftop. A fire hydrant gets blown up in the street, and empty shell casings scatter all over the ground. An injured Chang-jun hides under a car. A fierce battle breaks out in the streets, and the Heaven Society takes total control of the situation. The wounded Chang-jun screams, ordering his men to kill them, vowing to eliminate the Heaven Society guys. One of his panicked soldiers tells him they have less than 10 men left. A Heaven Society guy keeps laying down fire. Chang-jun realizes they are surrounded from all sides. His soldier tells him they've lost the ability to resist. Shadow Army backup choppers arrive, making the Heaven Society pull back. Armored vehicles roll up to the scene. Armed men step out of the vehicles, getting ready to secure the site. At the hospital, Chang-jun lies in his bed recovering. He follows the news on his tablet, thinking the Wanhui building should have been destroyed a long time ago. Chang-jun vows revenge within 10 days. He stands up in a fit of rage, reflecting on his defeat. One of his assistants rushes into the room. Chang-jun screams in anger, cursing Chen-mu. He collapses onto his bed, and his assistant rushes over to help him. The assistant tells him that Chen-mu vanished, and even the official Shadow Army authorities can't find him. Chang-jun orders his men to use all their power to track him down, wondering how he could get beaten by him. He reflects on his injuries and orders his assistant to call the Tomoto family hospital. He requests to be transferred there, insisting that staying here is no longer safe. His assistant bows in agreement. Elsewhere, Chen-mu meets Miyamoto Akihiro, a high-ranking official in the Shadow Army. Miyamoto offers him a glass of fine wine, with only 1,000 bottles available per year. He tells him it tastes incredible. Chen-mu sips the wine. He asks Miyamoto if he hates him for the chaos he caused. Wondering why he doesn't despise him, Miyamoto begs him to listen, telling him that back when he was poor, he discovered that justice and fairness were just illusions. But luckily for him, he crossed paths with the Heaven Society. He considers what they did for him priceless. He asks Chen-mu about his decision, assuring him he'll follow him unconditionally. Chen-mu asks him if he arranged the matter he requested. Miyamoto reassures him everything is taken care of. In another car, Chang-jun screams that his entire convoy guys got blown up. He insists Chen-mu is behind it. His panicked assistant asks how he feels, telling him Chen-mu seems to have more influence than them in their own country. Chang-jun orders him to inform everyone and send all the men to the hospital. He tells his assistant to double the number of men. A helicopter heads toward a helipad. Chang-jun notices someone standing on the pad. It turns out to be Xiaolu, holding a rocket launcher. Chang-jun screams, "No!" crying out in despair, ordering the pilot to escape. He slumps in his seat, screaming. Xiaolu fires the rocket. The rocket streaks toward the helicopter and blows it up. The burning chopper plunges from the sky. Xiaolu smiles triumphantly and calmly leaves the scene. At the hospital, Chang-jun lies in his bed covered in bandages, remembering the horrifying attack. Xiaolu tells Chen-mu that Chang-jun didn't die. Chen-mu smiles, saying he's got good luck. Xiaolu asks if they're pushing forward with their plan. Chen-mu confirms it, saying he'll make him regret it. He orders to notify all their men and start executing the plan, vowing to leave Chang-jun completely defenseless. Xiaolu smiles and agrees to the arrangements. At the Shadow Army Center, the commander was holding a meeting. He angrily asks if they dug up anything on the Heaven Society. wondering why they are taking so long. He screams in their faces, asking if they want the Heaven Society to walk all over them. One of his assistants tells him Chenmu's country is putting pressure on them, wondering if they really want to cut ties with them. The commander looks at him with pure rage, telling them all their monuments/traces have been destroyed. The commander screams that this is the very foundation of their existence. A wounded Song-jun arrives at the meeting. The commander welcomes Song-jun's arrival and suggests asking for his opinion. Song-jun sits at the head of the table. Tearfully, he tells them that more than a dozen high-ranking officials from his family were killed in the meeting room. He adds that they dedicated their lives to serving the Shadow Army, but this was how they ended up. He wonders if the Heaven Society even deserves to exist. The commander tries to calm him down, admitting they can't find the Heaven Society anywhere. Song-jun suggests that this whole thing is definitely backed by Chenmu's country, advising to pressure them directly and force them to help locate the Heaven Society. The officials listen intently. The commander slams his fist on the table and orders to contact the envoy of Chenmu's country, ordering immediate negotiations, demanding they hand over the Heaven Society. Otherwise, the Shadow Army will declare war on them. Out at sea, Captain Chen and his men stand aboard a warship. Captain Chen looks through his binoculars to see two naval fleets from both countries facing off against each other. He wonders if this is the fleet of the Shadow Army and Chenmu's country. An envoy from the Shadow Army confronts a commander from Chenmu's country, accusing him of detaining their envoy, continuing his threats, wondering if they'll keep ignoring Chenmu's actions. He tells him that if they hand over Chenmu, they won't pursue the matter. The commander calmly replies that they've made their stance clear, and the matter has nothing to do with them. On the contrary, Chenmu is a hero in their country. Shocked and enraged, the envoy screams in his face. Suddenly, they both look up at the sky. A missile is launched toward the Shadow Army fleet. They watch the missile closing in. The envoy looks on in horror. The missile slams into one of the ships, causing a massive explosion. The envoy collapses onto the deck from the force of the blast. The commander helps him up, and they watch another ship get obliterated. More missiles streak across the sky. The ships open up with anti-aircraft fire. The cannons keep blasting, sending empty shell casings scattering. Some of the missiles are intercepted. A sailor screams in terror, wondering if this is another sneak attack, wondering if the Heaven Society is behind it again. Another sailor screams that the missiles are too fast and they can't block them. Missiles rain down on the fleet, completely wiping it out and turning the entire fleet into burning wreckage. At the command center, the commander was monitoring the situation. He asks angrily if they located the Heaven Society, wondering where the missiles came from. One of his men tells him he has no information, adding that they couldn't track any trace and can't pin down the missile's location at all. The commander blows his top. He slams his fist on the table again, calling his men a bunch of failures, ordering to mobilize every single Shadow Army man to search for them. He orders the bounty to be raised to the highest level, vowing he won't believe they can keep hiding in their country. Everyone at the command center is working hard. Meanwhile, one of Chenmu's men informs his master that the Shadow Army has ramped up their search operations for them, and relying strictly on their connections won't let them hide for long. Chenmu decides to stop hiding, telling them they'll leave after finishing their mission. Xiaolu tells him he notified Miyamoto, and he's about to arrive. Miyamoto arrives at the scene, telling Chenmu he arranged everything and they can set off now. In the car, Chenmu addresses Miyamoto, praising him for becoming more influential in the Shadow Army. Miyamoto replies humbly, giving the credit to Chenmu, asserting it's all thanks to his help. The car speeds off down the highway toward their destination. Chenmu and his men arrive at the Shadow Army's biggest power plant. They head to the gate, and a guard meets them. The guard asks if they're the new technicians, then demands to see their work permits. Miyamoto tells him the permits were sent to his email. Then he hands him a credit card. The guard stares at the card in shock. Miyamoto tells him he can spend everything on the card however he wants. He just asks him to make things easy for them. The guard gets mad and asks what they mean, accusing them of trying to bribe him. He screams in their faces, demanding to know who they really are. Miyamoto mocks him, advising him to take the cash and shut up, warning him not to force his hand. The guard drops to the ground injured. Miyamoto drags him inside. Chenmu takes the guard's ID card and tells Miyamoto his job is done. He gives him 20 minutes, ordering him to leave the place ASAP and avoid getting tangled up in what's about to go down. Miyamoto wishes Chenmu luck and tells him to be careful. Chenmu smiles confidently, then he and Xiaolu head inside. They enter the electrical control room, and Xiaolu starts messing with the wires. He hooks a device up to the main panel while Chenmu watches him. Later on, Chenmu and Xiaolu are sitting in a car. Xiaolu hands Chenmu a remote detonator. He tells him this is the button to blow up the power plant. He assures him it can be easily controlled even from their country. Chenmu mockingly wonders how long it's been since the Shadow Army saw a massive power outage. He describes what's about to happen as a celebration. A phone rings on a desk. Song-jun answers the phone. He jumps out of his seat in absolute shock. He screams into the phone, "Chenmu, you bastard," and dares him to drop his location. Chen Mu tells him he'll be waiting for him in an hour, right in downtown Jingdong. Zhang Jun leaves his office. He stands on a building rooftop with his snipers. The snipers get into position. Down in the city streets, two young guys are checking out a phone. The phone shows a live stream of an empty street in Jingdong that has already racked up millions of likes. One of them comments that Chen Mu is way too cocky. On a giant screen in the city, the same live stream is playing, wondering if Chen Mu thinks he's some kind of superhero, calling him arrogant. The other guy looks at his phone anxiously. He reads messages in a group chat. He tells his friend that the area is completely surrounded by shadow army men, insisting that Chen Mu is a dead man if he shows up. Up on the roof, Zhang Jun is waiting while sipping his drink. His assistant tells him that the shadow army men have taken their positions, with a total of 5,000 men, plus 50 snipers. Zhang Jun smiles confidently, ordering his assistant to watch for his signal. He guarantees that Chen Mu won't be able to escape this time. His assistant comes over and tells him that Chen Mu has arrived, and they're 5 kilometers away. Zhang Jun asks how many men are with him. The assistant tells him it's just a single car, and there are 4 people in it at most. Zhang Jun gets furious, ordering his men to let them in and then lock down all escape routes, swearing he won't even let a fly out. His assistant bows in agreement. On the phone screen, a notification pops up that Chen Mu is about to arrive. A black car rolls into the surrounded street. Chen Mu and his men step out. The scene is filmed and streamed live. From up on the roof, Zhang Jun uses a megaphone, telling Chen Mu that his crimes in the Shadow Army are endless, and that today is his final day. Chen Mu tells him his road could have been a long one, but since he decided to cross the Heaven Society, he chose death. Chen Mu lifts a pair of binoculars. Zhang Jun asks his assistant about the device. He tells him it's night vision binoculars. Chen Mu holds up a small device. Zhang Jun laughs, thinking Chen Mu is trying to bluff him, and keeps laughing hysterically. He mockingly asks if Chen Mu is trying to scare him with a single button. Chen Mu challenges him, asking if he'd believe that if he presses the button, his whole country will completely change. His men put on night vision goggles. Zhang Jun laughs hysterically, mocking his threats and calling him crazy. He challenges him to press the button. Zhang Jun presses the button himself. Suddenly, a powerful beam of energy shoots up into the sky. It lights up the night sky, and the city plunges into pitch-black darkness. At the command center, the officials lose all signals. The commander orders his men to look into it and restore the signal. He screams to bring the live stream back up while the technicians work frantically. An assistant rushes in and tells the commander that the Shadow Army has lost power, and downtown Jingdong has plunged into darkness. He shows him satellite images revealing the massive scale of the blackout, with the entire city in total darkness. The commander orders an immediate investigation and to find Chen Mu as fast as possible. In another office, the Shadow Army leader is in complete shock. He demands to know the reason for the blackout, calling for a fast response and screaming to turn the power back on. Zhang Jun stands in the dark, completely stunned. Chen Mu aims his pistol at him and fires. Zhang Jun drops to the ground. One of his men reports over the comms that Tomoto has been killed. He screams to capture Chen Mu. The snipers open fire on Chen Mu. The rest of the soldiers open fire too. Bullets rain down on the street. One of the commander's assistants reports that Chen Mu was behind the power plant's destruction 10 minutes ago. The commander asks if he's sure the plant is Tingzhong. In another office, a high-ranking official decides to monitor the Shadow Army's reaction, stressing that no matter what happens, they must protect Chen Mu by any means necessary. In the Shadow Army leader's office, his assistant hands him some documents, asking for his take on the Tomoto family case. The leader tells him that the Tomoto family is no longer relevant to them. Xiaolu tells Chen Mu that the Shadow Army is going to be tied up for the coming months, and fixing that power plant won't be easy. Chen Mu expresses his regret, saying he should have captured Zhang Jun instead. One of his men comes over and informs him that Shibata from the Shadow Army wants to talk to him, asking if he wants to make peace. Chen Mu orders him to tell him that he'll meet him on a live stream in 10 minutes. The man laughs as he carries out the order. At the command center, an assistant tells Shibata that Chen Mu called, and their men have started tracking his network. The live stream starts, and Shibata welcomes Chen Mu. Chen Mu asks him about his request, wondering if he enjoyed what went down at the power plant last night. Shibata tells Chen Mu that ever since he arrived in the Shadow Army's territory, a lot of bad things have happened, and yesterday's destruction of the power plant cost them losses estimated at 6 billion. He asks what he wants, telling him that if his demands are reasonable, they're ready to meet them, on the condition that he guarantees he won't cause trouble in the Shadow Army again. Chen Mu tells him his demand is that within one day, they must tear down the Jinguo toilet and burn all the plaques inside, and from now on, whenever anyone from the Shadow Army sees someone from his country, they must call him Grandpa. Shibata scoffs at him, telling him not to push it, screaming that the Jinguo toilet is the resting place of their ancestors' souls. He tells him that since things have come to this point, the Shadow Army won't show him any mercy. In the city streets, a young guy is scrolling through the news, furious that Chen Mu dares to insult the Jinguo toilet. He wonders how an organization from another country could challenge the power of the entire Shadow Army. He guarantees that Chenmu will regret what he said. In Shibata's office, he gets a call from Tomoto Ichiro, the new leader of the Tomoto family. He tells him that to show his sincerity, he brought him news about Chenmu, assuring him he'll take care of it. Shibata looks at a document containing info on a person named Hong Ye. He wonders why the name feels so familiar. Meanwhile, Miyamoto rushes in and tells Chenmu that the Shadow Army security men have come looking for him. Miyamoto tells Chenmu that the investigation mission has been handed to someone else, and that this guy is known for being hardcore. Chenmu mockingly declares he can't deal with him, adding that he's enjoyed his time here long enough, and that it's time to leave. He calls out to Xiaofeng, asking him if the escape ship is ready. Xiaolu reassures him that the submarine is already ready and they can leave quietly. Xiaolu asks if they're leaving now, but Chenmu answers with a no. He tells him that before leaving, they'll give the Shadow Army a massive gift, and decides to blow up their toilet this time. In a helicopter, Shibata and his assistant are heading to an island. The assistant tells Shibata they're about to land and have received clearance to enter. Shibata orders a landing. The chopper heads toward the island. The assistant screams at someone, wondering if they don't see that Shibata has arrived, calling him impudent. Shibata screams at the butler's face, ordering him to shut up. He apologizes to Hong Ye, the island leader, admitting his men weren't polite. Hong Ye welcomes him, telling him he remembers seeing him in the Shadow Army back in the day, and that he was very young at that time. Shibata laughs and tells him he's exaggerating. Shibata tells him he came today to discuss something, asking for his help to track down Chenmu. He stresses that if he gets eliminated, the Heaven Society will collapse. Hong Ye laughs out loud, telling him he can't do that. Hong Ye keeps laughing. Shibata addresses Hong Ye with respect, telling him he represents the Shadow Army, advising him to think carefully about his decision. Hong Ye tells him he knows why he came, and that he also knows he secretly backs the Heaven Society, but he stresses that he cannot help him. Shibata wonders if Hong Ye is the one supporting the Heaven Society. Hong Ye answers that he's not the one supporting them. Rather, everything he owns belongs to the Heaven Society. To be more precise, he himself is a member of the Heaven Society. Shibata is completely shocked. He wonders in a daze if Hong Ye is joking, doubting that he joined the Heaven Society. Hong Ye tells him he has a former disciple who was smart and talented, and he told him he wanted to establish a new organization to cleanse the world of evils. He adds that at first he thought he was joking, but he discovered his determination was stronger than anyone else's. So he decided to support him with everything he owns, seeing his younger self in him, and that he'll do his absolute best to help him achieve his dream. Shibata collapses to his knees, looking at him in utter despair. He begs Hong Ye to mediate for him, stressing that the ongoing conflict is in nobody's interest, and that it'll lead to devastating losses for both sides. Hong Ye tells him he knows Chenmu very well, wondering if he ever gave them a chance to make peace. Shibata screams that his demands were overkill and that he asked them to destroy the Jingguo toilet. Hong Ye fires back that Chenmu was right. He wonders if his request was unjustified, asserting that the Shadow Army must pay for its past crimes. Shibata looks at him in complete shock. Hong Ye heads inside. In his jet, Shibata addresses his assistant. He tells him that Hong Ye doesn't look as dangerous as rumors claim, and since he joined the Heaven Society, he suggests they get rid of him. Shibata screams in his face, calling him an idiot, accusing him of doing nothing but stirring up trouble. He orders him to stay out of it, asking him if he remembers the previous economic crisis. The assistant is completely stunned. Shibata tells him that Hong Ye was the one who caused it, and that his power is way greater than they can imagine. Shibata contemplates the situation. In a bar, a security guard is sitting alone, slowly sipping his drink. Across from him, a beautiful woman is sipping wine. The guard is watching her with admiration. They approach each other. The guard rubs his face in confusion. The woman asks if he was the one watching her. He answers with a yes, telling her she's gorgeous, and asks her out on a date, and tells her he'll give her all his money. The woman smiles and tells him he's super generous. Suddenly, Chenmu shows up and confronts him, wondering why he's so stingy with his wife and kids, while he's ready to blow all his cash on a strange woman. Terrified, the guard asks who they are. Chenmu tells him it doesn't matter who they are. What matters is that he knows him. He exposes his identity as the captain of the Jingguo Toilet Protection Squad, adding that he's 38 years old. The guard's eyes widen in sheer horror. He begs them to take his money and not hurt his family. Chenmu tells him he doesn't care about his money, and that all he asks for is a single favor. He flashes a check for 200,000, telling him he'll give him a fat sum of cash after the job is done and help him leave the Shadow Army. Otherwise, he threatens him with another massive check. The guard drops to his knees, staring at the check in absolute shock. In his office, Tomoto Ichiro is enjoying his time, laughing triumphantly. His assistant comes in and tells him that the Tomoto clan is demanding he make a quick decision, wondering if they'll start executing the plan. Ichiro yells that he is the leader now, ordering the plan to be delayed, vowing that the Heaven Society will never expect that he'd be hiding out in this skyscraper. He adds that the building is heavily fortified, daring them to find him. Suddenly, he spots two gliders in the sky. Chen Mu and Xiao Lu are soaring through the air, heading straight for the building. Ichiro screams in terror, demanding to know who these attackers are. His assistant guesses they might just be window cleaners. Suddenly, the office window shatters, sending glass shards flying everywhere. Chen Mu and Xiao Lu break in through the shattered window. They stand before Ichiro, and Chen Mu tells him, "Welcome, Ichiro. Nice to meet you." A panicked Ichiro asks if he's the leader of the Heaven Society. Chen Mu sits on the couch and gives him a yes. Then he gives him a chance to call his men, so he doesn't die feeling wronged. Ichiro glares at him in rage and makes a phone call, screaming at his assistant, asking why they failed to protect him, telling him that Chen Mu came to kill them, ordering them to get up here immediately. Chen Mu praises his courage, telling him he has a strong will to live. Then he points his gun at him, telling him he's sending him to his doom. He shoots him down, and Ichiro drops dead to the floor. His assistant drops to his knees in pure terror. Outside, security forces arrive at the building. A commander tells his men that Ichiro has likely been captured, ordering them not to harm him, and tells another squad to secure all exits, including the underground parking lot. In Shibata's office, he gets a call, asking if it's certain that Chen Mu is at the Tomoto family HQ. His assistant confirms the news, telling him Chen Mu and his men are in the main building. Shibata smiles, considering this the perfect chance to wipe them out. He looks at a map, deciding to send 300 men from the forces stationed near the Jingguo toilet, ordering them to head over there to surround Chen Mu. His assistant agrees to the plan. In another car, Xiao Lu tells Chen Mu that his plan was a success, and that Shibata has already sent his men to the main building. Chen Mu smiles, saying the security around the Jingguo toilet is weak now. He orders Tank to tell Xiaofeng to watch out, and that he has only 15 minutes left. After that, he must pull back with his men safely. Chen Mu puts his hand on his comrade's shoulder. Xiao Lu looks at Chen Mu anxiously. Chen Mu tells him it's time for them to make their move. Tank heads to the elevator, using an ID card to gain entry. The guard lets him through after verifying his identity. The three walk down a dark hallway. Tank breaks down crying and tells Chen Mu he can't go on, insisting he doesn't dare finish the mission. Chen Mu gestures with his thumb for him to leave. Tank thanks him and leaves the place. Tank runs away, but he stops in sheer terror. Xiao Lu appears in front of him and kills him. Xiao Lu pulls his phone from his pocket and reads a text message. The message confirms Chen Mu's suspicions that Tank was a spy. Xiao Lu comments that the Shadow Army guys can never be trusted. Chen Mu tells him that's their nature, it never changes. Adding that genetics are a weird thing. Chen Mu and Xiao Lu enter the Jingguo toilet. They walk through a hall packed with memorial plaques and candles. Chen Mu reflects on the number of souls honored in this place, adding that they've been worshipped here for decades, wondering if they ever expected their end would be today, turning into ashes. Xiao Lu starts planting bombs on the pillars. The bombs are shown armed and ready to blow. Xiao Lu tells Chen Mu everything is set, and they can destroy the place at any time. Shibata gets a phone call. The caller reports a complete disaster. Shibata asks what it is, and the caller tells him that the Chen Mu at the HQ was likely a fake, and that they've planted bombs all over the Jingguo toilet, warning him that destroying the place would mean the collapse of their faith, and the impact on the Shadow Army will be catastrophic. Shibata screams, "What are you saying?" His assistant comes and tells him their men reached the rooftop, but they failed to catch Chen Mu, and the guy they found wasn't the real Chen Mu, showing him a video clip of the guy jumping off the building. Shibata breaks down seeing the trick, ordering all his men to head to the Jingguo toilet, screaming at them to hurry. Shibata and his men rush to the scene. They arrive at the Jingguo toilet only to find Chen Mu and his men inside. Shibata wonders how they managed to get in, stressing that this place is the symbol of their faith and it cannot be destroyed. Chen Mu tells him he's surrounded, ordering him to surrender, promising they might let him live. Chen Mu tells him this is a heartbeat sensor, and if he dies, the bomb goes off. Shibata looks at him in complete shock. His men question if his words are true. Chen Mu tells them if he wants, he can press the button at any moment. One of Shibata's men wonders what they should do. Shibata gets a call from a subordinate, asking if he believes Chen Mu. Shibata snaps back, "If I don't believe him, should I believe you?" Reminding him that he wiped out the power plant and destroyed many of their warships, asking if he thinks Chen Mu is playing games. Shibata takes a call and addresses Chen Mu, stating they can negotiate, asking him to name his terms. Chen Mu suggests they make a bet, betting that they won't dare open fire. Shibata asks what he means. Chen Mu picks up a memorial plaque, then slams it onto the ground, smashing it to pieces. Shibata screams at his face, ordering him to stop, insisting that they can talk things through. Outside, a giant screen displays the photo of one of the Shadow Army's heroes. The crowd screams in shock, wondering how Chen Mu dares smash their memorial plaques, questioning his sheer nerve, stressing that those are their heroes. Inside, Chen Mu grabs another plaque, reading the name Shinro Koji, saying he's never heard of him, adding that he must have been a bad guy. Xiao Lu looks at the plaque in his hand with disdain. Chen Mu reads another name, Tashin Yoshiyama, adding mockingly that he's just an old geezer. In another office, an assistant tells his boss that Shinro Koji and Tashin Yoshiyama are Class A war criminals. The boss asks if the fleets have been prepared. His assistant confirms it. The boss asks if the Shadow Army has been informed. His assistant tells him that negotiations are still underway. The boss orders to inform them that their country won't hold back, and that Chen Mu must return safely. Otherwise, they'll use force. The other official confirms he understands. Chen Mu continues smashing the memorial plaques. Shards of the plaques scatter across the floor. Xiao Lu rushes in to join the destruction, stomping on the plaques with his feet. Shibata screams at Chen Mu, demanding him to stop. Chen Mu tells him that what they're defending was built on the suffering of his people, and everyone honored here are murderers and criminals. The soldiers are completely shocked. Chen Mu tells them he might stay here today, but the Jingguo toilet must be destroyed. Then he throws one of the plaques onto the ground to smash it. Shibata stands at the entrance watching the scene. Chen Mu and Xiao Lu keep tearing the place apart. Suddenly, a sniper fires a shot. Chen Mu gets hit right in the chest and falls back against the wall. Xiao Lu rushes over to help him. The soldiers scream in shock. Xiao Lu asks Chen Mu if he's ready. Xiao Lu says his goodbyes, telling him he'll always be his brother in the next life. They sit together, waiting for the end. Xiao Lu presses the detonation button. The soldiers close in on them. The Jingguo toilet explodes completely. Shibata stares at the explosion in pure horror and gets thrown to the ground by the blast's force. The high-ranking Shadow Army officials watch the live stream in absolute despair. One of them collapses seeing the Jingguo toilet get blown to bits. They admit their failure, lamenting their inability to protect it. Another official breaks down watching the destruction, feeling a sharp pain in his chest, then collapses to the ground. His assistants scream that Hong Ye has fainted, calling for medicine and ordering someone to contact the doctor immediately. Elsewhere, Jia Yu breaks down in tears, unable to believe what happened to Chen Mu. He checks his phone in despair. One of his friends tells him it really happened, and that they have to face reality. The Heaven Society members gather around, watching the news on a phone. Li Jun, one of the members, speaks to Xiao Feng, telling him a complete disaster went down, and that they found absolutely no trace of Chen Mu or Xiao Lu. He asks if he should head back. Xiao Feng tells him they must get revenge on the Shadow Army. Everyone chants for vengeance for Chen Mu, screaming in rage and sorrow. Hundreds of members gather together, dead set on revenge.